in captivity. Ziran said casually, "This tiger's skin has strong defensive power. My black hole's pulling force did not damage it. Xiaobing, you can collect it and process it into clothes. It will be a good piece of armor." Yan Bing waved her hand. "I don't need this thing." Xiao Yi put it away. "You little weakling needs it." Xiao Yi was thick-skinned and put it away directly. "I won't be polite." Then, the three of them made a plan. They would avoid the quasi-Saint Realm monsters first and specifically target lone Supreme Realm monsters. After collecting the 100 Supreme Realm crystal cores, they would hunt down some quasi-Saint Realm monsters. They would not go deep into the monster mount and range to avoid encountering Saint Realm monsters. Plop, 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 plop. Suddenly, Xiao Yi's heartbeat accelerated, his temples kept throbbing, a sense of crisis rose in his heart, and his time-based prophecy talent skill automatically predicted. Pictures come to mind one after another. In the Holy Realm, the nine-headed Hydra behemoth, the endless fire domain, the power of the rules of fire, all the clothes of the three people were burned, and they faced each other calmly. The Ziran stood in front of the two of them, and resisted the rays of the rules of fire. There are 5 pictures in total. The first 3 pictures are relatively clear, but the last 2 pictures are blurry, like mosaics, making it difficult to see clearly. Xiao Yi frowned. They would be targeted by the Holy Realm Hydra monster and would be in a life-and-death crisis. So, he quietly communicated with Tang Hao, the perfect soul body of the quasi-emperor realm in the Bronze Palace. "Master, rest assured. I will always pay attention to the surrounding atmosphere and help you resist the holy beasts." Xiao Yi, "That's troublesome." Tang Hao, "It's no trouble. Protecting the master's safety is what a servant should do." Plop plop, plop, plop. When Xiao Yi finished the arrangements, the time-based predictive ability made another prediction. Pictures come to mind one after another. The Hydra's lair was filled with the source of energy with devouring properties. Tan Ziran was naked, and the two of them were guarding Tan's side to break through the Holy Realm. There were 4 pictures in total this time, all of which were relatively clear, and Xiao Yi was feasting his eyes. "Oh my god, this is what Sister Ziran looks like without underwear." Xiao Yi glanced at Ziran, who was wearing a purple dress and looked fairy-like, and muttered to himself. The images predicted by the prophecy are what will inevitably happen in the future. These images represent that Ziran will break through the Saint Realm. The 3 of them flew up in the air, circling the boundary between the outer and middle areas of the Magic Beast mountain range, looking for the Supreme Realm Magic Beast. Just 10 minutes later, Yun Bing asked everyone to stop and said, "There are hundreds of great venerable S3 Supremes, and the highest level is the 6th level of Supreme." She pointed to the cave below and winked at Ziran. Ziran immediately took action, and powerful force emanated from his body. A loud bang was heard. The 3 Supreme-level monsters were forcibly pulled into the air by a pulling force and collided with each other. A small black hole appeared and the 3-headed monster was sucked into it. Its body became shriveled and all its energy and blood were sucked out. Within 10 minutes, it was drained dry. Xiao Yi was amazed and gave a thumbs up, saying, "Sister Ziran, you are really good at sucking. You have drained such a big 3-headed monster dry. Awesome." 3 crystal cores appeared in Ziran's hand, and he agreed, "That's right, no matter who it is. As long as they meet me, they will be squeezed dry, and they will all be my nutrients." Yun Bing listened to this conversation, and felt that something was wrong. But he couldn't tell what exactly was wrong. Then, the 3 of them continued on their journey. "Maybe I was lucky today." An hour later, I met more than 20 Supreme Realm beasts who were fighting in a group. The highest level was the perfect Supreme Realm. Yun Bing rubbed his hands excitedly and said, "Leave these to me, let me practice." The might of the 3rd level of the Supreme Realm burst out, and the surrounding space began to twist and shake. Space blades, space confinement, space barrier, space cage. Her talent skills burst out at the same time. Hundreds of kilometer-long spatial blades, invisible and colorless, without any warning, slashed towards the 10th, 4th and 5th level Supreme Realm monsters. With a few sounds, 5 of the 4th level Supreme Realm monsters had their heads chopped off, blood gushing into the sky, pushing their heads up into the sky. The other 5 monsters used their mental alert to dodge, but they also had one leg or one tail chopped off, and all of them were injured. Roar, roar, roar. These monsters roared angrily. A space cage appeared in the surrounding 10,000 meters, blocking the space within a radius of 10,000 meters and trapping all the monsters inside. The spatial confinement caused these monsters to move slowly. Hundreds of spatial blades turned around, changed direction, and continued to slash at the monster whose movements were affected. Blood and flesh flew everywhere, and broken limbs were scattered all over the ground. After the second wave of attacks, only 2 lightly injured Supreme and Perfect monsters were left at the scene. Among the more than 20 monsters, the others were either dead, disabled, barely alive, and dying. The Great Venerable and the magical beasts below the Great Venerable who were watching the battle nearby, seeing that the situation was not good, quickly turned around and left, not wanting to get involved in this mess. Ziran sucked in a breath of cold air and said in surprise, "You are only at the 3rd level of the Supreme Realm, but you kill Supreme Realm monsters like slaughtering dogs. And beat Supreme Perfection monsters like catching chickens. You are worthy of being a mythical template." There was a gleam in her beautiful eyes, and she felt a little moved. Chapter 365 Ziran, I'm not a juicer. Among these magical beasts, all are supreme 4th level and above. And there are as many as 20 of them. What level is Yunbing at? The 3rd level of the Supreme Realm. It's lower than the realm of these monsters. But killing these monsters is as easy as butchering dogs or catching chicks. This kind of cross-level killing is truly invincible in the same level. Ziran asked herself, could she do it when she was at the 3rd level of the Supreme Realm? The answer is no. When she was at the 3rd level of the Supreme Realm, at most killing a Supreme Realm 3rd level was like slaughtering a dog. Killing a Supreme Realm 4th level was also okay. But killing a Supreme Realm 5th level was a bit difficult. To kill a Supreme Realm 6th level, she had to use all her strength and have good luck. If she encounters 20 Supreme level 4 monsters or above, she will burst out with all her strength. Run away. Not to mention getting close, just one look would be enough to make you turn around and run away. Looking at the high-spirited Yunbing, he only needed to wave his hand from the back, and the Supreme Beasts 10 miles away were slaughtered and killed one by one. It was really easy and comfortable, as if there was no difficulty at all. The spatial blade slashed down wantonly, with hundreds of blades thousands of meters long within the cage of 10,000 meters in radius. It was simply blasting through the sky and the earth, occupying every corner of the cage without leaving a single glimmer of space. Chick, chick, chick. This is the sound of flesh being torn apart, the sound of a spatial blade hitting the body of a monster. 2 minutes later, all of the 25 Supreme level monsters on the scene were killed except for the Supreme level Perfect monster. The Supreme and Perfect Demon Beast was also seriously injured. Yunbing brought Xiaoyiziran closer to the space cage, came to the outside of the spacewalkade, and watched from close range. It's not that these monsters don't want to dodge, but their bodies are imprisoned, their movements are restricted, and there are space cages set up around them to blockade them. Not to mention escaping. Even moving requires a lot of effort. Roar, 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 roar. The only 2 remaining monsters roared in anger when they saw the people coming. 2 sounds. They burst out with all their might, forcibly broke through the space confinement, and crashed into the barrier of the space cage, causing the space cage to shake violently twice. But it only shook twice, and not even a crack appeared at the place of impact. They are all wind-attributed monsters, so let's fight quickly and end it quickly. An endless amount of spatial energy emerged from Yunbing's body, and he used his innate skill space shattering. One side of the space is shattered, and all objects in the space will be shattered along with it. I saw that around the heads of the 2 Supreme and Perfect monsters, the space was shaking and distorting violently. Their heads were locked. Crack, crack, sounds were heard. The space around the head shattered like glass, making a crisp sound. Following that, the heads of the 2 monsters were also shattered. The 2 big heads exploded like bloody smoke, then turned into powder. In the end, nothing was left. They were shattered into atoms and completely dissolved into the void. Their bodies stiffened. And with 2 loud bangs, they fell to the ground, smashing into the ground and splashing dust all over the sky. The space was broken and turned into a void space. But with the adjustment of the rules of heaven and earth, this small space will gradually return to normal. Yunbing stroked her white chin and said, isn't this method too brutal? Ziran's eyes sparkled with excitement as he said, what's so brutal about it? It's so cool. Then, after checking and finding that all 25 Supreme Beasts were dead, Yunbing released the space cage, eliminated the space confinement, and dispersed the space blade. And the scene returned to calm. The ground was littered with body parts, the pungent smell of blood, and the fiery red soil and rocks were all dyed bright red with blood, making it look like a scene from hell. Yunbing and Ziran walked to the top of the monsters' bodies, inserted a hand into their chests, and forcibly took out the monster crystal cores in their bodies. When they took them out, blood dripped from their white and tender hands. Each and every magical beast has a crystal core that stores energy in its body. 25 Supreme level magical beasts meet 25 Supreme level crystal cores. After a while, Yunbing and Ziran came back. In his hand, he already had 25 crystal cores, 15 of the middle grade of the Supreme Realm, 8 of the upper grade of the Supreme Realm, 8 of the upper grade of the Supreme Realm, and 2 of the perfect Supreme Realm. Ziran smiled and said, with the 2 lower grade Supreme cores and 1 middle grade Supreme core just now, we now have 28 crystal cores. Zhao Yi collected all the bodies of the Supreme level monsters with a higher level of realm. Every part of the monster's body is a treasure, with high value in use, and cannot be wasted. After the harvest, the 3 continued on their way, wandering around the communication line between the center and the periphery of this giant monster forest. Not going deep is to avoid encountering quasi-saint realms and saint realms, and not going out is to ensure that the monsters encountered are sufficient supreme realms. While flying at a rapid speed, the three encountered several waves of magical beasts on the way, but the highest realm of them was only that of the Great Venerable, so they simply flew past them and ignored them, continuing to fly towards the communication line ahead. It was not until half an hour later that the three encountered another monster's lair. According to perception, there are 6 supreme beings in this nest. Ziran rubbed his hands and said, "Leave these to me. I want to drain them and replenish the energy in my body." The quasi-saint realm made a move, crushing the supreme realm with an attitude with a stretch of his small hand. 6 supreme realm monsters were directly taken out and came into the air. While the 6 monsters were still in a daze, an extremely dark black hole appeared behind Ziran, locking onto the target and bursting out with powerful suction force. And they were sucked into the black hole. They resisted fiercely and tried to break free, but it was all in vain and had no effect at all. Being sucked onto the black hole. The black hole's extremely powerful pulling force and suction for stame. Their skin and hair were torn apart inch by inch, and the blood, energy, and mental strength in their bodies were sucked out of their bodies and plundered by the extremely powerful suction force. The monster's eyes widened so wide that their eyeballs were about to pop out. Ziran was affected by the feedback from the black hole, and he looked radiant and energetic. Yunbing smacked her lips and said, "Ziran, you are simply a juicer. I wonder which unlucky man will sign a contract with you in the future and be squeezed dry every night." Ziran rolled her eyes, full of lust, and said, "Don't talk nonsense, my black hole is a juicer, a perpetual motion machine, but I, Ziran, am not a juicer. Don't speak so badly of me, so naive." Yunbing shook her head. "That's not necessarily true. If you've been single for a long time, you'll find cucumbers pretty. If you've been holding back for too long, you might be crazier than anyone else when you let go." Ziran's mouth twitched, and she was shocked to find that Xiaoyi was staring at her. Her pretty face immediately turned red, and she said speechlessly, "Xiaobing, there are men here. Some things we sisters can just talk about in private." Xiaoyi muttered in his heart, "Sister Yunbing is right about me, she is indeed crazier than other beast girls." Ziran stretched out his hand and 6 crystal cores appeared in his hand. 3 supreme lower grade, 2 supreme middle grade, and 1 supreme upper grade. Chapter 366, The Strong Juicering the Energetic Ziran. The 6 supreme level monsters were sucked into dry and shriveled strips of skin. Xiaoyi's eyelids were twitching. When the monster met Yunbing, it could still retain its body intact, but when it met Ziran, it was completely drained, leaving only dry squeezed bones, and its body was torn to pieces. She is worthy of being called Juicer Queen. Oh, she is worthy of being called Juicer. Ziran's face was ruddy, his eyes were bright, and he threw the crystal core to Yunbing with a smile, saying, "Now that we have the crystal core, let's hurry to the next place." After this battle, she didn't seem to have consumed energy, but rather replenished nutrients, becoming more energetic and powerful. Yunbing was amazed and said enviously, "Your skill is really good, it's like a perpetual motion machine. I want to have this juicer skill." Ziran curled her lips, "You can't make a contract with me, otherwise you can also have all my skills. Besides, I envy your mythical template. You can kill enemies above your level and be invincible at the same level." Yunbing nodded. "By signing a contract with you, I will not only possess your skills, but also your body." Then, she joked, "If you want to have a mythical level, you can make a contract with Xiaoyi, and you can upgrade to a mythical level template." Ziran didn't reply, and no one knew what she was thinking. Then the 3 of them continued on their journey. On the way they encountered another wave of monsters, including some supreme monsters. Ziran took action again and drained all the monsters dry, turning them into dry skin. "I got 6 supreme lower grade ones, 10 supreme middle grade ones, 4 supreme upper grade ones, and 2 supreme perfect ones." Xiaoyi sighed. Although the top level combat power of this planet is not as good as that of Blue Star, its high-end combat power is much greater than that of Blue Star. There are supreme beings everywhere and great masters are as numerous as dogs. So many high levels of attainment are the result of accumulation over thousands of years. It took more than 1,000 years for a supreme being, such as Yunbing, to be promoted to the supreme realm. This special core secret realm opens once every 5,000 years, which is enough time for a newborn baby monster with qualified qualifications to be promoted to the supreme realm. Those with good qualifications can be promoted to quasi-saints. I don't know whether it is unfortunate or fortunate. Although there are many people at a higher level, due to the flaws in the planet's rules, they cannot break through to the quasi-emperor realm and are enslaved and kept in captivity by the seniors of the Blue Star Supreme Alliance. After joining the Supreme Alliance, Xiaoyi learned some information about the Supreme Alliance. He knew that this was a special core secret realm, and that this was a secret realm of the Supreme Alliance that opened once every 5,000 years. The 3 of them continued on their journey. When encountering the three supreme beings, Ziran takes action and turns into a juicer, squeezing everything dry. Set off again. 36 of them were at the Supreme Realm and one was at the Quasi-Saint Realm. Ziran and Yunbing both attacked and killed them without any injury. After killing the monster, Yunbing felt a little tired and his muscles were sore, but Ziran was energetic and her body was strong and powerful. After adjusting their status, the three immediately set off to continue searching for the monster. I encountered them again, 16 at the Supreme Realm, 2 at the Quasi-Saint Realm, 1 at the early stage of Quasi-Saint, and 1 at the perfect Quasi-Saint Realm. Xiao Yi used the innate skill time pause, 5 seconds for the same realm, the higher the enemy's realm. The fewer seconds of time pause to pause the time of the two Quasi-Saint realms, the early Quasi-Saint realm was paused for 0.5 seconds, and the perfect Quasi-Saint realm was paused for 0.1 seconds. Taking advantage of the time pause, Ziran suddenly attacked, unleashing all the might of the Quasi-Saint realm and killing the two Quasi-Saint realm and killing the two Quasi-Saint realm monsters. Between masters, victory or defeat often happens in a flash. After using time stop with all his strength, Xiao Yi saw stars. His limbs felt weak, and he almost fainted. Fortunately, Ziran came over and hugged the fallen Xiao Yi into her arms, letting his head rest on her towering chest, so Xiao Yi did not fall flat on his face. Without the Quasi-Saint Realm monsters, with Ziran's attack, all the Supreme Realm monsters were quickly killed. He inserted his hand into the monster's chest and took out the crystal core. After obtaining the crystal core, Yunbing was already panting. His muscles ached, only 10 of the space energy in his body remained, and his spirit was about to reach its limit. Ziran was jumping around and didn't feel tired or exhausted at all. Yunbing said enviously, "You really are a juicer, a perpetual motion machine." Ziran smiled and said, "Thank you for the compliment." Yunbing counted the number of crystal cores and said, "Since coming here, I have harvested 24 supreme lower grade crystal cores, 48 supreme middle grade crystal cores, 29 supreme upper grade crystal cores, and 10 supreme perfect crystal cores, a total of 111 crystal cores." Ziran nodded. "This mission is almost halfway done. Only a day and a half has passed. Let us find a place to rest and recover our spirit and energy. Then we can continue to look for the Supreme Realm monster. The goal this time is 60 supreme lower grade crystal cores, 60 supreme middle grade crystal cores, 60 supreme upper grade crystal cores, and 20 supreme perfect crystal cores, a total of 200 supreme crystal cores." The three of them found a towering ancient tree and dug a large tree hole. Ziran found 3 beds from his storage ring and placed them in the tree hole. Yunbing put away a bed and said, "Xiao Yi and I can just sleep on the same bed." Then, the power of space swept over himself, sweeping away all the sweat and dust. He didn't even need to take a shower. He immediately became fragrant. Xiao Yi did the same. And he hugged Yunbing and lay on the bed to fall asleep. Ziran's pretty face turned dark looking at the two people kissing next to her. A wave of MMP rushed through her heart. "If you don't take a bath, I will." She pulled the curtain, got out a bathtub, took off her purple skirt and jumped in to take a bath. Time passed slowly. Xiao Yi and Yunbing fell asleep on the bed, while Ziran closed her eyes and rested in the bathtub behind the curtain. 3 hours later, Tang Hao's voice sounded in Xiao Yi's ears. "Tang Hao. Master, there is a holy beast spying on us. It should be a fire-attributed holy beast." Xiao Yi woke up and his brows twitched. A holy realm monster with fire attribute should be the 9-headed snake holy realm monster with fire rules predicted by the prophecy. What is meant to come will come. However, Tang Hao did not appear in the predicted scene. It might be because time was too tight and Tang Hao could not be contacted. But this time, he contacted Tang Hao in advance, so he would not be so embarrassed when facing the holy realm. Not good. The holy realm monsters are approaching rapidly. In 2 minutes, they will be within 100 miles of us. Tang Hao's voice became heavier. Xiao Yi jumped up and jumped off the bed. He patted Yunbing's hips with one hand and said, "Sister Yunbing, wake up quickly. There are holy beasts coming towards us." Yunbing opened his eyes dazed lie, and immediately woke up, standing on the ground fully dressed. After Xiao Yi called Yunbing, he rushed outside the curtain and shouted, "Sister Ziran, a holy beast is coming, get ready to fight." Ziran stood up quickly. Xiao Yi looked through the curtain and vaguely saw her proud figure. Ziran put on a purple skirt, lifted the curtain, and said solemnly, "I didn't feel anything." Which direction did the holy beast come from? There was a loud noise. An area thousands of miles in radius turned into an endless fire zone, and all things were burned to death. Xiao Yi, Yunbing and Ziran were protected by Tang Hao and were safe and sound. Their clothes were intact and not burned. Chapter 367, Endless Fire Territory, Perfect Servant in Quasi-Emperor Realm. An area of thousands of miles in radius turned into an endless fire zone, and all things were directly burnt to a crisp. The towering tree where Xiao Yi and the other two were located also turned into gray smoke filling the sky and directly evaporated. Ziran and Yunbing were facing a formidable enemy, and Xiaoyi's temples were throbbing with warning sounds. Ang Hao's soul power surged out, covering the three people to form a protective shield. The endless flames containing the power of the rules of fire were isolated outside, and the three people were safe and sound. Roar, roar, roar! In the smoke and dust, 9 huge heads, 9 snake heads, suddenly appeared above Xiaoyi. It is from the King Cobra family and its head can stand up. Each snake head has an umbrella-shaped back of the head, which expands like an eye. There is a pair of red eyes in front of the head, and the small tongue sucks, revealing its sharp and cold teeth. From time to time thick and foul-smelling water flows out of the mouth and falls on the protective shield formed by the power of the soul. Ziran and Yunbing showed a look of disgust on their pretty faces, and their stomach acid was churning and they wanted to dry heave. Are you a senior from the Supreme Alliance? This shield is made of soul power. It's the senior from the Bronze Palace. Ziran and Yunbing spoke one after another. Ziran was surprised. Senior from the Bronze Palace. Xiaoyi nodded and said with a smile, Tang Hao, come out. This 9-headed snake holy beast is now in your hands. Can you handle it? Swish. A soul of the white hair, old man Tang Hao appeared in the shield. Standing in front of the three people he looked calm and said with a smile, it's just a small holy realm. I don't take it seriously. Ziran was shocked. A small holy realm. To call the powerful holy realm, where the top masters controlled the power of rules, a small holy realm. It meant that this old man's realm was at least the perfect holy realm, or even the quasi-emperor realm. She looked at Xiaoyu in disbelief. You have such a powerful helper. It's so terrifying. When the smoke and dust cleared, the huge body of the holy hydra was exposed. Its tall, mighty and extremely long body looked like a prehistoric monster, 200 meters tall and 1,000 meters long. Roar! One of the heads in the middle opened its mouth full of thick saliva. The power of the liar surged in its body, and energy gathered in its mouth. The head suddenly sprayed forward. The flame beam containing rich power of fire rules, with great power, penetrated the space and shot towards the protective shield like a falling meteor. There was a loud noise. The moment of impact. A protective shield vibrated and trembled violently. Yunbing and Ziran were fine, but Xiaoyi, whose realm was low, almost fell flat on his face. Fortunately, Yunbing's delicate hands on his left were holding him tightly, and Ziran's slender white hands on his right were also holding him tightly. The two of them were holding each other's arms tightly, making Xiaoyi feel very comfortable. Especially Ziran's Aaron, because he was a little bigger than Yunbing. The comfort of sticking to him was even more amazing. The flame ray beam was still continuing, and the soul power protection shield was vibrating violently, but there was no crack or gap. However, the extremely high temperature still seeped in, and the temperature inside the protective cover rose sharply to more than 1,000 degrees. Ziran and Yunbing Xiang were sweating profusely. The sweat soaked their clothes and stuck to their skin, highlighting their slim figures. Xiaoyi felt so uncomfortable that his whole body turned red, as if he was about to be roasted, and his breath was filled with white steam. Master, please take your 2 sisters-in-law into the bronze hall, and leave this place to me, your servant, Tang Hao requested. But the master's servant contract in place. If Xiaoyi dies, the power of the contract will be triggered and he will also perish. This place is no longer suitable for Xiaoyi to stay. Xiaoyi nodded. The battle in the Holy Land. The aftermath of the battle might cost the lives of the 3 of them, so it would be safer to enter the Bronze Palace. A blue light gate appeared. Xiaoyi held Yunbing in one hand and Ziran in the other, stepped into the blue light gate, and came to the top of the Bronze Palace. After entering the Bronze Hall, the temperature returned to normal and the 3 of them felt very cool. Ziran's beautiful eyes stared at Xiaoyi with great curiosity in her heart. Xiaoyi was even more mysterious and advanced. A beastmaster in the venerable realm had a servant in the perfect saint realm or quasi-emperor realm. This was incredible. The powerful saint realm had their own pride and it was impossible for them to sign a master-servant contract with a small venerable realm. But Xiaoyi did it. Yunbing slapped Ziran's perky but hardened said happily, "You're horny. You keep staring at my husband. Have you been single for too long and are you tired of cucumbers?" Ziran rolled her eyes. "I don't need that. Tell me, how can Xiaoyi contract a saint realm perfection as a servant? Even if it is a soul body, it still needs its own pride and dignity. Being a servant is like being a dog. It is nonsense to let a saint be a dog without some means." Yunbing curled her lips. "I don't know either. After he conquered the Bronze Palace, he had a powerful servant. Why are you so curious? Do you have any thoughts about Xiaoyi? Are you crazy?" Ziran's beautiful eyes gleamed. But she didn't reply. Xiaoyi waved his hand, and a ripple appeared in the air, projecting the scene outside the Bronze Palace. I saw a small bronze palace floating next to Tang Hao. Only Tang Hao was left inside the protective cover. He rubbed his hands together and pinched his fingers, making a crackling sound. A captivating light flashed in his weathered eyes. "I haven't practiced for a long time. My old bones are almost stiff. I'll use you to practice and stretch my muscles." "Hey, I have no bones, let me stretch my soul." A white-haired old man stood steadily in the protective shield with his hands behind his back. His weathered eyes staring calmly at the mighty hydra in the sky. Roar! The hydra was enraged by the indifference in his eyes, and swung its tail, which was 1,000 meters long and 50 meters thick, and slapped towards the protective shield. With a bang, a cloud of dust rose up from the ground, blocking the view. Inside the bronze hall, Ziran and Yun Bing, who were watching the scene, were worried for Tang Hao and watched with their nerves tense. They even ignored the clothes that were clinging to their skin and revealing their graceful figure. Xiao Yi was feasting his eyes. He knew that Tang Hao was a perfect soul body in the quasi-emperor realm. And he didn't worry at all that Tang Hao would fail even if he was a soul body. His combat power was less than 30, for a perfect quasi-emperor. Dealing with a saint was like a body but a stuffed guy bullying an unarmed kid. Xiao Yi, what is the name of this senior? Ziran asked. Xiao Yi, his name is Tang Hao. Why don't we bring Senior Tang into the Bronze Palace as well, as an emperor-level spiritual weapon? A Holy Realm monsters cannot cause any harm to the Bronze Palace if you control the Bronze Palace to leave here. We can escape from danger, Ziran analyzed and suggested calmly. Xiao Yi shook his head. No need to be so troublesome, just leave it to Tang Hao. In the outside world. In the endless fire area. Beast, is that all? The dust dispersed? A protective shield disappeared, and Tang Hao's soul body held up the sky with one hand, with his right hand behind his back, and used his left hand to single an ashen block the beating of the huge tail that was 50 meters thick and hundreds of years long. And his disdainful old voice was heard. The 9 pupils of the Hydra shrank, revealing a look of shock. Tang Hao continued to speak, and the power of rules emerged from his body, perfectly restrained in his soul body. Every move he made could cause the space to shatter. He held the scales on the Hydra's tail with both hands and swung it violently. A shocking scene appeared. The giant Hydra was seen being thrown up into the air. Bang! 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 Tang Hao didn't let go of his hands yet, and kept swinging the Hydra towards the ground. He hit it once, then he hit it a second time, he hit it a second time, then he hit it a third time. The Hydra's eyes were full of stars, the blood was surging in its body, and the power of rules in its body was bound and unable to be mobilized. It couldn't break free, and the snake's head was almost smashed to pieces. Chapter 368, Death in the Saint Realm, an opportunity for breakthrough. After reaching the Holy Realm, the body is comparable to a treasure. Even if it falls from the atmosphere and hits the ground, it will not suffer the slightest damage. But when it was hit by this human, it saw stars, its brain went blank, and its whole body felt like it was about to break apart in excruciating pain. We've almost finished exercising, it's time to serve the main course. Tang Hao's tone was calm, and the rules of force penetrated his body, forming a boundary, blocking the hydrate and isolating everything around it. He was cultivating the rules of force, and on the road to the quasi-emperor realm, he was already able to communicate and regulate the essence of the rules of the great way of force. Bang! With a sound, he raised his hands that were holding the snake's body high up, and slammed them towards the ground, and the Hydra crashed into the ground again. Ouch! The Hydra immediately let out a miserable cry of pain. A difference from before was that when he hit the ground before, he just felt tremendous pain in his muscles all over his body, but this time, all his internal organs felt like they were being pounded by the center of the earth, and were about to be broken and torn apart. A Hydra's head spat out black blood in unison. At this time, it was already seriously injured. Tang Hao inserted his hands into the snake's body and tore it apart with great force. A sharp tearing sound was heard. The Hydra's body was torn open, and its intestines fell out. Brushing against Tang Hao's face, the hot and smelly blood fell to the ground, melting the fiery red soil with a hiss. The tear was 100 meters long and the Hydra struggled violently. Tang Hao kicked his snake head into the ground, embedding it in the soil. Other snake heads also fell to the ground one after another. The Hydra was already dying, exhaling more than inhaling, and was on the verge of death. Tang Hao drilled into the torn gap, swam around in the Hydra's body, and then with a, he drilled out from the 7-inch part, holding a 10-centimeter red crystal core in his hand. The power of fire rules flows on the surface of the crystal core, affecting the surrounding space and causing it to become distorted. The Holy Realm monster died, and the endless fire area within a radius of thousands of miles around it gradually dissipated, revealing a charred surface. Tang Hao put his hands behind his back, staring into the depths of space with calm eyes, and spoke calmly, but his voice was resounding through the heavens. Ripples appeared in the depths of the void in several directions far away, and then became completely silent. Tang Hao said disapprovingly, "You are lucky, I have passed the stage of youthful vigor otherwise." In the bronze hall, Ziran was stunned, her pretty face was dull, and she murmured, "What realm is this senior at? He scared away dozens of saints with just one sentence." Yun Bing was also stunned. "So awesome?" Ziran nodded dumbly and said, "Yes. It is so awesome. The fight just now has probably attracted the attention of all the holy beasts on this planet. Yun Bing was surprised and asked curiously, Xiao Yi, what realm is Senior Tang at? She had seen Tang Hao take action in the Yi family's territory in Jinling City. But she didn't know Tang Hao's specific realm, she only knew that he controlled the Yi family's Saint Realm ancestor with one move, causing him to lose his temper and kneel down to apologize. Xiao Yi smiled mysteriously. The Quasi-Emperor realm is complete. Hiss. Ziran and Yun Bing both took a deep breath and said in shock. The Quasi-Emperor realm is perfect, so terrifying. I knew my senior was awesome, but I didn't expect him to be this awesome. A blue light gate appeared, and the white-haired old man Tang Hao appeared next to Xiao Yi, clasping his fists and saying, Master, the crisis has been resolved. This is the crystal core of the holy beast. He took out the red fire crystal core containing the power of the fire rule, lowered his head and presented it to Xiao Yi with both hands. Xiao Yi accepted it and said with a smile, Uncle Tang, just call me Xiao or Xiao Yi. A smile appeared on Tang Hao's wrinkled soul face. And he said, then I will call you Brother Xiao. I am Brother Xiao's servant, so calling me Xiao is not appropriate. And he glanced at Ziran and Yun Bing calmly, clasped his fists and said respectfully, Greetings, my two sisters-in-law. Ziran and Yun Bing were somewhat flattered. It was a bit too much for them to bear being treated with such respect by a powerful quasi-emperor. Ziran's pretty face turned red, and she thought to herself, I'm not Xiao Yi's wife, but I'm actually called sister-in-law. I'm actually a little excited. But it be that I'm attracted to Xiao Yi? Xiao Yi took out the soul-snatching orb, a rule-level treasure, and said with a smile, Mr. Tang, your realm is very high, but your soul body is not suitable for fighting. After all, the consumption this time should be quite a lot. I will give you the right to freely enter and exit the soul power space in the soul capture orb so that you can recover your soul power. Tang Hao was overjoyed, his old face blossomed like a chrysanthemum, and he said gratefully, Brother Xiao, thank you very much. Xiao Yi could feel that Tang Hao was more sincere towards him, and less mechanical in dealing with his master. After saying hello, Tang Hao entered the soul capture orb for a soul body like him. The rule-level soul power space was more suitable for him than any other place. It was like a comfortable living place specially tailored for him. Ziran and Yun Bing found a shelter, changed into a dry purple skirt and leather jacket and leather pants, and took off the sweaty purple skirt and leather jacket. Xiao Yi complained. Sister Yun Bing, you are my beast mother, you don't have to avoid me. Also, don't you have other styles of clothes? If I didn't know that you have many sets of clothes of the same color and style, I would have thought that you didn't take a shower or change clothes every day. Ziran rolled her eyes, showing her pure lust, and said with her rosy little mouth, I'm not your beast mother, why do you care so much? Yun Bing threw a coquettish glance at him, and said, there are other clothes. You asked me to buy stewardess uniforms, nurse uniforms, teacher uniforms, female manager uniforms, and white silk, black silk, and a silk knee-high socks with letters. There are plenty of them. But that's for night wear, not for public viewing. Ziran was stunned, the corner of his mouth twitched as he said, you guys are really kidding. Yun Bing glared at him, you're not much better. You, Ray, probably more skilled at watching movies than we are. Ziran's pretty face turned red. Don't talk nonsense, I am Huang's daughter. Xiao Yi opened the blue light door and came to the outside of the bronze palace with two beautiful ladies with different temperaments. At this time, Tang Hao sent a voice message to Xiao Yi. Brother Xiao, the nine-headed snake has the aura of a treasure. There must be something good in its lair. Xiao Yi's eyes lit up and he asked, can you find its nest? Tang Hao transmitted his voice. I can find its lair based on its movement trajectory during its lifetime and the remaining power of the law of fire. Brother Xiao, I will show you the way. Then, under Tang Hao's guidance, Xiao Yi and the other two flew towards the inner circle of this giant monster mountain range. Along the way, no one knew from whom the monsters in the monster mountain range received orders. But when they saw Xiao Yi and the other two, they quickly moved away like frightened rabbits. The three of them went straight to a natural underground cave without any hindrance. Tang Hao transmitted his voice. Brother Xiao, this should be the lair of the holy beast. The cave is filled with magma, the temperature is quite high, and there is no magical beast. Ziran suddenly shouted in surprise, wow, devouring the energy source. Xiao Bing, Xiao Qi, my chance to break through has arrived. Please help me protect the law. Chapter 316 Scene Breaking Through the Saint Realm, Physical Defects. Deep in the cave, there is a clear pool with a suitable temperature and a cool breeze. The clear deep pool was bubbling with small bubbles, and was filled with rich devouring original energy, which was the origin of attribute power. Different from the origin of the power of rules. This is the origin of energy, which is most suitable for the body with condensed attributes in the quasi-saint realm. Ziran's breakthrough at this time was a perfect combination of timing, location and people. Xiao Yi and Yun Bing walked to the side of the deep pool and were surprised to see the energy source droplets in such a large deep pool. This thing is naturally produced and is very rare and precious. This cave has a special magnetic field that can vaguely connect to the devouring class rules over the years. The water in this deep pool has been affected and changed, and each drop has been transformed into the source of devouring class energy. According to my estimation, the history of this deep pool is probably over 10,000 years. Tang Hao analyzed in voice transmission. Xiao Yi nodded and said, Sister Ziran, just go ahead and break through, leave the protection to us. Yun Bing continued, Xiao Yi, you take Senior Tang out and guard the Dharma outside. And I will guard the Dharma inside this cave. Ziran had already taken off her shoes and white socks, revealing her delicate and white feet, and was ready to start taking off her skirt. Hey, Xiao Yi, you two grown men, please go outside. Do you want to stay here and watch me take a bath? Xiao Yi shrugged, took out the Quasi-Saint Realm Enlightenment tea can from the system space, opened the can, took out 2 pieces of Enlightenment tea leaves from it, threw them into the deep pool, and said with a smile, with this thing, I guarantee that your breakthrough will be smooth this time. Ziran was stunned. Do you want me to drink my own bath water? Xiao Yi walked outside and said, You don't have to drink it with your mouth, it can be absorbed through the skin of course, you can drink it with your mouth if you want. After a while, Yun Bing and Ziran were the only ones left in the place. Facing her good sister Yun Bing, Ziran was not shy at all. She naturally took off her skirt into pieces of underwear, leaving her body completely white, revealing her proud figure. Suddenly, Yun Bing was attracted and exclaimed, No wonder you are so narcissistic, I like it when I see it. Ziran proudly raised her little head, opened her hands, turned around twice, and said, How is it? Doesn't it look good? Are you ashamed of your self-harm and feel inferior? Yun Bing's mouth twitched. I told you were fat and you gasped. She raised her foot and kicked Ziran on her perky, but Ziran stretched out his hand, staggered and fell down, and fell into the deep pool with a splash, splashing to meters of water. After seeing what I have, you just feel inferior. Okay, I'm going to start the breakthrough, you can do whatever you want. Ziran was immersed in the deep pool with only his head exposed. With his eyes closed, he began to absorb and devour the energy source, taking the final step to break through his attribute body. Yun Bing squatted beside the deep pool. The energy source droplets in the deep pool were so clear that one could see the reflection of her graceful figure clearly in the water. She frowned, feeling impatient, and said, Among the 4 sisters, I am the only one who is still in the Supreme Realm after Ziran broke through the Saint Realm. They were all at least in the Saint Realm. Only I am still in the Supreme Realm, and I am the 3rd level of the Supreme Realm. I'm past, and 3 days passed. Inside the cave a thin devouring power of rules appeared, permeating the entire cave. The closer to the deep pool, the thicker the power of rules. Yun Bing had already left the deep pool and murmured, I broke through so quickly. In the deep pool, Ziran suddenly opened his eyes, and a ray of light shot out. The devouring rule power that was scattered in the cave gathered towards the deep pool, and was then absorbed into Ziran's body. An hour later, a smile appeared on her pretty face, and she said, I have made a perfect breakthrough, and my realm has been consolidated. This enlightenment tea has shortened the time it takes me to make a breakthrough by more than 10 times. She jumped onto the shore, and because of her huge movement, the fruits shook up and down. Yun Bing flashed in front of her, and after taking a look at her, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he pointed at her with a slender white finger, and said in astonishment, No, you secretly ate papaya when you broke through. Why do I feel that your figure has obviously become bigger, more curvy and more prominent? Ziran said blankly, No. Who ate papaya? Then, she took out a floor-length mirror from her storage ring, placed it beside her, opened her hands and looked carefully in front of the mirror, and said in surprise and excitement, It's actually true. Now, my figure is no less than Xiao Bing's. It should be my template problem that caused the physical defects. The higher the realm, the more unstable the template, and the greater the physical defects caused, so my figure has improved. But, well, maybe I've become more narcissistic. As Ziran was talking, a bold idea popped into her mind. She wanted to record it, and use a camera to carefully record this good figure. After returning, Xiao Yu will treat her physical defects. After the treatment, her body will shrink and become ordinary. By then, it will be unknown how long it will take for her to regain her good figure. Yun Bing watched her take out the tablet computer and place it in Midra with the camera facing Ziran herself. Yun Bing's mouth twitched immediately, and he said, Ziran, you pervert, are you planning to take new photos? Ziran admitted generously and nodded, Yes. But such a good figure, I guess it's the peak of my figure. It won't be there after I go back. Why not record it so that I can recall it later? Yun Bing was speechless, missing. Why was this train of thought so strange? It's up to you. Just shoot it, just don't include me in it. I'm not used to being treated as a porn movie. You should also be careful. After taking the photo, don't let a man see it, such as Xiao Yi. Ziran posed at several angles to capture every aspect of her figure. Then she put away her tablet and put on her clothes, a purple dress. Yunbing reminded. It seems that you haven't set a password for your tablet. Ziran said casually. I keep this thing close to me, who can take it from me? If someone really took it away, it doesn't matter whether there is a password or not, and it's not difficult to crack the password. Yunbing. She had a vague feeling that this thing would be seen by someone. After the breakthrough was completed, Yunbing called Xiaoyi in. Xiaoyi looked at Ziran, whose breasts were even more erect, and said in surprise, Sister Ziran, you don't need my method, you can satisfy your wish by yourself. Ziran rolled her eyes and said, it won't last for a few days, it will be gone when you go back, you know that. Xiaoyi nodded and decided to start massaging to solve the body defects after returning. Then Xiaoyi extended his divine consciousness to cover the entire deep pool, and used his innate skill space compression. Shrink the space on the deep pool, compressing all the water in the deep pool into the size of a drop of water. Yunbing asked in confusion, why do you want this? Do you want to drink Ziran's bath water? Ziran waved her hand and said with a smile, drink if you want, I don't mind. Chapter 370 Collection completed, return. Ziran broke through the Saint Realm, and most of the energy source droplets in the deep pool remained. Xiaoyi threw the compressed crystal water droplets to Ziran and said, we have wasted 3 days here, and it is time for us to set off. Ziran took it and patted his chest. As for the Supreme Realm Crystal Core, leave it to me. I just broke through the Saint Realm, so I just wanted to test out the power of the Saint Realm. The 3 of them came out of the cave and went directly to the inner circle of the monster mountain range to search for the supreme monster. Soon they found a group of magical beasts living here, a group of magical beasts with fire attributes. This is a large tribe with thousands of magical beasts. There are magical beasts in the Holy Realm. There are 16 quasi-Saint Realm monsters and as many as 60 Supreme Realm monsters. In order to kill more efficiently, Xiaoyi asked Tang how to suppress the Holy Realm monsters. Without the obstruction of the Holy Realm monsters, Ziran and Yunbing started a killing spree, launched a one-sided massacre against the Holy Realm and Supreme Realm monsters. The black hole summoned by Ziran was even bigger in size, and was filled with the power of rules. Its suction and pulling forces increased dramatically as long as a monster approached. No matter it was a quasi-saint monster or a supreme monster, it would be drained dry. Within half an hour, all the monsters above the Supreme Realm were slaughtered. Ziran took out the 50 or so crystal cores he had obtained and threw them to Yunbing. Yunbing killed more than 20 supreme-level monsters and obtained 24 supreme-level crystal cores. There are 76 crystal cores in total, including the previous ones, a total of 60 supreme lower-grade crystal cores, 80 supreme middle-grade crystal cores, 42 supreme upper-grade crystal cores, 26 supreme perfect crystal cores, and 18 quasi-Saint Realm crystal cores were obtained. Yunbing said, that's enough, these crystal cores are enough for me to break through to the quasi-Saint Realm. Ziran was surprised, you have collected them all so quickly? Yunbing nodded. Xiaoyi Chun was just a spectator. Not contributing much, he just sat on a big rock with his legs crossed, admiring the fight between the 2 absolutely beautiful ladies. As for Tang Hao, Xiaoyi took a look at him and stopped paying attention to him. He thought that there was nothing good about just a rough guy. Brother Xiao, do you want to kill this monster? Tang Hao stepped on the Holy Realm monster with both feet, suppressing it so that it could not move. Xiaoyi then said, don't waste your energy. Just take him into the Bronze Palace. He used the Bronze Palace's capturing function. The Bronze Palace projected green and red lights, unlocking the world restrictions on the Holy Realm monster and taking it into the Bronze Palace. A burst of fragrant wind blew in Ziran, and Yunbing came to Xiaoyi and said, we should get out now. Xiaoyi nodded, opened a blue light door, and took Tang Hao and Yunbing into the Bronze Hall. Ziran held the small tower tightly in her arms, and Aoran was even squeezed and deformed. She took out the token and crushed it with her small hands. A space crack appeared and sucked her in. There was a flash of white light, and a space crack appeared in the hall of the Supreme Alliance leader. And a purple light spurted out. Ziran landed steadily on the ground, her purple dress fluttering in the wind, and her 3,000 strands of hair dancing with it. After returning here, she did not ask Xiaoyi and the others to come out immediately. Instead, she sat in the leader's seat, took out her tablet, clicked on the video, and checked the short video she recorded in the cave. In an instant, the eye's graceful figure appeared in the short video, constantly posing, perfectly showing off her curvaceous and proud figure. Ziran was somewhat intoxicated by what she saw, and before she knew it, she was staring in a trance. She murmured to herself, I really don't want to lose this figure. Or, should I wait for 10 or 8 years, and then ask Xiaoyi to solve my physical defect? Once this idea came up, it expanded uncontrollably and occupied my entire mind. She looked determined and said, yes. Let's do it this way. Wait another 10 years to fix my physical defects. I don't want to lose my good figure. Otherwise, if you want to have it again, you don't know when you will have it again. Just when she was about to call Xiaoyi and the others out, her face suddenly changed. Her pretty face turned extremely pale, she covered her flat stomach, hunched her waist, and a mouthful of black blood spurted out of her mouth. With a clang, the tablet computer fell to the ground, with Bai Xiao's video still playing on it in a loop. Ziran didn't care about it. He hugged his legs and curled up on the leader's seat. His face was pale and bloodless, his whole body was shaking. He said weakly, What's wrong with me? She discovered that the power of rules in her body was raging and running wildly in her body. Fortunately, she continued to suppress it, so the power of rules did not escape from her body and cause damage to the Alliance leader's hall. However, the power of rules in the body still ran wildly out of control, constantly and violently washing the internal organs and the extraordinary meridians. If she continued like this, she might end up with her body broken into pieces. A blue light gate appeared, and Xiaoyi and Yunbing walked out. The first thing they saw was Ziran, who was curled up on the magnificent chair, pale and in pain. Yunbing rushed forward and asked anxiously, Ziran, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? She was at a loss and had no idea how to respond. Xiaoyi touched his chin and guessed, could it be that the template is extremely unstable after the breakthrough? Ziran finally couldn't suppress the devouring power of rules. The violent power of rules leaked out and ran rampant in the hall unscrupulously. All the facilities were destroyed in an instant. Xiaoyi's face changed, and he took out the rule level Xuanhuang gemstone with the fastest hand speed in his life and activated the absorption function. A dark yellow gem emitted a faint light, covering the entire hall, and instantly absorbed all the leaked power of rules. Xiaoyi placed the Xuanhuang gemstone next to Ziran's rosy little mouth and said in a serious voice, Open your mouth and hold this in your mouth. Don't swallow it. Ziran's mind went blank and she opened her mouth obediently. Xiaoyi immediately stuffed the Xuanhuang gem into it. Ziran shut up immediately, but Xiaoyi got anxious and said, Wait, I haven't taken my hand out yet. Why are you biting my hand? But Ziran was in great pain at this time, as if she had found a life-saving straw. She bit the Xuanhuang gem and Xiaoyi's fingers tightly with her teeth, trying hard not to cry out in pain. Yunbing said unhappily, It won't hurt to let her take a bite, so just leave it like that. Xiaoyi's face darkened and he said, She bit me too hard, it hurts. The absorption function of the Xuanhuang gem is still being activated. The violent power of rules in Ziran's body seems to have an outlet and keeps rushing into his mouth. A Xuanhuang gemstone was as vast as the sea and the river, accepting everything and absorbing all the violent rule power. As the violent power of rules in Ziran's body was absorbed, her complexion gradually improved and the pain was much relieved. It was no longer like before, as if her internal organs and meridians were about to be torn apart. Yunbing was overjoyed and said, It works, great. A burst of MP flashed through Xiaoyi's heart. The joy is in your heart, but the pain is in my hands. Suddenly he saw an incredible scene on the ground, and his eyes widened immediately. This, Fulij? He admired it with great interest and almost forgot the pain in his hands. Chapter 371, Feast your eyes and escape from danger. This figure is really good. It's even more exciting and better looking than those little movies in my previous life. She has a graceful figure and long, white legs. Why does this back figure look familiar? After watching for a few seconds, the heroine turned around, revealing her front and her exquisite, beautiful and pure face. Xiaoyi was shocked. Is this Sister Ziran? Oh my god. This is actually Ziran's fully video. After being slightly shocked, Xiaoyi decided to watch this short video again with 200 of his concentration, as a reward for being bitten. Time passed slowly. After about 5 minutes, Ziran felt relieved. The color returned to her pretty face, and she looked rather haggard. The violent devouring rule power in her body had been completely absorbed by the Xuanhuang gem without the rule power running around. The damaged internal organs and meridians in her body were no longer aggravated by the nourishment of her own energy. When Ziran opened her eyes, she felt something strange in her mouth and saw the finger she had bitten in her mouth. In an instant, her innocent face turned red. Her fair neck was red, and her beautiful eyes were filled with shame. This action was so ambiguous that she couldn't help but think of a scene in a porn movie. It made her feel very embarrassed. Yunbing saw the color return to Ziran's face and knew that she was out of danger. She breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, Xiaoyi, why don't you pull your hand out quickly? Do you want to be bitten all the time? Being bitten by the most beautiful girl in the capital, you must feel very accomplished. Xiaoyi was so absorbed in watching that he didn't hear what she was saying. Yunbing was surprised. He turned around and was immediately shocked. The tablet computer on the ground was the one that Ziran used in the cave. Mayamou glanced at the content playing on the tablet. Yunbing widened her eyes and a ball of anger rose in her heart. Not only did you look at other beauties, but you also looked at them infatuated like a pervert. And didn't even hear what I said. Yunbing raised her hand and took Xiaoyi's hand away, then picked up the tablet on the ground, turned off the screen, and placed it on the table next to her. Her little face was full of warnings, and she said, This is my best friend. Don't let your imagination run wild. Xiao Yi looked at the table next to him with some regret. He hadn't seen enough top-level talent like Ziran, would never get boring no matter how many times he saw it. Yun Bing snorted coldly. Ziran took off the Xuan Huang gem that was stained with saliva, took out a handkerchief and wiped it carefully, then gave it back to Xiao Yi and said gratefully, "Xiao Yi, thank you. You are a good person." Xiao Yi put away the Xuan Huang gemstone, wiped his hands, which were stained with crystal water, on his clothes casually, and said with a smile, "You're welcome. I, Xiao Yi, have always been willing to help others. I often help old ladies cross the road, save girls who have fallen, and help young people in need at home." Ziran looked at Xiao Yi's extremely handsome face, and she unconsciously felt a sense of security in her heart. No one knew how helpless she was when she was tortured just now, wandering in the abyss of pain as if she was about to die. Just when she was about to give up resistance, Xiao Yi was like the warm sun, illuminating the darkness, expelling the cold, pulling her out of the abyss, and making her no longer in pain, cold and helpless. As the leader of the Supreme Alliance and a powerful saint, her own realm is her greatest sense of security. But at that moment, the realm failed. Yun Bing listened to Xiao Yi's words, her pretty face darkened. She kicked him and said unhappily, "You still want to save the fallen girl? I think your purpose is not pure poverty alleviation. Don't think I don't know what you mean by poverty alleviation. Liu has told us that you want to find a wild woman." Xiao Yi's face turned red. "Please don't expose me in front of Sister Ziran, okay? Don't I have any face?" Ziran covered her mouth and chuckled. Her two beautiful big eyes narrowed into crescents. She felt that Xiao Yi was handsome and cute. A very interesting and capable man. "Okay, Xiao Bing, with a beauty like you by his side, I guess Xiao Yi will look down on those vulgar women out there, so don't blame him," Ziran said. Yun Bing snorted and said unhappily, "Don't say nice things here and you, Ziran, I told you not to take random videos. I told you that this video might be seen by other men. Xiao Yi just watched the video you filmed for at least 5 minutes. He saw everything about you. You have lost all your innocence. And yet you still speak well of him." Ziran was confused. "Xiao Yi, is what Xiao Bing said true?" Xiao Yi scratched the back of his head, feeling a little embarrassed. His old face turned red and he said, "Well, I was watching with appreciation, and I definitely didn't have any intention of blasphemy. Yes, that's it." After getting his recognition, Ziran's pretty face, which had just returned to normal, suddenly turned as red as a red apple again, and her face turned red. She avoided his gaze, too embarrassed to look directly at Xiao Yi. He covered her face with her hands, trying to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Her physical defects led to her narcissism and the expansion of her figure, but did not affect her shyness as a woman. After a while, Ziran blushed. Her narcissism overcoming her shyness, she raised her head and asked curiously, "Do I have a nice figure, better than Yun Bing's?" Xiao Yi was stunned, nodded and said nothing. Ziran curled the corner of her mouth, then glanced at Yun Bing as if to show off. Yun Bing's mouth twitched. Given you are so narcissistic, you still compare yourself to me after being seen naked." Xiao Yi touched his nose and changed the subject. "Just now, the Xuan Huang gemstone only absorbed the surface power of your body. The chaotic power of your genes in your cells is still there, and your physical defects are still there. If you don't believe me, you can try to mobilize the power of rules to see if there will be any backlash." Ziran nodded, sat cross-legged, and slightly mobilized the power of rules. With a poo sound, she spat out a mouthful of blood and her face turned paler. Yun Bing glared at Xiao Yi and said, "Don't lead her recklessly, or someone will die." Xiao Yi smiled inferently and shook his head. Ziran suppressed the little power of rules that was raging again in his body, thought for a moment, and pleaded solemnly, "Xiao Yi, please heal my physical defects and template problems for me. Right now." She wanted to wait until 10 or 8 years later before seeking treatment from Xiao Yi, but the sudden outburst of the power of rules forced her to change her mind. No matter how much you care about your figure and don't want to lose it, it is not as important as your own life. If you lose your life, you lose your life. I'm still alive, and I can use Xiao Yi's method to slowly get my body back in shape. It may just take a little longer to get back to my current peak figure. Yun Bing was surprised. "You also have a template problem?" Ziran nodded. "Yes, an overly narcissistic personality and an inflated body are physical defects caused by template problems." Yun Bing's mouth twitched. That he suddenly realized, "I see, you are so narcissistic, and you often compare your figure with the heroines in action art movies. You are just like a pervert, not a normal person." Ziran's face darkened. "If you want to call me a pervert, just do it directly, no need to beat around the bush." Xiao Yi spoke up at this time. "Sister Ziran, if you want to treat your physical defects, then go upstairs and take a bath, lie on the couch and wait for me to start." Chapter 370 to solving Ziran's physical defects. "Then I'll go." Ziran went upstairs. Yun Bing looked at him with a complicated expression. She just watched the short video, but she would have to get her hands dirty later. That person was her good friend. Xiao Yi shrugged and said, "Why you still standing there? Let's go upstairs together." Yun Bing snorted, followed behind with long legs, and said, "I'll deal with you when I get back." The third floor of the Alliance Leaders Hall is Ziran's private area and a resting floor. The two sat on the sofa and waited half an hour later. Ziran, wearing a purple dress and with white steam coming out of it, walked out of the bathroom slowly. Her slightly damp hair was spread around her waist, and her whole body exuded a faint fragrance in the white steam. Her extremely pure and beautiful face could be vaguely seen from a distance. 2 little feet, without shoes, walked slowly towards me. "Xiao Yi, let's start," Ziran said with a calm smile. Xiao Yi nodded and asked, "Which room?" Ziran pointed to where he was resting, took the lead and walked in, patted the couch, and said, "Here." Xiao Yi followed him in and took a look at the bedroom. It was decorated very cozily, except that clothes were scattered around and things on the table were all over the place. Xiao Yi tried to close the door, but was blocked by Yun Bing's long legs. He said, "Why are you closing the door? Are you trying to stop me from peeking? Just give Ziran a massage, I'll watch here." Xiao Yi shrugged, "Just don't be jealous. I don't mind." Ziran was about to untie her skirt. When she heard the voice, she glared at Yun Bing angrily and said, "Xiaobing, don't be so stingy. Xiao Yi is treating me, not doing anything shady besides. Do you think I will let Xiao Yi cross the line?" Yun Bing shook her head and smiled. "Ziran, I trust you very much. The one I'm worried about is Xiao Yi. I'm fine with other women, but not you. Ray is pretty as me. And your figure is much better than mine. Your innocent face is every man's first love." Ziran was stunned. "So, you are worried about Xiao Yi's reaction?" Yun Bing nodded. "Yes, he will also make some unnecessary movements during the massage." Ziran looked at Xiao Yi thoughtfully, then nodded and said, "Okay then, the door will not be closed. And Xiao Bing will supervise from the side." Xiao Yi. Then, in front of Xiao Yi and Yun Bing, Ziran took off her purple skirt, revealing her slender and proud figure. She then took off her bouillon panties, threw them on the head of the bed, and lay down on them. "Xiao Yi, I'm ready, you go ahead." Ziran's pretty face was rosy and her skin was red. Xiao Yi stared at it in a daze. The real thing looked much better up close than the flat screen in the short video. The 3-dimensional one was much stronger than the 2-dimensional one. There was no comparison at all. As for the feeling it looked like, it could only be understood but not described. Ziran's mouth twitched, and she said, "Xiao Yi, I didn't completely believe what Xiaobing said just now, but now I completely believe it. You kept looking at my private parts in front of Xiaobing and me, right?" She said angrily, "Why don't you start the treatment right away?" Xiao Yi came back to his senses, smiled calmly and said, "Sister Ziran, you misunderstood me. Everyone has different physical defects. I want to deduce your personal massage secret method. Wait for me for 10 minutes. He added, "I need to know your body clearly so that I can develop a customized massage route for you, so you have to keep watching." Ziran was a little confused. "So that's how it is." Yun Bing, who was leaning against the door frame with his arms crossed, opened the door and said, "Xiao Yi is right. We really need to deduce first and then get started. This is already very good. If other massage masters come, they will probably touch you before they deduce the secret method. I guess it's because I'm here that he can't help but not touch me." Ziran suddenly realized, "Okay. Just look, do you want me to spread my arms and legs to look?" Xiao Yi replied, "That's great." Ziran did as she was told, stretching her arms and legs apart so that Xiao Yi could observe her more comprehensively and clearly. Her pretty face was almost completely red, and she shyly covered her face with a pillow. Even though she was the leader of the alliance and a saint, she still found this posture very embarrassing. Xiao Yi was stunned and almost showed a smell. The person in front of him is the leader of the Supreme Alliance, Ziran, a powerful saint. Yun Bing was also shocked and said angrily, "You are such a jerk. Ziran, you seduced my husband in front of me, your best friend. On the surface, you are a holy, elegant, pure goddess, but in reality, you are a jerk." Ziran said in a muffled voice, "Didn't you say that we should see it clearly before we can deduce the massage route? You said that yourself?" "I did what you said, but you slandered me as a piece of shit, huh?" Yun Bing's pretty face turned red and she immediately lost her temper. Yes, she did say that just now. But when Xiao Yi looked at her so closely, she felt sour in her heart and couldn't help but feel angry. Yun Bing scratched his hair with both hands. He couldn't curse or say anything. He felt like he was going crazy. She walked into the living room and stopped guarding the door. Standing there would only make her angrier. In the bedroom, Xiao Yi admired it intensely for half a minute. Half a minute later, he extracted Ziran's exclusive massage secret method given by the template adjuster, read it, and practiced it in his mind. Just like before, now after you have rehearsed it in your mind and made sure there are no mistakes, you can actually practice it. Ziran felt that this was the most embarrassing moment in her life. She was seen naked by a grown man at close range. He looked at her for such a long time, and she couldn't say anything wrong. "Xiao Yi, do you think my figure is better or Xiao Shi's figure is better?" she asked. trying to find a topic to talk about. Xiao Yi took another hard look and said, I don't know Sister Yan, she wears a thick white robe all day long. I can't compare. So, among all the women you have ever seen, I have the best figure? Ziran threw away the pillow that was covering her face and asked proudly. Xiao Yi replied, probably. Ziran raised the corners of her rosy lips and continued to ask. How about those heroines in the action art movies you have seen? Xiao Yi curled his lips and said, don't compare you with those mediocre women, you are not even on the same level. Ziran was so happy that she even forgot to be shy. She said proudly, of course. I am Ziran, the most beautiful girl in the imperial capital. Hearing the sound coming from the house, Yunbing walked to the door curiously again and peeked inside secretly. Only to see the people chatting happily. But that scene is a little unbearable to watch. How can a beautiful woman be so naked and chat with a grown man? After Xiao Yi had been rehearsing the massage secret method for 10 minutes, he rehearsed it more than 10 times in his mind, and then said, I have finished the rehearsal and am ready to start the formal treatment. Sister Ziran, are you ready? Ziran was stunned. It's ready already? I thought it would take several days. And go ahead as long as it's not too fierce, I can handle it. Xiao Yi nodded and raised his hand to touch it. Chapter 373, Ticklish Ziran. There are approximately 50 to single occupants, 309 double occupants, and 50 extra meridian occupants around the human body, for a total of 720 occupants. Xiao Yi started from the forehead and massaged the occupants on the head. Techniques: kneading, pricking, tapping and pressing. After activating the acupuncture points throughout the body, they are connected in series to form an ancient and special magic array. The magic array can guide out the power of chaotic rules hidden at the microscopic level, that is, in the atoms deep in the genes of cells. Xiao Yi's hands pressed on Ziran's white forehead, gently pressing and rubbing it. He could clearly see Ziran's beautiful trembling eyelashes and rosy and innocent face. From her innocent face, one could only see shyness and strangeness, but not a trace of nervousness. Sister Ziran, aren't you nervous? Xiao Yi asked in surprise. Ziran opened her beautiful eyes, stared at Xiao Yi, who was bending over, and said with a smile, why should I be nervous? You won't hurt me. In fact, secretly, she knew it. There are 720 acupuncture points in the human body, 108 of which are vital points among them. 72 points are generally massaged by pressing and kneading without causing harm to the human body. The remaining 36 points are fatal points, commonly known as death points. There is no adverse effect of normal massage on these 36 fatal points. For it to be fatal, there must be unexpected gravity, abnormal force, or dangerous objects as the necessary conditions. The death points are divided into 4 types: soft, numb, dizzy, mild and severe. Each type has 9 points together. There are 36 fatal points. In the fight between life and death, they are used as killers. Therefore Xiao Yi's massage would not cause any harm to her. Xiao Yi smiled. This was great. He didn't have to do psychological counseling and massage occupants at the same time, which saved him a lot of energy. When massaging the occupants on the cheeks, Xiao Yi used scrubbing techniques and rubbed them gently a few times. The face is very smooth and feels very good. It was the first time that Ziran had her face rubbed, and she felt a strange feeling in her heart. Massage the occupants one by one to activate them. After the occupants on the head are massaged, it is now the turn of the limbs. Sister Ziran, let's start massaging your hands now. Spread your hands open. I'm going to massage several occupants on your palms, armpits, etc., Xiao Yi said seriously. Ziran exclaimed, do you want to do it under your armpits too? I'm ticklish. Xiao Yi looked at the white armpits and said, it's okay, I'm quick, 3 seconds will be enough. Ziran nodded and spread out her hands to make it easier for Xiao Yi to massage. Xiao Yi held her small hand in his rough big hand, then touched her soft palm, using acuspur techniques and energy to activate the occupants and make them active. The strange feeling in Ziran's heart became even stronger. Her hand was touched again. After 1 minute of massaging on the palms, you are done. Xiao Yi looked at her armpits. They were very clean and white, without a single hair. It seemed that Ziran cared a lot about her hygiene. But when he saw the armpit, his eyes unconsciously looked towards the proud man next to him. Very good, even better than Gongming Ding. Xiao Yi, please be gentle, I can't help laughing, Ziran said nervously. Xiao Yi withdrew his gaze and said inwardly, don't look at it inappropriately, sorry. Okay. I'll try my best, he replied. Xiao Yi grabbed her arm with one hand and used the stabbing technique with the other hand to forcefully prick her fair and tender armpit. There were only 3 occupants that needed to be activated, so 9 pricks would be enough. Ziran laughed out loud. His body moved unconsciously, and his arms closed together and pressed against his body. Xiao Yi's eyes widened. Her movement allowed his hand to be controlled by Ziran. After Ziran laughed for a while, she said apologetically, sorry, I'm ticklish. My armpits are my eragonus zone. If you press so hard, I'll break down. I can try another way. But before that, can you please open your hands a little more? Xiao Yi's hand was still on Aoran. Aoran reacted, cried out, her face flushed, and she quickly spread out her white arms. Xiao Yi took his hand away with some reluctance, and said, I will use the kneading method, try to use less force. Aoran's face turned red like an apple. Her beautiful eyes closed, her eyelashes trembling, and she said, yes. Come on, I will hold back from screaming. Xiao Yi glanced at Aoran for a few times, then quickly moved his eyes away. Put them under his armpits, rubbed them gently a few times, and input energy to activate them. The first ACU point was activated successfully. Aoran responded again, holding his arms close to his body and laughing. Xiao Yi's hand once again covered Aoran's side and pinched it subconsciously. Aoran was still laughing and didn't notice it at all. After a few seconds, Aoran blushed and said, I'm sorry. I'm not afraid of anything, I'm just ticklish, I can't help it. Xiao Yi wanted to take her hands out, but her arms were clamped tightly. Sister Aoran, please let go. His was very effective. We have already completed 1/3 of the steps. Aoran did as he was told and spread out his hands. Xiao Yi activated the second acupuncture point under the armpit, and Aoran clamped his arms together as if by reflex, pressing them tightly against his body. His hand once again covered Aoran's side. Activating the third ACU point under the armpit did the same thing. Aoran started laughing again and clenched his hands as if by reflex. Xiao Yi was forced to take advantage again. After the 3 acupuncture points under the armpit were activated and connected in series, Xiao Yi said, okay. The other hand. Aoran let out a cry and asked nervously, do you want the other hand? Xiao Yi nodded. Yes. Repeat the process on the palms and armpits. Yun Bing was standing at the door, his face darkening, and he snorted, Aoran, that bastard, is deliberately trying to seduce Xiao Yi. How could she be so itchy that she deliberately let him take advantage of her? She raised her hand and scratched her armpit, scratching it hard. She was like a mad woman, bending over and laughing wildly. Xiao Yi and Aoran were confused. What is Xiao Bing doing? I've no idea. After a few seconds, Yun Bing returned to normal. He walked to the living room with an embarrassed look on his face, muttering, it's really itchy. Forget it. Out of sight, out of mind. I won't be angry if I don't watch them massaging. She planned to wait in the living room until Xiao Yi finished his massage instead of going into the bedroom to peek. In the bedroom, after the acupuncture points on both hands were activated, Xiao Yi said, Sister Aoran, the next step is the feet, and then the legs. Your feet shouldn't be ticklish anymore, right? Aoran's eyes widened. You want the soles of your feet too? I must be ticklish. Xiao Yi looked at the pair of white, tender and delicate feet and started to touch them directly. The skin is very tender, without athlete's foot, and it doesn't smell bad but rather fragrant. There are many acupoints on the soles of the feet, and each organ of the human body has a corresponding ACU point on the soles of the feet. Xiao Yi sat on the soft bed, hugged the J feet on his legs, and said, I'm starting, Sister Aoran. Without waiting for Aoran to speak, he directly reached out and tapped an ACU point on the sole of his foot. Aoran responded and started laughing immediately. Her white and tender feet kicked upwards unconsciously and hit Xiao Yi's mouth. Chapter 374. Aoran, I'm attracted to you. A little sour. Like loud and pickled cabbage noodles. It's sour, but not as sour as lemon juice, which is so sour that it makes your teeth soft. In terms of sourness, it can only be said to be moderately sour. When Xiao Yi was confused, his brain analyzed these things in an instant, and his 2 rows of big white teeth subconsciously took to bites. After he reacted, he suddenly took the foot out of his mouth and spat on the ground. Grass. What a fuck. Xiao Yi had a gloomy face. He picked up a bottle of mineral water that someone beside him had drunk half of, unscrewed the cap, poured out a few mouthfuls, and then rinsed his mouth. After rinsing his mouth, he saw Aoran with an embarrassed look on her face. Aoran said unconvinced lie. My feet don't stink, they're clean. There's not a trace of bacteria even if I ate a bite. There's no need to do this, right? Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. Your feet don't stink. But they're sore. Why don't you take a bite and try it yourself? Sour? Can I have some too? Aoran shook her head violently. Feeling nauseous, she resisted and said, No, how can you suck your own feet? That's too perverted. I can't do it. Xiao Yi pointed at his feet and said, Why don't you try sucking my feet? Aoran was full of resistance. No. I don't want it, please continue massaging. I don't want to eat your sticky feet. Xiao Yi directly called Yun Bing in and asked her to help hold down Aoran's limbs, especially her long legs and feet, and control them firmly so that she could not move. If Aoran didn't use the power of rules and energy, Yun Bing would be able to make her motionless. Yun Bing sat on Aoran's thighs and teased, Xiao Yi, press it? Xiao Yi nodded, and used strong force, using pricking and kneading techniques, continuously exerting force, activating the acupoints on the soles of the feet one by one. This Oh, he 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 he. Ziran laughed, so hard that tears came out. Xiao Yi. Please be gentle, my feet are stinky, please. I'm sorry for what happened just now. This? Please, I beg you, I can't bear it anymore. Ziran begged for mercy again and again, saying that if she continued laughing she would become a crazy woman. After Xiaoyi activated the last acupuncture point on the sole of his foot, his feet were dripping with sweat. He clapped his hands and said with a smile, "We're done here, next is the legs." Ziran panted, relaxed all over and said, "It's finally over, I was almost dying of itching just now." Yun Bing walked out and said, "Out of sight. Out of mind, you guys continue." When she reached the door, she heard Xiaoyi's voice. "Sister Ziran, can you do the splits?" "Yes, the splits. This movement is better for me to massage." "Splits, splits?" Yun Bing staggered and almost fell. Then he heard Ziran's voice again. "Yes, that's easy. Is this okay? Can you see clearly? It's easier to press, right?" Then Xiaoyi's voice came. "Very good, just keep doing this." Yun Bing almost choked as he couldn't swallow his saliva. But it be that Ziran's physical defect is quite special and she needs to have a lot of internal acupuncture massage. Yun Bing had doubts in his mind and walked out of the bedroom. In the bedroom, Xiaoyi swallowed and watched in a trance. "Very beautiful." Seeing that he was stunned, Ziran said angrily, "Xiaoyi, what are you looking at? Press it quickly." Xiaoyi glared at him fiercely, then looked away and said, "You are so beautiful, you are worthy of being the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital." Ziran immediately lost her anger and said with a narcissistic smile, "Of course. I am Ziran." Xiaoyi's mouth twitched and he started to massage. "These legs are so good. Perfect legs and graceful curves can arouse the most primitive desires in men. The skin is crystal clear, tender and smooth." Xiaoyi almost couldn't control himself, but fortunately he had strong skills and didn't smell anything. It only takes a few seconds to activate one ACU point, and in less than 10 minutes, both legs are completed. Ziran was surprised and said, "You don't have to do the splits for this, you just want to see me naked, right?" She became angry again. Xiaoyi said, "In order to facilitate the massage, if you don't do the splits, I might need 3 times as much time." "Sister Ziran, don't you want to end it early?" When Ziran heard this, she felt that it made some sense. So she nodded and said, "Okay, I'll reluctantly believe your explanation." She felt shy and sad at the same time. She was seen naked and her innocence was gone. How should I get married in the future? Ziran looked at Xiaoyi's handsome face with her beautiful eyes, and a bold idea popped up in her mind. Otherwise, just marry him. Not only is he mythical, he is also very mysterious. He can upgrade the template level of others, and he has a top-notch and powerful servant who has reached the perfection of the quasi-emperor realm. In this world, the only person who is worthy of Ziran is probably Xiaoyi. Even the most evil genius among the hidden saints cannot compare to him. Ziran thought of her engagement and became a little depressed. She thought to herself, "That's it. Take Xiaoyi back and blind their dog eyes. I don't want to be a sacrifice of the Saint clan or a tool for marriage." Xiaoyi has already started massaging the delicate body. The moment he started, he could clearly feel Ziran tremble and his muscles stiffened. "It's just a massage, nothing else. I'm not taking advantage of you. Just relax," Xiaoyi counseled. Ziran looked at the handsome face so close to him, and felt a sense of security in his heart. He nodded heavily and said, "Yeah." After she relaxed, Xiaoyi continued to massage her. First the front, then the back, and finally the butt side. Time passed slowly. And after half an hour, the massage ended. Xiaoyi patted the perky breast and said with a smile, "The last step." Ziran knew that Xiaoyi was taking advantage of her by slapping her twice, but she rarely criticized him. Instead, she endured it silently with a blushing face. After this massage where she was seen naked and touched all over, her mentality changed. She decided to get Xiaoyi and sign a contract with him. Ziran didn't know what love was, but she had a strange feeling towards Xiaoyi in her heart when she was with him. She felt very safe and comfortable. Xiaoyi took out the Xuanhuang gem and activated the absorption function. Xuanhuang gemstone can absorb and calm all chaos, riots, rampage, instability, rules, power, rhyme, artistic conception, energy, mental power, soul power, etc. The special formation composed of acupuncture points on Ziran's body has been established and activated the power of the riot wolves hidden in the body at the microscopic level. Deepen the genes, etc. gradually emerges from the body. The Xuanhuang gem cast a faint light, enveloping Ziran's delicate body, and continuously absorbing the scattered power of rules. Ziran felt extremely relaxed all over, as if he had relieved himself of a million tons of pressure. His whole body became comfortable and relaxed. Xiaoyi put away the Xuanhuang gemstone and said with a smile, "It's done within a week, your physical defects will be temporarily solved. Just don't practice or fight." After saying that, he walked out. Ziran nodded and said, Thank you very much. Looking at his tall back, I thought to myself, now that I have made the decision, I have to put it into action. You, Xiaoyi, I have set my eyes on you and I want to get you. Chapter 375 collapsed, and Zoran was frightened. Ziran, who was sweating profusely, clapped her hands, jumped up, swung her body in a beautiful arc, and landed steadily on the ground. The moment she stood on the ground, she had a different feeling from before, as if the thing hanging on her chest was much lighter. Ziran looked down and saw her feet. Her pretty face immediately became melancholy, and she sighed. I couldn't see my toes at all an hour ago, but now I can see them. His treatment was so effective that his body shrank so quickly. She clasped her hands together and measured the size with her own hands. Her hands were small to begin with, so she couldn't grasp it before, but now she can. Then Ziran ran to the floor-length mirror, and her slender and graceful figure was reflected in the mirror. She observed for a moment, and a look of disappointment appeared on her pretty face. She could clearly see that her body had shrunk. Not as top-like, and not as warped. Even the slender waist that could be held in one hand had become a little bigger and a little thicker. Now, her figure is not as good as Yun Bing's. This change was a devastating blow to someone who cared a lot about his or her figure. If Ziran had not been mentally prepared, she might have been devastated. I still have hope Xiaoyi has a way to help me get back to shape. Ziran's beautiful eyes, which had darkened, suddenly brightened up again. Entering the bathroom, she began to take a bath. 10 minutes later, a scream was heard in the bathroom. Yun Bing ran over and knocked on the door. Ziran, what happened? Ziran said in a panic, no, I'm fine. Yun Bing returned to the living room with a frown on her face. In the bathroom, Ziran was very panicked because she found that her body had shrunk again. When I looked down, I could even see the instep of my feet. The waist is thin, but a little bit thicker. She was panicked, very panicked. Very panicked. What if it keeps getting smaller? It turns into an airport. A prairie? A huge savanna? So, this is what my body really looks like. I used to have such a sexy body, but it was really a physical defect. Ziran couldn't accept the reality. It was very difficult for her to accept the reality. No, I want to go find Xiaoyi. In the living room, Yun Bing looked at Xiaoyi with a cold face and said, is my best eye pretty? Xiaoyi nodded. It looked nice and very pink. Yun Bing continued, you saw her naked, what if she asks you to take responsibility? Xiaoyi took 2 steps back and waved his hand saying, don't talk nonsense, I didn't do anything to her. Why should I be held responsible? It's just a cure. I'm not doing anything to her. Yun Bing burst into laughter, and the coldness on her pretty face disappeared completely. She said with a smile, I was just trying to scare you. Look at your cowardly look. Do you really think Ziran would like you? She is such a proud woman. She would risk her life for nothing. Xiaoyi patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. If I was accused of fraud for treating an illness, it would be so unfair to me. At this moment, a graceful figure in a purple dress rushed anxiously from the bedroom to the living room. She grabbed Xiaoyi's shoulders with both hands and said anxiously, Xiaoyi, it collapsed. It really collapsed. It collapsed twice. I'm going to turn into an airport. Xiaoyi and Yun Bing were startled, looked at her twice, and were immediately shocked. It really collapsed just as she said. Even through her purple skirt, it was obvious that her figure had become ordinary. When I wore a purple skirt before, it was curvy at the front and back, but now, it can't hold up at the front and back. It's just ordinary. Yun Bing laughed. Ziran, I told you to be so narcissistic, and now you're getting your comeuppance. You've always been so arrogant in front of me. Now, where has your arrogance gone? Ziran glared at him and said angrily, shut up. It's already this time, and you're still making sarcastic remarks. I'm really done. Yun Bing knew what to do and shut up, but he was trying not to smile. Xiaoyi looked at the anxious expression on the extremely pure and beautiful face in front of him, and said, don't worry, after treating your body defects again, I will be able to solve your template problem. Once the template problem is solved, your figure will not collapse again. If it collapses twice after one treatment, then treat it once more and collapse it twice more, and that's it. After the template problem is solved, I will also use my methods to improve your body shape. Ziran became even more panicked after hearing this and asked, are you sure that it will collapse twice during each treatment? If it collapses twice more, she will really become an airport. Xiaoyi scratched his head and said, that should be the case. Ziran's pretty face darkened, so you're not sure either? Xiaoyi's face turned embarrassed. Yun Bing couldn't bear to watch it anymore and said, Ziran, don't worry too much. Xiaoyi said that after solving your problem, your body condition will improve. Xiaoyi's ability is reflected in my sister Yunqi, don't you believe it? It just takes a little time to get back into the good shape I once was. Ziran's beautiful eyes were filled with expectation as she said, Xiaoyi, you must promise. Xiaoyi said, okay. I promise. He said it lightly on the surface, but actually his heart was bleeding. Saying this meant that he would shed hundreds of liters of blood. Yun Bing patted Ziran on the shoulder and said, "Well, even if you have collapsed, you are still the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. Because you are Ziran, and you have this pure lustful face." After being comforted, Ziran put away his anxiety and his mood returned to normal. Yes, she is Ziran no matter what she becomes. She is the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. This is an undeniable fact. Ding ling ling. At this time, Ziran's communicator sounded. She took it out and saw that it was a call from Deputy Alliance Leader Yao Xuan. "Hello." After the call was connected, a delighted voice came from inside. "Say Yaran, have you successfully broken through to the Saint Realm?" Ziran said calmly, "That's right." Yao Xuan was overjoyed and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Ziran, you finally got what you wanted." Ziran frowned and said calmly, "Alliance Leader Yao, is there something wrong?" Yao Xuan smiled and said, "Ziran, don't forget the conditions you promised me." Ziran said, "I haven't forgotten. Just tell me what you want me to do. I will promise you one thing unconditionally." Yao Xuan was in a very good mood and said, "Meet at Yingchun Pavilion in the evening. Come alone and I will tell you there." After saying that, he hung up the call. Ziran's communicator was playing loudly. So Yun Bing and Xiao Yi both heard it. Yun Bing said with a wicked smile, "Yingchun Pavilion is a famous restaurant in the capital. You were alone with that man at night. And you promised him one thing unconditionally. You had to do whatever he asked you to do." Ziran nodded, blinked her big eyes and said, "Yes." Yun Bing was surprised. "You knew he had bad intentions towards you, but you still agreed to something unconditionally?" Ziran replied, "If I don't offer some tempting conditions, how can he help me gain access to the special core secret realm?" Xiao Yi couldn't help but ask, "Sister Ziran, do you have to go to the appointment tonight?" Ziran smiled and said, "You must go." Chapter 376 Yingchun Pavilion, Ecstatic Yao Xuan. Yun Bing slapped her on the head and said unhappily, "Ziran, have you lost your figure and become stupider? You went to a restaurant with him to drink, and the two of you got drunk. He made some outrageous demands. Like asking you to leave him. Why don't you just give it to him? You want to end your 1500-year-long life as a spinster?" Ziran rubbed his head in pain. "I Ziran, always keep my word. I can't refuse him. If he really said so, I would agree to him." Yun Bing looked at her with a strange look and said, "I didn't expect you to be such a casual person. Don't say you are my good sister in the future. It's embarrassing for me." Ziran was speechless. "You are the one who is casual." Xiao Yi listened to the conversation between the two and Ziran's calm attitude, and felt that things were not that simple. So he said, "Sister Yun Bing, there's no need to persuade her anymore. Sister Ziran should have her own way of dealing with it." Ziran's beautiful eyes lit up. "Xiao Yi still understands me. Okay, I'll take you there tonight." After saying that, she took out a secret order and sent it out. Then read something on the communicator. In the evening, Ziran went out in a purple dress. She wore a pendant around her neck, on which was placed a bronze palace shrunk to the size of a little fingertip. Inside the bronze hall, Yun Bing and Xiao Yi were in front of a picture with ripples, and the ripples showed the scene in front of Ziran. Yun Bing snorted coldly, "I want to see what Ziran has to say about this. To be honest, if we really give it to that deputy leader, it would be better to give it to Xiao Yi." Xiao Yi was confused. "Give what?" Yun Bing said angrily, "Kick him." The corner of Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. It seemed that this was the only thing that happened, a man and a woman going to a hotel alone. In the picture, Ziran quickly arrived at Yingchun Pavilion. In front of the magnificent and elegant restaurant, Yao Xuan stood there looking around when he saw Ziran. When Ziran came closer, he rubbed his eyes, wondering if he had seen it wrong. The face is still as pure and beautiful, and still as tall, but the figure seems to have changed. It has collapsed. She used to have a devilish figure, perky and curvy, which could completely support the purple skirt, but now, her figure has become very ordinary. "Ziran?" he called out uncertainly. Ziran's pretty face darkened and she said, "Alliance Leader Yao, you don't recognize me? I am Ziran." Yao Xuan was in a daze for a moment. Would his figure become worse after breaking through the Saint Realm? There was no such saying. Or was it that Ziran's previous devilish figure was the result of padding? "Well, I've already booked a private room, please follow me." He made a gesture of invitation. No matter how Ziran's figure changed, as long as this person was Ziran, it would be fine. That pure and pretty face is the goddess of his dreams. After arriving at the private room, the two sat at the table by the window. Yao Xuan poured 2 glasses of wine and said with a smile, "This wine was ordered in advance. Let us drink it today and don't leave until we are drunk." Ziran took a sip. The hot alcohol rushed through her throat. She frowned. This wine was about 80 degrees. It seems that Yao Xuan wants to get her drunk. In the bronze hall, Yun Bing said angrily, "Ziran is such an idiot. He drank the wine without checking it. What if there is drug in the wine? Xiao Yi also frowned. Yun Bing said. When Ziran is drunk, we will forcefully abduct her. Outside, Ziran said straight to the point. Alliance leader Yaoing, if you have anything to say, just ask. There is no need to do these things. I promised you unconditionally, and I will keep my word. Looking at this face, Yaoing Xuan was very excited and said with a smile. Don't worry, Ziran, you are so busy. This is the first time I drink with you. Let's drink first. When I am happy, I will put forward my request. Today, he, Yaoing Xuan, will enjoy the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. Ziran, you are the first love in many men's hearts. You are mine. If it weren't for the fact that signing a contract was too much of a request, Ziran would never agree to it. He would definitely propose to sign a contract with her. But since the contract failed, taking a step back, a kiss should be enough. She has already said that she will agree to something unconditionally. Ziran drank one glass of wine and then stopped drinking. The alcohol content was too high and it burned her throat. Yaoing Xuan picked up a pot of wine next to him and said, This wine tastes better, let's drink this instead. After the wine glass was filled with wine, Ziran did not touch the glass, but curled the corner of his mouth and said, Alliance leader Yaoing, you did a good job opening the third-level secret realm in advance. Many Supreme members have obtained good things. Alliance leader Yaoing was stunned for a moment, then laughed heartily and said, Of course. I am doing this for the sake of our Supreme Alliance. Ziran smiled, and a gleam of light flashed in her beautiful eyes. Alliance leader Yaoing. Where's the wine? I won't drink it, just make your request directly. Seeing her resolute tone, Yaoing Xuan said, Ziran, I have been begging the ancestor for a long time for your permission to enter the special secret realm. After he recounted his efforts, he changed the subject and said bluntly, You know, I have admired you for a long time. I want to take this opportunity to have sex with you and strengthen our relationship. Have sex once? Ziran spat secretly and narrowed her beautiful eyes. This person really had bad intentions. Yaoing Xuan asked expectantly. Ziran, this is my only request. It shouldn't be difficult, right? In the Bronze Palace, Yun Bing cursed loudly. This old man is really not a good guy. He covets Ziran's body. Ziran is such a jerk. His innocence is about to be lost. Xiao Yi raised his hand and said, Sister Ziran hasn't spoken yet. As soon as the words fell, Ziran replied with a smile, Okay, no problem. Xiao Yi's mouth twitched, and he said, Well, Sister Ziran probably misses a man. Yun Bing snorted coldly. I think she has been single for too long and is too horny. She wants to find a man to vent. It's fine to find a man, but you find one so old it's better for you than for him to get a good deal. Xiao Yi's eyes widened. A bargain for me. Outside, Yaoing Xuan couldn't stop showing the smile on his face. He was ecstatic. Agreed, Ziran agreed. That's great. Ziran's ruddy lips curled up slightly, and she said, It's still early, I have something to inform you. Yaoing Xuan was very excited and asked, What's the matter? Ziran took out some information and handed it to Yaoing Xuan, smiling calmly. 3 days ago, a large number of people who did not belong to the Supreme Alliance entered the 3 third-level secret realms that were open. They also used special means to obtain the core of the secret realm. After the secret realm is closed yesterday, the 3 secret realms disappeared and were stolen by someone who lifted the world ban. Who let those people in? Which forces they belong to? Who lifted the ban on the world? I have investigated everything clearly. The list is in this file. Alliance leader Yaoing, you should know what will happen to those who stole the secret realm of the Supreme Alliance, right? A dangerous smile bloomed on her pretty face. Yaoing Xuan's heart skipped a beat. The excited smile on his face froze, and he hurriedly picked up the information to read. Swish, his face turned pale and he slumped in the chair. This information was like a plate of cold water poured on him, extinguishing the excitement in his heart and replacing it with a bone-chilling cold. Chapter 377 Yaoing Xuan, I want to change my request. This document clearly recorded the process of Yaoing Xuan secretly letting members of the Yaoing family enter the third-level core secret realm. He used the authority of the deputy leader to release people privately, used the What-I'm World restriction to remove the treasure, and stole 3 third-level core secret realms. The names of more than 10 members of the Yaoing family, including Yaoing Xiyu, Yaoing Feng, Yang Xiyu Zhen, Song Wuyan, etc. were all given in detail. This information is enough to bring ruin to him and the Yaoing family. Yaoing Xuan was sweating profusely, his face was stiff, and he said in a cold voice, Ziran, are you plotting against me? Ziran shook her white fingers and said with a calm smile, No, I didn't plot against you. Did all this. I didn't interfere in the slightest. Alliance leader Yaoing, you should know how to deal with the crimes in this information according to the laws of the Supreme Alliance, right? She said with a smile. Yaoing Xuan looked at the smile on that innocent and pretty face and felt that it was like a smiling tiger, hiding a myriad of dangers. According to the laws of the Supreme Alliance, Because of these crimes, he, as the deputy leader, will be dismissed and expelled from his post, and those people of the Yaoing family listed in the information will also be hunted down and slaughtered by the Supremes of the Supreme Alliance. If the ancestor, that is, the Supreme Elder of the Supreme Alliance, saw this, he might not favor him at all and would just watch from the sidelines. Thinking of this, Yao Xuan's face turned extremely pale in an instant, fear appeared in his eyes, and sweat covered his whole body. Ziran smiled faintly and said, Alliance Leader Yaoing, whether this is the last time I call you Alliance Leader Yaoing is up to you to decide. You can take back your request and think of something else. I still say the same thing, I will promise you one thing unconditionally. Inside the Bronze Palace, Yun Bing slapped her thigh and said with a smile. Good for you Ziran, you are still the good sister I know, not a piece of trash that can be easily trampled on. Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. If you want to slap someone, just slap your own thigh. Why are you slapping my thigh so hard? Yun Bing rolled her eyes. I'm happy, what's wrong? Xiao Yi raised his hand and slapped her butt twice, humming. I'm happy too. That's what I said, Sister Ziran, it's not as simple as we imagined. How could someone who can become the leader of the Supreme Alliance be manipulated by others? Yun Bing rubbed her butt, eyes full of resentment, nodded, and thought to herself, Ziran has grown a lot in the past 1,000 years, and is no longer the good friend and good sister that I fully understand. Outside, at the wine table, Yao Xuan's pupil shrank as he looked at the pretty face in front of him, that he had been thinking about day and night. He felt very terrified, that the face was very cunning and scheming. When he calmed down, he suddenly realized why Ziran agreed to something unconditionally. It turned out that she already had a solution. Even if this secret realm theft incident had not occurred, there might have been other things that threatened him. Yao Xuan took a deep breath, looked at Ziran deeply, and said with a stiff face, I'll change my request, I won't have sex with you anymore. How about you help me suppress this information in the file, prevent it from being leaked, then keep it to yourself. Ziran smiled and nodded. Sure, I said. I will promise you one thing unconditionally, and I, Ziran, will keep my word. I will suppress this matter. You will still be the deputy leader, and the Yaoing family will not be held accountable. Yao Xuan slumped in the chair, pulled the corner of his mouth and said, Thank you. Ziran's pretty face turned cold, and she changed the subject. This is just the first time, next time, I won't hold back. She also had concerns in her heart. The Supreme Elder was Yang Xuan's ancestor, and also the ancestor of the Yaoing family. Even if the things in this information were made public, Yang Xuan would probably not be dismissed. And those people in the Yaoing family listed in the information would not be hunted down. She believed that the Supreme Elder would suppress this matter, so in exchange for Yang Xuan's request, it felt very worthwhile. What Ziran didn't know was that the Supreme Alliance's Grand Elder had a bad relationship with the Yaoing family, and was too lazy to pay attention to Yao Xuan and was indifferent. Yao Xuan was able to become the deputy leader because of his outstanding ability and luck. Ziran stretched out her delicate white hands, picked up the documents, and burned them in front of Yao Xuan in an instant. The ashes were blown away by the breeze from the window, falling on Yao Xuan's paralyzed body and stiff face on the wine table, and drifting throughout the private room. Ziran stood up and said, Okay. Now that you've made your request, I should go back. She walked out the door with a faint fragrance. Watching the figure gradually leaving, Yao Xuan shouted unwillingly, Ziran, don't you plan to find a Taoist partner? Do you plan to stay single like this forever? Ziran walked to the door frame and said perfunctorily without turning back, Yes, all men are bad. After saying that, she left without stopping. Yao Xuan was deflated and slumped in his chair. He picked up the jug of liquor on the table and poured it directly into his mouth, with an expression of endless loneliness and melancholy on his face. And kiss her? And have sex with Ziran? There's no hope. After he exposed his intentions, there was no hope for him anymore. Ziran will probably remain single for the rest of her life. She is a holy and elegant woman with no stain or dark history. She disdains to have an affair with any man. Nor will she fall in love with any man. The other side. Ziran returned to the Supreme Alliance Leaders Hall, returned the Bronze Hall to Xiao Yi, and then went to handle business. She came back an hour later, looking at Xiao Yi lying on the sofa, his head resting on Yun Bing's long, white legs, the two of them talking and laughing. Ziran's angst stood still, feeling a sense of loss in his heart. She has decided to get Xiao Yi and sign a contract with him. Deep down, she had an urge to be with him, so when she saw Xiao Yi and Yun Bing being so close, she felt a little sour and a little lost. Ziran, are you done? Yun Bing saw Ziran out of the corner of his eye and shouted. Ziran nodded, It's done. She came and sat down next to Yun Bing, who patted her shoulders and praised her. You are quite something. You actually planned everything long ago, waiting for that old man to fall into the trap. Everything is under your control. And you have played the deputy leader around. Xiao Yi also looked at her in surprise. Ziran scratched his head, a little embarrassed. and smiled. No. There are still many things I don't understand, and I want to ask you for help. Yun Bing's eyes lit up, and she said happily, do you have anything else to ask me? Tell me what it is. I'm happy to be your teacher. Ziran glanced at Xiaoyi without leaving a trace, then looked away and said, I miss men. I want to get him but I don't know, how can you teach me, Xiao Bing? Yun Bing widened her beautiful eyes, a look of shock on her charming face. Damn, someone like Ziran who is destined to be alone actually wants a man? You didn't lie to me? Xiaoyi, did you hear that? Ziran said she missed a man. Xiaoyi nodded, I heard it. Ziran's innocent face turned red, and she said a little embarrassed lie. Hey, I'm also a woman. I have a normal sexual orientation. It's not normal to think about men. Will you teach me or not? How can I pursue a man? Yun Bing slapped her white legs excitedly. Pa pa pa. She laughed and said, leave it to me, I guarantee you'll catch that man. Ziran's pretty face lit up with joy. But she felt a little guilty inside. I'm sorry for asking you to teach me how to pursue your husband. Chapter 378 Yun Bing, we will be your wingman. Yun Bing said excitedly, you are finally willing to end your life as a virgin, it is worth celebrating. Ziran glared at him. Don't tease me, teach me how to chase a man, how to win his heart. Yun Bing planned everything and said confidently. Don't worry, it's just chasing a boy, I will teach you step by step, but before that. She was very curious and asked, who is that man and what is his name? Have I seen him? Is he handsome? Xiaoyi also cast a curious look. Ziran blushed and said vaguely, you have seen him, he is very handsome. Charming and excellent. She couldn't tell Yun Bing now that the person was Xiaoyi, otherwise Yun Bing might kill her, let alone teach her how to pursue a man. Many men's faces appeared in Yun Bing's mind, she knew too many men, many of whom were excellent, she had no idea which one it was. First of all, she ruled out Xiaoyi. Xiaoyi was too young with Ziran's arrogance. The age difference between them was too big, and Ziran simply looked down on him. Yun Bing guessed, is it the deputy leader of the Supreme Alliance? The one you went to Yingchun Pavilion to drink and meet at night? Ziran rolled her eyes and said speechless lie, don't guess, I will tell you when I catch her. Yun Bing nodded, her curiosity growing, what kind of man could make Ziran, the most beautiful woman in the capital, let go of her reserve and pursue him? Chasing men, based on the experience of pursuing Xiaoyi, she touched her chin with her jade hand, thought about it, and said, first of all, if you capture a man's stomach, you captured his heart, you can start with his food. Hey, what are you doing? Yun Bing was talking, and when he tilted his head, he saw Ziran took out a small notebook, holding a pen in his right hand and writing something in the notebook seriously. Ziran raised her head, revealing her pure and beautiful face, her beautiful eyes narrowed into crescents, and said, I'll record it and learn from it, even though I'm the leader of the Supreme Alliance and I'm very capable. I'm a novice in love experience and I know nothing about it. Yun Bing's mouth twitched. And he said, okay. Ziran said, Xiaoyi, you are a man, you should know what men prefer to eat, can you tell me some food that men like to eat? Xiaoyi smiled and said, food, spicy noodles count, many men have a special liking for spicy noodles, and egg fried rice. Iced cola. Ziran lowered his head, and in a field of vision that the two men could not see, his face showed a look of ecstasy. Xiaoyi, I just want to record the food you like to eat. Swish, 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 the friction sound of the paper continued to sound. Yun Bing gave Xiaoyi a thumbs up and said with a smile, Xiaoyi, Ziran is my best friend and sister is a man, you must know what men like. You should give Ziran more advice, assist her, and act as her wingman to ensure that she gets him, do you understand? Xiaoyi patted his chest and said, no problem. Ziran was so ecstatic that she almost laughed out loud. Yun Bing smiled and said, very good. Ziran, the second point is that you need to have common hobbies and topics to talk about. When two people can talk to each other and have common topics, the relationship can quickly heat up and enhance their feelings. Ziran nodded her head rapidly, recording in her notebook, and then asked, Xiaoyi, what hobbies do men generally have, what topics do they like to talk about? Xiaoyi did not doubt it. Nor did he think that the man Ziran wanted to chase was himself, and said, hobbies, does looking at pretty girls count? Long legs, do action art movies count? All men should like these. Yun Bing's face darkened. What the hell are you talking about? When chasing a man, how can you talk to him about long legs and action art movies? Xiaoyi's mouth twitched. And thought about it, it seemed to be true when a girl is chasing a man, especially a beautiful girl. How could she take the initiative to talk about her action movies? Wouldn't that be a big perversion? He shrugged and said, then I don't know. Everyone has different preferences in life. Ziran lowered her face with a look of surprise, and her delicate hands held the pen and quickly recorded it in the small notebook. It turns out that Xiaoqi likes long legs and porn movies. She has all of these. Yun Bing rolled her eyes. Ziran, don't listen to his nonsense and don't record it blindly. I'll list it for you. I like watching movies, serious ones, and playing games. Especially 5v5 competitive ones. Ziran asked, Xiao Yi, is what Xiaobing said right? Xiao Yi said, yes. Ziran nodded, feeling happy, and said, I understand. Yunbing continued to teach. Third, you need to work hard on your dressing. Many men like lesbians in uniforms. Well, your face looks good enough without makeup. If you put on a little makeup, it will probably be even more beautiful. Ziran touched her little face. She usually didn't wear any makeup. She said, Xiao Yi, is that so? Xiao Yi smiled and said, yes, Sister Yunbing is right. Ziran lowered her head and looked at the small notebook, with the corners of her rosy lips slightly raised, and asked, what are the requirements of men for black silk stockings, such as brand and style? Xiao Yi thought. Valentino, with letters, is more seductive, and it makes me more charming when I wear it. Yunbing agreed, that's right, Xiao Yi is a pervert who likes black stockings with letters on them. I think many men are like him. But you are used to wearing purple skirts, so you don't need to deliberately change your style and wear other clothes. Ziran is the most beautiful in a purple skirt. Xiao Yi added in his heart, the most charming. Ziran was overjoyed and started recording quickly. Yunbing continued to teach. The fourth point is, when your relationship has progressed to a certain level, you should have physical contact and some small ambiguous things, which can quickly heat up the relationship. Ziran nodded and asked, Xiao Yi, are there any specific methods? How to make physical contact? How to be a little ambiguous? Xiao Yi thought for a moment and said, create a reasonable and natural scene, holding hands, touching feet, drinking imported coke, washing feet together, etc. Yunbing said unhappily, holding hands and touching feet is fine, but drinking imported coke and washing feet together is fine. That's something you can only do after you've established a relationship. Xiao Yi shrugged, you talk too much, and everything you say is right. Ziran's beautiful eyes turned around, and she chose to record Xiao Yi's words and ignore Yunbing's words. Yunbing continued, the fifth point is that both of them understand each other's feelings and confess their feelings to confirm their relationship. The sixth point is to meet the parents, sign the contract, and enter the bridal chamber. Xiao Yi said, these are roughly the steps. After Ziran finished recording in the little notebook, her beautiful eyes brightened as if there was light, and she said with a giggle, okay, I have an idea. I will start chasing him tomorrow. Yunbing was very excited and said, Ziran, I wish you success. If you succeed in catching her, you can bring your husband and have dinner with us. Ziran smiled and said, okay. You guys can go back in 2 days. I have something to do, so I will stay here for 2 days, then we can go to the Magic City together. Yunbing looked like he understood, and said, no problem, you want us to be your wingman, leave it to us. After that, the three of them went upstairs to rest. The next day came quickly. Chapter 379 Xiao Yi. It's actually me. The next morning, Xiao Yi was woken up by Ziran, who told her to wait for her at the entrance of the main hall on the first floor. Xiao Yi came to the door of the Alliance Leaders' Hall with sleepy eyes. There was a sign saying closed day, hanging next to the door, which meant that the Alliance leader would not be working today. The outside of the hall was deserted. He scratched his head and said in confusion, strange, didn't Sister Ziran say that she would pursue the man she likes from today? Why did she wake me up so early? Did she want me to be her assist or her wingman? It's possible. It seems that Sister Ziran really likes that man. Did he save the Milky Way in his previous life? He got such a good fortune. But where is she? Although Ziran has lost her hot devilish figure, her face is still pure and beautiful. But the unique temperament, it is the face of first love that always echoes the fantasy of all men. She is the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. At this time, a burly middle-aged figure jumped out from the side. It was the deputy leader Yaoling Xuan. He held a stack of documents in his hand and said with a smile, little brother, these things are very important and need to be given to Ziran according to your words. She is not here at the moment? Xiao Yi had a blank expression on his face. He had a bad impression of Yaoling Xuan and said perfunctorily, yes. Yaoling Xuan was not angry, and said with a smile, and I will wait here for her to come back and hand the things to her personally. You just said that Ziran fell in love with a man, and she took the initiative to pursue him? He chuckled, shook his head, and said disdainfully, it's impossible. A woman like Ziran who is so arrogant and disdainful of men is destined to be single for life. In his heart, Ziran is the kind of holy and elegant woman who isn't tainted by the filth of the world. It is impossible for such a woman to lower herself and let go of her reserve to actively pursue a man. Xiao Yi was speechless. If you don't want to believe it, then don't believe it. Sister Ziran's affairs have nothing to do with you. Yaoling Xuan choked on his words. Seeing that Xiao Yi had no intention of talking to him, he stood aside and waited quietly. 2 minutes later, in Xiao Yi's sight, a graceful figure gradually approached from the distance of the road, holding 2 bags in her hands. Xiao Yi and Yaoling Xuan's pupil shrank, and they were both shocked. Today, Ziran's pretty face is more delicate and pure. Obviously she was wearing makeup. Xiao Yi! Ziran shouted with a look of surprise on her face. She ran over happily, only to find Yao Xuan standing next to her. She asked in a weird tone. Why are you here? Yao Xuan smiled and said, now that you, the leader of the alliance, are back, I will naturally hand over some documents to you. When she came closer, Yao Xuan handed the book in his hand to Ziran, and then walked away along the avenue. There was a flash of surprise in Xiao Yi's eyes. Ziran, with makeup on, was more beautiful than before. Her face was like a work of art, carved to perfection in every inch. She is so beautiful that she can outshine the moon. Like a lotus emerging from the water, with bright eyes, white teeth and smooth skin. Ziran blinked playfully and asked expectantly, does it look good? Xiao Yi nodded, it looks great. After getting the response, Ziran was even more delighted. She reached into the bag with her slender hands and took out 2 cups of Coke. Then, under Xiao Yi's surprised gaze, she inserted the straws and handed them to Xiao Yi, saying with a smile, Ice Cola with ice, I bought it myself at the Imperial City Market. Here, drink it. For me? Xiao Yi was very surprised. Ziran nodded and said firmly, yes, I bought it especially for you. Not far away, Yao Xuan was standing on the side of the road, eavesdropping with his ears perked up. It's just buying drinks between friends, he laughed disaffectedly. Xiao Yi was puzzled and asked, why did you buy it for me? Didn't you want me to be your wingman to pursue the man you like? Where is that man? Ziran smiled, her pretty face turned red, and she said shyly, yes, I am pursuing the man I like. I got up early to buy him an iced Coke. You must be a good wingman. Yes. If you don't drink it now, the ice will melt. Drink it quickly. She held the ice cola in her delicate white hands, her beautiful eyes looking expectant as she said angrily, this. Xiao Yi was shocked. He looked around, and saw no one else. Then he looked at the Coke in front of him and said, did you really buy it for me? Ziran said angrily, you are the only man here, who else should I buy it for if not you? Xiao Yi was stunned on the spot. But he was not stupid and could understand the meaning behind Zoran's words. What she meant was that the man she liked was actually him. Sister Ziran wants to pursue him, and even wants him to be her wingman. Yesterday, he made a plan and promised to help Ziran catch her. Who would he catch? Himself. He promised that Ziran would catch up with him. Wait, my thoughts are in a mess and I want to be quiet. Xiao Yi rubbed his temples. Ziran frowned. Who is Jingjing? Forget about Jingjing. Drink some iced Coke. You said you would be my wingman. And you would help me pursue Xiao Yi. You have to keep your word. She pushed the ice cola with a straw into Xiao Yi's mouth, and the straw entered his mouth. Xiao Yi took a breath subconsciously. It's cool and refreshing, and the bubbles burst in your mouth and taste great. Is it delicious? Ziran's beautiful eyes looked expectant. Xiao Yi nodded, a little confused, and said, it tastes good. You want to chase Xiao Yi, and you want me to be your wingman? I help you chase Xiao Yi and get him? Isn't it just that I help you pursue myself? Ziran smiled happily, her eyes turned into crescent moons, very beautiful. Not far away, Yao Xuan was petrified, his brain was frozen. Want to pursue Xiao Yi? How could such words come out of Ziran's mouth? She is a holy and pure woman who disdains men. Ziran took 2 sips of her own cup of ice cola, frowned, and felt a little uncomfortable. She didn't like drinking ice cola, she liked drinking milk tea, but she saw Xiao Yi drinking it sip by sip. She endured the discomfort and forced herself to drink up the ice cola in gulps. Xiao Yi asked, are you feeling unwell and can't drink ice? Ziran shook her head and smiled. You can drink ice these days, I just rarely drink Coke. Then, she put away the icy cola that she had drunk completely and said with a mysterious smile, I'm wearing black stockings. Would you like to take a look? She bent down and lifted her purple skirt, revealing a pair of long legs. Black silk, high class and mysterious. Wearing high-end and mysterious high-tech silk on long legs. Xiao Yi looked over subconsciously. And then his pupils shrank. It turned out to be black stockings with letters on them. Ziran smiled quietly and said, it's Valentino's black stockings. How do you like it? I know you like jade feet, do you want to touch them? Xiao Yi swallowed his saliva, waved his hand and said, Sister Ziran, who said I like jade feet? I am a serious person. Please don't slander me. Ziran rolled her eyes beautifully. Stop lying, you said you don't like them. But your eyes honestly haven't left my feet for a moment. You said it yourself yesterday that you like long legs and feet. Xiao Yi's face turned red. He did say that. But that was because she wanted to help Ziran pursue a man, but who knew that this man was actually himself? Chapter 380 Ziran. Let's watch a movie together. Not far away, Yao Xuan was stunned. His eyes widened, full of disbelief. Ziran, you actually wore black stockings, and you lifted your skirt and raised your feet to show that boy? No, how is it possible? How could Ziran get involved in black silk stockings, something only women in this world wear? He rubbed his eyes violently, and looked carefully again. He really saw Ziran's black stockings with the 4 big characters, Xiao Yi's exclusive on them. Fuck. Xiao Yingshuan felt that his cognition had been overturned. The elegant and holy goddess has fallen into the mortal world. Ziran, the first love in many people's hearts, really has to take the initiative to pursue men. No, my goddess, he shouted sadly in his heart. The north wind was howling and dust was floating. He stood there alone, looking a little lonely and sad. A black crow flew over his head, making a humming sound. In the breeze, Yao Yingshuan walked away in a daze, his back looking a little desolate. Xiao Yi and Ziran didn't pay any attention to him the whole time. Xiao Yi sipped his iced cola, asked tentatively, Sister Ziran, is the man you want to pursue really Xiao Yi? Ziran was a little embarrassed, lowered her beautiful eyes, and said, Oh, it's good that you understand, don't say it out loud. Xiao Yi scratched his head, is there anyone named Xiao Yi in this world? Ziran chuckled, probably not. She thought to herself, ever since you saw me naked, touched me all over, and gave me a great sense of security, I have set my sights on you and decided to get you. Xiao Yi. We are in luck for our lunch. I have paid a large sum of money to invite a very famous chef in our Supreme Alliance, a Supreme-level state banquet chef, whose cooking skills can be ranked among the top 10 in the chef world. She said happily. Xiao Yi nodded. Dazed Lion said, if you really have the ability, go after me and see if you can win my heart. You must pay attention to Sister Yunbing. If she finds out that the person you're pursuing is me, she'll go crazy. Ziran shrank her neck and said angrily. It's okay. The four sisters, for best friends, had sworn together a long time ago that they would marry the same man. She was doing this now to keep her oath. The two of them entered the side hall and sat down on the sofa. Ziran sat next to Xiao Yi, took off her shoes and pulled up her skirt to reveal a pair of long legs. She swung her legs on the tea table, completely exposed to Xiao Yi's sight, and said, Xiao Yi, let's watch a movie together tonight. Xiao Yi's eyes were attracted and he nodded. Okay, then call Sister Yunbing and the three of us will watch it together. Ziran shook her head violently and said, no, we want to watch an action movie. We have a common interest. So how can we ask Xiaobing to watch it with us? Xiao Yi widened his eyes and looked at him fiercely. What little movie are you talking about? Ziran blushed. It's those little movies on TV. You like watching them. I have collected a lot of them. Xiao Yi's face turned red with embarrassment. Don't talk nonsense. I am a serious person and I never watch those kinds of indecent movies. Also, if you want to chase someone, how can you chase them like this, watching that with a guy? Ziran put her legs on Xiao Yi's legs, took out a small notebook and shook it. Teasing, I have recorded everything you told me. Do you want me to read it out for you? What's wrong with us watching that together? We finally have the same interests and hobbies, and common topics to talk about. I just don't believe that when you watch that, you're not looking at the thin waist, long legs and big curly hair of the heroine. Xiao Yi's face became even more embarrassed. He couldn't admit it. He said, it always feels a little weird. Sister Ziran, you are a woman, and you actually talked about this with him. He looked down and was shocked. On the slender and round black stockings, next to the letters, there were the words Xiao Yi exclusive. Ziran smiled. Does it look good? This black silk was also specially customized by me. She put her little hand on it, and stroked it a few times, then nodded and praised. It's worthy of the supreme level ice silk material I requested. I love the feel of it. The corner of Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. A pair of socks, and you made it custom made with supreme great ice silk material? He shook his head and said, Sister Ziran, your stockings are made of ice silk, but also destroyed by it. Although they feel good and they're comfortable to wear, they are. The smile on Ziran's pretty face froze. But what happened to it? Keep talking. Xiao Yi's evaluation is very important to her. Xiao Yi's mouth twitched, and he thought to himself, but it's not easy to tear. The stockings made of supreme grade materials are equivalent to a defensive treasure that can only be broken by supreme power. Seeing that he didn't say anything, Ziran felt a little depressed. She rubbed her ankle with her little hand and murmured, it's obviously very smooth and feels good. Are stockings still useful? I can't think of it. Never mind. I should know when I watch the movie tonight. Dang dang dang. There were bursts of noise coming from the stairs. Ziran put down her feet and put on her shoes quickly, then sat up straight. Xiao Yi was dumbfounded. You are chasing someone secretly. Ziran felt a little guilty, ashamed of her best friend. She raised a white finger in front of her rosy lips and said, Shoo! Don't talk nonsense. Once I catch you, I will tell Xiaobing myself. Xiao Yi, take me down? What kind of lewd words are these? Yunbing yawned and walked down in a trance. He came to the side hall and sat down next to Xiao Yi. He said, what are you doing? Hey, Xiao Yi, did you buy iced Coke? Why didn't you bring me one? I didn't buy it. It was. Before Xiao Yi finished speaking, he heard Ziran and replied, I bought it to reward Xiao Yi for being my wingman. She looked away and said guiltily, forget it if there's nothing. Yunbing hadn't fully woken up yet, so she didn't pay much attention and asked in a daze, Ziran, what do you guys in the Supreme Alliance eat in the morning? Steamed buns and soy milk. Ziran was on the other side of Xiao Yes. He secretly held Xiao Yi's hand with her little hand and replied, yes, the breakfasts in the Magic City and the Imperial City are similar. But today we won't eat breakfast and we'll have a big meal at noon. I have already contacted the Supreme Alliance's Supreme Level State Banquet Chef to order 8 national dishes. He should personally deliver the dishes to your door soon. Yun Bing was amazed and said enviously, you are so comfortable as the leader of the Alliance. You have a State Banquet Chef under you. And a Supreme State Banquet Chef at this level is not comparable to ordinary State Banquet Chefs. Xiao Yi felt Ziran scratching and tickling his palm and his eyes widened. This is too fucking bold, cheating in front of Sister Yun Bing. Then Ziran took the hands that they were holding from under her purple skirt and waved them in the air. Xiao Yi was shocked and exclaimed in his heart, that's awesome. Ziran said coquettously, Xiao Bing. I want to practice with Xiao Yi how to hold hands with a man first, is that okay? Yun Bing took a look and said inferently, you want to use Xiao Yi as a guinea pig, right? No problem. After that, she warned, Xiao Yi, you must cooperate with Ziran and help her catch that man, otherwise I will break your 3 legs. Ziran burst out laughing, winked playfully, and said, Xiao Yi, did you hear me? You have to help me catch him, or Xiao Bing will break all 3 of your legs. Xiao Yi's mouth twitched, and a burst of MMP rushed through his heart. I help you pursue myself? Chapter 381. Yun Bing feels something is wrong. Xiao Yi glared at Ziran fiercely and said, don't let Sister Yun Bing see your stockings. There were 4 words, Xiao Yi exclusive, on the black stockings. After Sister Yun Bing saw it, everything became clear. If she finds out, she will tear you apart. She treats you as her best friend, but you flirt with her men in front of him and try to hit on him? Ziran's beautiful eyes narrowed into 2 crescents, her pure and beautiful face was full of smiles, and her tender little white hand scratched Xiao Yi's paws in response to Xiao Yi's glare at her. The corner of Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. In front of Yun Bing, he was openly being teased by Ziran. He actually felt a sense of excitement in his heart. He actually felt excited? Yes, Xiao Yi felt that he was no longer pure. Ziran said, Xiao Bing. Thank you for your generosity and letting Xiao Yi be my practice partner. Now that I have experience, I won't be out of place when I chase that man. And my success rate will be higher. Xiao Yi looked at Ziran's sincere eyes and natural and calm expression, and gave her a thumbs up. If this person were in her previous life, she would definitely win the Oscar for Best Actor. Yun Bing waved her hand and said with a smile, you're welcome as your good sister. This is nothing. The smile on Ziran's pretty face became even brighter. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the door. Ziran held Xiao Yi's rough hand with her small hand, stood up and said, Chef Jin is here. He should have cooked all the dishes and rice. After saying that, she took Xiao Yi's hand and walked slowly towards the gate in front of Yun Bing. A middle-aged fat man with a chubby body but small eyes was welcomed in. Alliance leader. After a sleepless night of careful preparation, I have prepared all 8 precious dishes you need. As he said this, his little eyes were on the hands held by Ziran and Xiao Yi. Jin Peng was secretly surprised. Who was this person? The leader was so close to him. He looked very young, but very handsome. Much more handsome than himself was he, the leader's younger brother. Jin Peng followed Ziran and Xiao Yi to the dining table in the side hall. He took out the steaming exquisite dishes one by one from his storage ring. Braised lion's head, steamed tiger's tail, stir-fried lion king turtle, braised sea cucumber fish, slime sashimi, and pickled goblin kidneys. Various rich aromas wafted out, filling the entire side hall. There are 6 dishes in total, and the ingredients are all of supreme quality. Please enjoy. His small eyes narrowed into slits due to his smile, and his eyes could no longer be seen. Xiao Yi swallowed his saliva. Ziran smiled with her rosy lips, picked up her chopsticks, picked up a goblin kidney, put it in front of his mouth and said with expectant eyes, it's delicious, open your mouth. As soon as Xiao Yi opened his mouth, the goblin's child was pushed in by Ziran and he bit it off. Bang! The juice burst out and filled the entire mouth. Very fresh, accompanied by delicious soup, without any fishy smell. Ziran asked with anticipation on her pretty face, is it delicious? Xiao Yi smiled and said, delicious, this is the most delicious kidney I have ever eaten. Ziran picked up another goblin kidney and put it into Xiao Yi's mouth, saying, if it tastes good, eat more, I can let you eat it every day. Xiao Yi was shocked. Eating supreme level dishes every day, this is a rich woman. Yun Bing stared at the 2 of them in a daze, and one of the chopsticks in her hand fell on the table. She frowned, and a little bitterness rose in her heart, but she didn't say anything. Xiao Yi was just a guinea pig. Jin Peng stood quietly at the side, his eyes wide open, and he was shocked inside. This is definitely not the leader's younger brother, but the leader's lover. If you want to pick up food for your younger brother, just put it in the bowl on tea, put it in his mouth. Oh my god! The leader, the most beautiful girl in the capital, is actually taken. This is big news. This incident is more explosive than the fall of a saint. Alliance leader, I have delivered the dishes. I will take my leave now, just tell me what you want to eat next time. And turned away. After Ziran picked up the goblin kidneys for Xiao Yi, she also ate one herself, with an expression of enjoyment on her pretty face. She said, I didn't dare eat too much of this kind of kidney before, for fear that my desire would increase and I wouldn't have a man to satisfy it with, but from now on, I can eat as much as I want. Xiao Yi was shocked. What was Ziran hinting at? It was terrifying to think about it carefully. Yan Bing laughed while eating the dishes. Ziran, you have turned into a fool. You are no longer the pure saint. How dare you say such words? You have to thank me for giving you advice and letting Xiao Yi be your guinea pig for practice. Ziran's pretty face was full of smiles. She licked her chopsticks, then picked up a goblin kidney and put it to Xiao Yi's mouth, saying, well, to reward you, Xiao Yi, eat more. Xiao Bing, don't eat this, let Xiao Yi and I eat it, the other 5 dishes are yours. Xiao Yi opened his mouth in surprise. You have already eaten with these chopsticks. If you let me eat again, wouldn't that be equivalent to an indirect kiss? Ziran took advantage of Xiao Yi's open mouth to push the chopsticks in, allowing him to eat the goblin's kidney. Xiao Yi looked at Yan Bing beside him and felt a little excited in his heart. Ziran didn't care, so he didn't have too many concerns. He took a bite of the goblin seed and swallowed it directly. Yan Bing looked at the goblin kidney dish that was almost half eaten and nodded. No problem, I don't need this. Goblins are a kind of LSP race. They are either reproducing or on the way to reproduce every day. In that aspect, they are hundreds of times stronger than humans. If a monk eats the kidneys of this race, his bestiality will be aroused and he will break his vows repeatedly. If a nun eats them, she will turn into a lustful woman. Ziran laughed out loud, not caring at all that Xiao Yi had eaten with her chopsticks. She picked up a goblin meatball for herself and put it in her little mouth to eat. After eating, she sucked her chopsticks again. Then she picked up another one and put it to Xiao Yi's mouth. Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. And he said, Sister Ziran, you eat it, my realm is too low. And it's easy to go berserk if I eat too much. Ziran smiled and said, don't worry, it's okay. I ate it too. Xiao Yi was secretly surprised. He didn't dare to think about what she meant. Yan Bing felt something was wrong when she heard this. But she couldn't tell what was wrong, so she said, Ziran, you live a very carefree life. You have such a squinty-eyed chef, and you eat delicacies from land and sea every day. Ziran curled her lips. I trained and promoted him. And spent a lot of resources on him. What's wrong with him cooking a meal for me? Don't be fooled by his good cooking skills. He likes to gossip. He can't keep secrets and tells everything. Yan Bing shrugged and said disapprovingly, everyone has advantages and disadvantages. Don't just look at his disadvantages. Ziran smiled without answering and continued to pick up some food for Xiao Yi. After finishing the meal, half of the plate of noodles was eaten by Xiao Yi, half of the plate of noodles was eaten by Ziran. And Yan Bing didn't eat any of them. Chapter 380 to Ziran, Xiao Yi, does he like me? Xiao Yi touched his slightly bulging belly and said with emotion, the food made by the supreme-level state banquet chef is indeed not comparable to that of ordinary chef. She is worthy of being one of the top 10 national chefs in the country. Ziran imitated his movements and touched her flat belly through her purple skirt. And said with a smile, if you could stay in the Supreme Alliance, you could eat it every day. Yan Bing tilted her head and looked at the two people slumped on the sofa. Their movements were in sync, giving her the illusion that they were a couple, looking like a married couple. But this illusion was fleeting. In Yan Bing's cognition, Ziran seemed easy to get along with, but in her heart she was very arrogant. She looked down on those who were lower in realm than her, and also looked down on those who were not better than her. Therefore Yan Bing would not think that Ziran had any feelings for Xiao Yi. Ziran said, Xiao Bing, clean up Xiao Yi, and I will lie down for a while. Yan Bing rolled her eyes. You are so good, Ziran. I came to the Supreme Alliance as a guest, and you treat me as a servant. Having said this, Yan Bing stood up and cleared the table. Ziran took Xiao Yi's rough big hand, placed it on her flat belly, and said with a smile, touch mine too. Xiao Yi rubbed his belly with his big hands, which was flat without a trace of fat. Then Ziran placed a pair of small feet in Xiao Yi's arms and said, warm my feet. Xiao Yi widened his eyes. You actually dare to do this in front of Yan Bing, you are very brave. Looking down, he saw two small feet trapped in thin black silk stockings, half of which were pushed into his shirt, leaving only a pair of thin ankles exposed. So brave. Xiao Yi started right away. And the feeling was amazing. Yan Bing finished cleaning the table and looked back. Her beautiful eyes widened and her mouth twitched as she said, Ziran, you don't have to practice to this extent. Xiao Yi took advantage of you for nothing. Ziran smiled happily and said, I'm going to practice with Xiao Yi first, so that when I hook up with my man in the future, I'll have experience and won't feel nervous or too shy. This explanation was very reasonable. Yan Bing nodded and said, it's up to you as long as it's not too excessive and you don't bite your lips or anything like that, it's fine. She turned her eyes and saw that Xiao Yi looked somewhat enjoyable. In an instant, a sour feeling arose in her heart, as if she was jealous. So Yunbing sat on the other side of Xiao Yi, kicked off her shoes, and put her little feet into Xiao Yi's shirt. The small hands pinched the soft flesh on his back and rotated 360 degrees. Xiao Yi took a breath and cried out in pain. He is in pain and happy. Xiao Yi hugged Yunbing with his left hand and Ziran with his right hand. And sighed in his heart, if only they were all my beast girls. Yunbing's pair of jade feet were playing with Ziran's pair of small feet in Xiao Yi's arms, making him very itchy. So Xiao Yi put his hands into his arms and held both pairs of jade feet firmly in his hands. One hand felt smooth and the other felt cold. He said, "Stop making trouble. What should I do if you make me have athlete's foot?" Ziran and Yunbing glared at each other at the same time and said in unison, "You have athlete's foot." Yunbing said angrily, "Do you want me to put my foot in your mouth and let you taste it to see if you have athlete's foot?" Ziran covered her mouth and smiled, "I can let you have a taste too." Xiao Yi's neck shrank, and he shook his head violently, smiling awkwardly, "No need. You don't have athlete's foot." Yunbing snorted, "You said Ziran had athlete's foot. It's fine, but don't think I don't know that you would secretly nibble on me when I was asleep at night, not even sparing my feet, and you still said I had athlete's foot." Jiren opened her mouth in surprise, "Xiao Yi, are you so perverted?" Xiao Yi's face turned red, and he said awkwardly, "No, Sister Yunbing was confused in her sleep, so she doesn't know shit." Yunbing snorted and did not refute, giving him face. Ziran's beautiful eyes rolled around, a gleam in her eyes, and no one knew what she was thinking about. Yunbing asked, "Ziran, how far have you and that guy progressed?" Ziran was stumped by the questions. He glanced at Xiao Yi with her beautiful eyes without leaving any trace, then looked away and said with some sorrow, "I have made some efforts. He should know my feelings, but he just doesn't show his inner thought. She neither refuses nor accepts me." Yunbing's face darkened, and he said angrily, "Neither reject nor accept, isn't that a scumbag? Ziran, you better keep your eyes open. He is keeping you hanging." Ziran nodded and asked, "Xiao Yi, do you think this kind of person is hanging me up and is a scumbag?" "Xiao Yi, why did you ask him?" Of course he would not admit that he was a scumbag, and said, "No, maybe he has his own unspeakable secrets." Ziran seemed to be thinking about something. Yunbing said helplessly, "Okay, then Ziran, can you feel that he likes you?" Ziran was a little depressed. She glanced at Xiao Yi and said faintly, "I feel like he likes it, but I'm not sure." Yunbing smiled, "Ziran, a pure goddess like you can actually be so melancholy and depressed." Ziran became even more depressed and said, "There are so many men who like me, from the Imperial City to the Magic City, but I really can't describe that man. Xiao Yi, as a man, do you think he will like me?" Ziran stared at him intently, a hint of nervousness appearing on her pretty face. Xiao Yi almost choked on his own saliva after coughing. He said, "I'm not him, how would I know?" After getting a response, the light in Ziran's beautiful eyes dimmed. Her pretty face became stiff, and she felt very lost inside. But Xiao Yi's voice paused for a moment, then sounded again. "But Sister Ziran, you are so charming, any man would like you and would want to hold you in his arms and kiss you hard." Yunbing said unhappily, "Don't be so vulgar. I agree with the first half of your sentence, but forget the second half. What do you mean by hugging and kissing? Not all men are as lewd as you." The light returned to Ziran's beautiful eyes, and the smile on her pretty face blossomed like a fresh flower. He nodded seriously and said, "I understand." Yunbing stretched and said, "Xiao Yi, let's go around the Supreme Alliance together." After joining the Supreme Alliance, there are many places I haven't been to. Ziran held Xiao Yi's hand tightly and said, "Yunbing, you go alone. Xiao Yi stays here as my practice partner. I will practice well in these 2 days. Otherwise I won't have a chance in the future." Yunbing's mouth twitched, wanting to refuse, but after seeing Ziran's pleading eyes, she said helplessly, "Okay, then I'll go shopping alone." Ziran smiled, took out a token from his waist, threw it to Yunbing, and said, "Thank you. This is the leader's token. You can go anywhere in the Supreme Alliance without any hindrance." Yunbing grabbed the token and said with a grin, "Then I won't be polite." After saying that, she went out and left the Alliance leader's hall. Xiao Yi's eyes suddenly widened and he saw Ziran coming closer to him, pouting her little mouth and poking at him. He wanted to cry but had no tears. He was actually kissed forcibly. Chapter 383. Ziran, I was kissed so hard that I'm swollen. Ziran's kiss was cool, soft, moist and special. Xiao Yi was confused, his mind went blank and he was at a loss as to what to do. 2 seconds later, the two separated. Xiao Yi wiped someone's saliva from his mouth and said, "Sister Ziran, you are taking advantage of Yunbing's absence to mess around." A little fish stretched out from Ziran's little mouth, that licked the rosy lips. The feeling of biting her lips was so wonderful. "It feels like soaking in a hot spring. My whole body feels numb and very comfortable." At that moment, her heart, which had been frozen for more than 1,000 years as a single dog, began to ripple. It began to beat fast, and she felt excited and throbbing. Ziran's beautiful eyes stared at him with longing. She really wanted to kiss him a few more times. She was a little unsatisfied and said, "It's not messy, it's just a bite. It's normal for couples to do these things." Xiao Yi's mouth twitched, "But we are not a couple. You made it seem like I was cheating on Sister Yunbing, which made me feel guilty and guilty towards her." Ziran rolled her eyes and said, "Speechless lie, come on, don't think I don't know that in the Magic City, besides Xiaobing, there are 4 other beast girls. If you feel guilty towards Xiaobing, why didn't you feel guilty towards those 4 beast girls when you signed the contract with Xiaobing?" Xiao Yi choked and opened his mouth but had nothing to say. Ziran smiled and said, "I understand. Do you feel guilty because you think I am her best friend and I am using you as a guinea pig to steal the ape with you?" Xiao Yi's eyes lit up. And he nodded rapidly, saying, "Yes, yes, yes, that's it." Ziran snorted and said disapprovingly, "It's okay. The 4 of us sisters have sworn before that we will marry the same man together, you don't have to feel guilty." Xiao Yi's mouth twitched, and he said righteously, "Anyway, don't cross the line before Sister Yunbing agrees." Ziran looked at his handsome face with a serious expression, and said with a chuckle, "No problem, I will find a way to get Xiaobing to agree." She added in her heart, "You look very upright and speak very seriously. But your eyes drifted to my legs and didn't leave for a second. A guy with dirty thoughts but no courage." Then, Ziran sat on Xiao Yi's lap, wrapped her slender hands around his neck, looked directly into his eyes with her beautiful eyes, and said seriously with her pretty face, "Xiao Yi, is what I answered before true?" Xiao Yi looked confused. "What?" Ziran sat on his lap, but he didn't feel heavy. Instead he felt very light. There was a faint fragrance wafting from her body, which smelled very nice. According to Xiao Yi's guess, this fragrance is not the kind of perfume that vulgar women spray on their bodies, but the light body odor that naturally emanates from the body. There is an essential difference between the two. Ziran's heart sank and she became depressed. Xiao Yi didn't take her words to heart, which meant that he had just answered Xiaobing's question casually not long ago. Looking at her lost expression, Xiao Yi panicked inexplicably and said hurriedly, "What answer? Why don't you ask again and I will answer it seriously." "Butchie," Ziran laughed. He was actually worried about his own loss. This smile, on her innocent and pretty face, is as beautiful as the fresh flowers blooming all over the mountain. Xiao Yi was stunned. Ziran lowered her beautiful eyes, her pretty face slightly red, and said shyly, "Xiao Yi, do you like me? Do you like Ziran?" This, Xiao Yi frowned. To be honest, he and Ziran have only been together for a short time, and he doesn't have any romantic feelings for her for the time being. All I can say is, he is greedy for Ziran's body. Ziran was a little flustered, her pretty face was tense, and she said angrily, "Hurry up and tell me the truth." Xiao Yi had no choice but to tell the truth. "I like her a little, but not much." Ziran frowned. Just a little like? It seemed that her charm had not been revealed yet, and Xiao Yi had not completely fallen in love with her. She still needs to make a lot of efforts. Thinking of Xiao Yi's hobby, Ziran pursed her lips and smiled, revealing a naughty smile. A hint of temptation appeared on her pure and pretty face. She pouted and moved towards Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi suddenly raised his hand, blocked her little face and said, "Sister Ziran, don't be like this, I am a serious person." The kiss failed. And a hint of resentment emerged in Ziran's beautiful eyes. She said faintly, "You are the one who took advantage, huh? You bastard who has the desire but no courage. Okay, if you kiss me once, I'll give you a top-grade crystal core from a great venerable. How about that?" She raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Xiao Yi opened his eyes wide, looking at that beautiful, innocent face and that rosy and attractive cherry mouth, and his heart was moved. However, he had a bottom line. And he quickly adjusted his mentality and waved his hand, saying, "No, I'm not the kind of man who can sell my body for money." Ziran bit her lower lip, her face showed a fierce look and said, "I'll pay more. If you kiss me once, I'll give you 2 great venerable top-grade crystal core. Show about that." Xiao Yi. If this person was not Yunbing's best friend, he would have rushed over to hug her and kissed her 100 times, until her lips were swollen. However, Ziran is Yunbing's best friend, and although he is very moved, he does not want to do anything to let Yunbing down. Seeing the struggle on Xiao Yi's face, Ziran's rosy lips curled up even more. He is just a bastard who has the desire but no guts. She lifted the hem of her purple skirt, revealing her 2 pairs of long legs wrapped in black stockings to Xiao Yi's sight, and smiled. "If you kiss me once, I will not only give you 2 great venerable top-grade crystal cores, but also let you touch my legs. How about that?" Xiao Yi felt his heart was about to break, and he pounced on him, saying, "I am just being your guinea pig to help you practice your mouth-biting skills. Don't think too much." Ziran's mouth was blocked, her beautiful eyes widened and she couldn't utter a word. The feeling she got this time was even stronger than last time, and her long silent heart began to beat with joy again. Cool, soft and moist. Xiao Yi held her little head and bit it once, twice, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 50 times, 80 times, 102 times. Xiao Yi let go only when Ziran was a little out of breath. Ziran's eyes were full of affection just now. She was like a small boat sailing on the boundless ocean, being hit by wave after wave of turbulent waves, which made her heart surge and her mind restless. She was completely moved. In this life, Ziran has decided to be with Xiao Yi. She said this to herself firmly. Xiao Yi looked at Shui Zhe, who raised his hand to wipe the corner of his mouth, and smiled. Are you satisfied? A total of 120 times. You owe me 240 great venerable top-grade crystal cores, and you owe me 240 chances to touch your legs. Ziran rolled her eyes, her mouth slightly swollen from being bitten, and said, You're taking advantage of me and still acting cute. I'm hurt by your kiss. Xiao Yi shrugged, went straight to her, put his hands on her black icy silk stockings, and said with a smile, I'm very generous, so I won't give you the crystal core. Chapter 384, Watching a Porn Movie. Ziran is jealous. Ziran smiled playfully and said, How about you give up the chance to touch my legs, and I'll give you 240 crystal cores. Xiao Yi looked righteous and serious, and said, No, giving you the crystal core will cause you financial losses. I, Xiao Yi, am not the kind of person who can sell my body for money. Xiaoran was speechless and said, When you say this, and you take your big hand away from my leg? Xiao Yi shook his head firmly. No. Ziran rolled her eyes. After touching for 240 seconds, Xiao Yi let Ziran move away from his legs and hurried into the bathroom. He came out 20 minutes later. Ziran looked him up and down with her beautiful eyes, and asked in surprise, You finished so quickly? Didn't Xiaobing say that it would take at least an hour each time? Xiao Yi was at a loss, and said, Go to the toilet, what's the point? Seeing the expression of I understand, don't lie to me, on her pretty face, Xiao Yi understood. His face darkened and he said, Sister Ziran, you are the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital, the leader of dozens of supreme powers. You are in a high position, powerful and majestic. How can your heart be so dirty? I went to the toilet, and you actually thought of that. Ziran looked puzzled and muttered, I learned this from an action art movie, it shouldn't be wrong. Xiao Yi. He gave a thumbs up and said, Speechless lie, awesome. You can actually learn something from an action art short film. You are worthy of being Sister Ziran. Ziran shook her head and said inferently, It's okay. I will have the opportunity to personally verify your endurance in the future. I will know how long you can last. Xiao Yi widened his eyes. What kind of fierce and brutal words were these? They were too fierce. He covered his chest with both hands, took a step back, and said defensively, Sister Ziran, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. My wife Yunbing treats you as a good friend, but you actually covet her man's body. Ziran snorted tenderly, I am still Huang's daughter. I will give you a good deal in the future, just be content. Okay, Xiaobing is not here. Do we have to do something? Xiao Yi took 2 steps back again and said, No, that's absolutely not possible. I have a bottom line. Ziran understood what he was talking about. Her pretty face darkened, and she said, Don't think too much, at least after the contract is signed. Do you think I'm so casual? I'm a very traditional woman. A traditional woman? Xiao Yi looked at her swollen lips with a look of disbelief. However, to sign a contract with Ziran, at least Yunbing's consent is needed. Ziran stretched lazily, smiled and said, Okay. I won't tease you anymore. Let's go watch a movie together while Xiaobing is not here. The little notebook records common interests and little flirtations, which can quickly enhance the relationship between two people. She and Xiao Yi both like watching action art short films. She hopes that by watching short films, Xiao Yi will like her more. Xiao Yi was stunned. Look, let's watch a movie, the two of us. Ziran walked lightly on the ground, took his hand, and said with a faint smile, Yes, it's the two of us. Don't waste time, come together. Xiao Yi lowered his head and thought, Is it really okay to watch a movie with Sister Ziran? What if he gets beastly? Ziran pulled Xiao Yi to the private rest area on the 3rd floor of the Alliance Leaders Hall. In the living room, she pulled all the curtains so that no one outside could see anything inside, and the light in the room became dim. Then Ziran took out the projector, which projected a light curtain onto the curtains. In an instant, the picture appeared on the curtain. Xiao Yi and Ziran sat close together on the sofa, both pairs of eyes focused on the screen. Age warning. If you are under 18 years old, please watch it accompanied by an adult to prevent harm to your physical and mental health. 9-1 Media. In the picture, there are forbid characters at the top, and lines of warnings below. Finally, there is the producer media. Xiao Yi widened his eyes, shocked, and thought, It really is a porn movie. He used to watch it alone. But today, he watched it with a beautiful lady, who was Ziran, the most beautiful lady in the capital. To be honest, he felt a little bit excited. No, not a little bit, but very excited. Ziran stared at him with her eyes fixed, her pretty face excited, and she said, Xiao Yi, this is one of my treasured movies. I have many more like this one. We can watch them together every day in the future. Xiao Yi was stunned watching it every day. Watching it with Ziran? On the curtain, the picture changes, the plot begins, and characters appear. The title is Early Spring. Obviously, this movie was carefully selected by Ziran. It is in line with Ziran's mood at the moment. Ziran smiled and said, Xiao Yi, look at this heroine's figure. Isn't it not as good as mine before? Xiao Yi nodded. Yes. Ziran said unwillingly, my figure is not as good as hers now, but it may not be the case in the future. Xiao Yi nodded, yes. Grinning around, Ziran found that Xiao Yi was staring at the screen and didn't hear what she was saying at all. She snorted, jealous. The other side. In the Supreme Alliance area, a wave of rumors spread. Have you heard? The leader is in love? Of course I heard that the leader has a gigolo. Nonsense. That's clearly the leader's secret lover. Really? Or did you hear that? Chef Jin said it himself, it can't be false. The patrol stopped and gathered together to talk excitedly. Some supreme beings came over, and after hearing these words, their faces were filled with sadness. What Supreme Jin said is probably true, my goddess. I'm heartbroken. Finally she has a lover. The most beautiful girl in the imperial capital has a lover. I didn't expect the leader to like pretty boys. Should I learn some plastic surgery techniques? Come on. You're a 2-meter tall muscular tough guy with a fierce face. No one dares to approach you when you stand there and you want to turn yourself into a gigolo. Only someone with a normal body shape like me can turn into a gigolo. As time passed, the news spread further and further, and became more and more outrageous. Yunbing took the alliance leader's token and came to the door of the tall hall in the training area. The door of the hall was open, but a group of people gathered at the door, blocking the road, and were talking about something excitedly. Between the lines, there were words from the leader and the pretty boy, which aroused Yunbing's curiosity. The leader? In the Supreme Alliance, isn't that Ziran? She approached and pricked up her ears to listen, and what she heard shocked her. The crowd was talking. A leader of the alliance has already been named and the contract has been signed. If you want me to tell you, I know something even more shocking. She and that pretty boy have a 1-year-old child. You're talking nonsense. She's already 1-year-old. She obviously has 3 children. Yunbing's face turned dark. What was this? Listening to the crowd's increasingly outrageous words, she became angry. And with all her supreme power, she lifted up the first-level supreme who mentioned the 3 children with one hand, and asked, who spread these rumors? A beginner supreme who had just joined the Supreme Alliance swallowed his saliva and said in panic, Supreme Jinpeng said it himself. We didn't make it up. Jinpeng? Yunbing gritted her teeth, and spoke word by word, which showed how angry she was. Hey. Who is calling me? A middle-aged fat man with a fat body and squinty eyes who was walking on the avenue outside stopped when he heard someone calling him. Chapter 385. Yunbing catches an adulterer. Yunbing turned around and saw a fat man with squinting eyes standing on the side of the road looking around, with a confused look on his face. Yes, it's him. He is Jinpeng. He was the one who started the rumor. And we are just repeating his words. What about the pretty boy and the child? He spread it all. The first-level supreme being hurriedly pushed the responsibility to Jinpeng. Yunbing had a cold face and her beautiful eyes were filled with anger. She threw the first-level supreme being to the ground. The first-level supreme heaved a sigh of relief. He was already sweating profusely at this point. And his clothes on his back were soaked. Yunbing rushed to Jinpeng, pointed at him and angrily said, It's you. You deserve to die for so many rumors just because you cooked a meal. Ziran and Xiao Yi are her best friend and her husband respectively. Yunbing was very angry at Jinpeng for slandering them. Jinpeng's narrowed eyes widened and he said innocently, What rumors have I spread? Yunbing became even more furious, and cursed, You are still pretending to be innocent? You are really shameless. Open your eyes wider. Are you squinting to look down on others? Those who were discussing at the entrance of the hall said with disdain, The leader is supporting a gigolo. Isn't that what he said? That is, you don't admit what you said. Right? Not only that, the leader has 3 children now. He said it all. I was wondering how such a pure and innocent person like the leader could suddenly have a gigolo. Turns out it was just a rumor. Damn it, this guy really deserves to die. It turns out he is spreading rumors again. Isn't he afraid of being held accountable by the leader? Jinpeng's face darkened and he said, My eyes are so small to begin with. And I've opened them as wide as possible. What nonsense are these people talking about? When did I ever say that the leader of the alliance has a gigolo? I only said that the leader was in love with a very young and handsome man. The rest was exaggerated by others, not by me. Yunbing's mouth twitched and she kicked Jinpeng in the stomach. With a bang, Jinpeng flew backwards, drew a parabola, and fell to the ground, looking very embarrassed. Then, Yunbing flashed over, lifted Jinpeng by the collar with one hand, and said, If you hadn't started it, Would there be so many dirty words? Don't act innocent, Ziran won't let you off easily when she finds out. Jinpeng shrugged his face and said unconvinced lie. I can't beat you, but I didn't slander you. The leader and the young man used the same pair of chopsticks to eat, which is equivalent to an indirect kiss. Isn't this something that only lovers in love would do? Yun Bing said speechless lie, you are talking nonsense, they have nothing. Jinpeng looked unconvinced and said, the leader has always been pure and chaste, she has never even held a man's hand. How can she share chopsticks with a man and not mind eating with his saliva on them? The leader and that young man might be doing something that couples do right now. Yun Bing's pretty face froze, her hand loosened and she let go of Jinpeng. Her brows furrowed. What Jinpeng said makes sense. Ziran and Xiao Yi are practicing, but the scale of their practice is too big. After Jinpeng's reminder, Yun Bing and discovered that what Ziran and Xiao Yi did in front of her didn't seem like practice at all, but they were really cultivating their feelings. By the way, Ziran said last night that she would start pursuing that man early tomorrow morning. As a result, early this morning, Yun Bing saw Xiao Yi drinking ice cola. Crunch, Yun Bing's teeth were chattering, and a feeling of betrayal surged in his heart. She was so angry that she laughed. Treating Ziran as a good friend, Ziran actually found an excuse to flirt with Xiao Yi in person. And he even openly said that he was serving as a guinea pig. Ziran, you actually lied to me and stole my husband. And Xiao Yi, he actually stole Xing behind my back. Yun Bing's chest was heaving with anger with all his might. He flew towards the Alliance Leaders Hall with a Jinpeng widened his eyes and took a breath of cold air. What this charming and beautiful lady said was too explosive. Supremes who had just joined the Supreme Alliance standing at the entrance of the training hall were also stunned. Oh my god, the leader actually stole someone else's husband. Fuck. How handsome is that young man? Not only does he have this stunning beauty, but he also charmed the leader. That charming beauty just now. Could it be that she went back to catch someone having an affair? I'll go and see how handsome that young man is. I want to watch the adultery of the leader, and the most beautiful woman in the capital. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone flew up and flew towards the hall of the Supreme Alliance leader. They want to watch a show. In the Alliance Leaders Hall, on the 3rd floor, in the living room, Ziran and Xiao Yi are watching a short action art film. In the projected image, the male and female protagonists are already engaged in a double battle, with all kinds of knowledge emerging frequently. Ziran covered her eyes with her hands, her pretty face blushing, and said, Xiao Yi, why don't we skip this part? It's too embarrassing. Xiao Yi waved his hand and said with a smile, watch this just to watch this clip. Sister Ziran, didn't you watch this kind of clip before? Ziran's hands were not tightly closed, leaving several large gaps. Her beautiful eyes curiously stared at the projected image through the gaps and said shyly, why would I watch this clip? I only watched the beginning and saw the figure of the heroine. Xiao Yi looked at Ziran, raised his hand to take down her hands that were covering her eyes, and said, since you haven't seen it before, then watch it today. You will experience it in the future. This time is for learning, and you will have the opportunity to practice in the future. Ziran's innocent face turned red all the way to her delicate ears. Her beautiful eyes dodged, still not daring to look directly at the scene. Oops. I just want to see the big waves and stick out my butt. My god, that man's actions are so rude. Xiao Yi, you must be gentler to me in the future. Ziran said shyly. Xiao Yi was stunned. Do you think I will treat you like this in the future? Ziran said as a matter of course. Of course, Ziran, always keep my word. Since I have chosen you as my man, I will not have anything to do with other men. Ziran, will sign a contract with you one day and become your real lover and husband and wife. Xiao Yi was stunned. What if Sister Yun Bing disagrees? Ziran said, I am not the leader for nothing. I will find a way to make Xiao Bing agree. Xiao Yi, can you give me a definite answer and sign a contract with me? Seeing her sincerity and determination, Xiao Yi said, as long as Sister Yun Bing and my other beast girls agree, I will sign a contract with you. Ziran clenched his fists. I will try my best. Xiao Yi smiled and said, the other beast girls are easy to talk to. Your main goal is to convince Sister Yun Bing. As long as you convince her, everything will be easy. However, you took advantage of Sister Yun Bing's trust in you and deceived Sister Yun Bing. You have to convince Sister Yun Bing and get her consented. It's very difficult. Ziran leaned her head over and rested on Xiao Yi's shoulder. He raised his hand and held her shoulders. The two of them snuggled together, staring intently at the two-person battle on the projected screen. Bang! At this time, a charming and beautiful lady came up from the stairs. She looked at the projected image with a dazed face, and then when she saw the two people snuggling together, she got angry. Chapter 300 Itexus, caught on the spot watching a pornographic movie. You guys, actually, are really doing something shady behind my back. Xiao Yi, Ziran, you really disappoint me. A pleasant but angry voice came from behind. Xiaoyi was startled and quickly let go of Ziran, moved a little distance away, and said, "Sister Yunbing, it's not what you think." Yunbing laughed angrily and pointed at the screen on the projection with her slender white finger. The two-person battle was still going on, and embarrassing voices continued to come out from the speakers saying, "You guys watched this kind of thing together, hugged each other and kissed each other, and you said it wasn't what I imagined. Do you believe what you said?" Xiao Yi glanced at the projected image, his words were choked, and he opened his mouth but could say nothing. Ziran said with a guilty conscience, "Xiaobing, we are just practicing, I am treating him as a guinea pig." Yunbing stared at Ziran with a cold face and said in a cold voice, "Stop lying, do you think I'm stupid? Don't you have any analytical mind? Can't you even see your affair? Ziran, you stinky bitch, the man you like is Xiaoyi, right? You want to pursue Xiaoyi, and you even make up an excuse to be his practice partner. You are just trying to deceive me, taking advantage of my trust in you." Being deceived feels terrible. A feeling of being betrayed is also very unpleasant. Ziran and Xiaoyi both deceived and betrayed her. At this moment, Yunbing was angry and sad, and she wished she could tear Ziran and Xiaoyi apart. Seeing that the truth was revealed, Ziran directly admitted, "Yes, Xiaobing, I just like Xiaoyi, and I want to be Xiaoyi's woman. I'm sorry I lied to you." Yunbing looked at Ziran's pure and beautiful face and felt very unfamiliar. Xiaoyi walked over and wanted to hug Yunbing's shoulders and explain. But Yunbing dodged it with a flash, and said with disappointment on his face, "Don't touch me. Go watch movies with this bitch. I never want to see you again." With a tear, she tore open a crack in space, stepped into it, and her figure disappeared. Xiaoyi wanted to chase after him, but he stepped on empty air and the space crack disappeared. He was anxious and shouted, "Sister Yunbing, where are you going?" No echo. Xiaoyi panicked and said anxiously, it's over. Sister Yunbing doesn't even want to see me anymore." Ziran rubbed her brows in distress, approached, patted Xiaoyi on the shoulder, and said, "Why are you so anxious? After Xiaobing's anger subsides, you and she will still be a loving couple. I will be miserable. I may never get her forgiveness in my life. Not to mention getting her to agree that I will be with you and sign a contract." Xiaoyi thought for a moment and said, "Sister Ziran, send me back to the Magic City. I want to find Yunbing." She shook her head and smiled. "No hurry, let's finish watching the movie first and cultivate our relationship. Wait until Xiaobing's anger subsides before going to look for her." Having said that, Ziran pulled Xiaoyi back to the sofa. She rested her little head on Xiaoyi's broad shoulders, and they were close together. A few strands of hair brushed against Xiaoyi's face, but he didn't feel anything. The projected images also reached their most exciting part, and the sounds from the speakers also sounded regularly. Xiaoyi stood up with a blank expression on his face, and said anxiously, "No, I have to go find Sister Yunbing right away, apologize to her and explain to her. My space teleportation can reach the Magic City. I'll take a helicopter back." After receiving the training feedback from Chengbing Shi and the other beast girls over the past few days, his current realm has reached the perfection of the 10th level of the Venerable. According to his estimation, he would be able to break through to the Great Through to the Great Through to the Great Through from the 10th level of the Venerable Realm to the first level of the Great Venerable Realm was the same as the time required to break through from the first level of the Great Through from the first level of the Great Venerable Realm to the second level of the Great Venerable Realm, which was about 10 days. It takes 1 day to break through one level in the Venerable Realm, which is about 10 times longer. Ziran turned off the projection and audio, nodded and said, "Okay, I'll go with you. No need to take the helicopter, but before that, I have to deal with those guys outside who are looking for a fight." Xiaoyi was stunned. Outside, Ziran and he walked to the window, pulled open the curtains, and looked down through the window. Really? Outside the Alliance Leaders' Hall, a large group of supreme beings have gathered, probably more than 20 in number. "Come on, come down with me. Disperse them and let them join the Supreme Alliance. We are not here for them to watch the fun and gossip." Ziran took Xiaoyi's hand and went straight downstairs. When they reached the closed door of the Alliance Leaders' Hall, Xiaoyi paused, took up the hand he was holding, shook it and said, "Are we going to walk out holding hands like this?" Ziran nodded. "Yes, I will definitely sign a contract with you in the future. Is there any problem with me officially announcing our relationship in advance?" Xiaoyi shook his head. "I have no problem, but you are the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital, so it's fine if you are willing." Ziran smiled, resolutely opened the door of the hall, took Xiaoyi's hand, and walked out side by side with him. Outside, some of the Supremes who joined 10 years ago and those who joined not long ago were talking excitedly. "Hey, aren't we catching an adulterer? Why is there no movement at all? That charming lady must have gone to the wrong place. Impossible, I saw with my own eyes that stunning lady rushing into the Alliance Leaders' Hall. That young man really knows how to enjoy life, having two stunning ladies at the same time." I joined the Supreme Alliance just to see Ziran, the most beautiful girl in the capital. Now she has a boyfriend, right? Fuck, the door of the main hall is opened and someone is coming out. It's the leader. Wait, who is the person next to her? In an instant, the eyes of all the supreme beings present were focused on the two of them. The girl is pure and extraordinary, with majestic dignity, while the boy is tall, handsome, and has a righteous look on his face. When they walk together, they look like a perfect match, as if they were made for each other and very well matched. This guy is so handsome, much more handsome than the ones present here, but he looks so young. Indeed, judging from his appearance, he is no more than 100 years old. My grandson is older than him. So the leader likes this style. If I had known, I would have asked my grandson to get plastic surgery. You don't deserve it, and neither does your grandson. I'd better go get plastic surgery. These supreme powers are the top figures in every base city, but at this moment, they are like aunties and are very gossipy. When Ziran and Xiaoyi came closer, the scene suddenly became silent, and all the supreme beings saluted and addressed them respectfully. Greetings, leader. Meet the leader. Good afternoon, leader. Had you eaten? Ziran had regained his aura as the leader at this moment, and the domineering aura that came from being in a high position for a long time emanated from him. None of the supreme beings present dared to look up and look at him. She said in a cold voice, Jin Peng spread rumors at will, and he will be put in solitary confinement for 2 months and detained by the order team. You have slandered the leader of the alliance at will. The resources you enjoy this year will be reduced by half. The order team will enforce this. Where is the order team? She shouted. A team of 10 people exuding vast power walked out of the void, carrying a fat man with squinty eyes, and threw him in front of the supreme beings present. The supremes present sensed the perfect aura of the supremes from the 10-man team. All of them shrank their necks and showed solemn expressions on their faces. They all realized that the leader of the Supreme Alliance is not easy to mess with. No random comments, no open slander. Ziran continued, let me introduce you to the person next to me. He is my Beastmaster Xiaoyi, and he is also a new member who just joined the Supreme Alliance this year. Xiaoyi waved his hand and said with a smile, hello. Chapter 387 The Painful Yun Bing. Brother Xiao, hello. Brother Xiao, hello, Brother Xiao. The Supreme Beings present all responded by clasping their fists, and did not look down on Xiaoyi because of his young age. Brother Xiao, you are a role model for our generation. Yes. Brother Xiao, it's the affectionate ancestor of the imperial capital. I have never been submissive to anyone in this world. Brother Xiao is the only one I admire. These supreme beings were talking at once, and their words were all praise for Xiaoyi. After Ziran announced their relationship, Xiaoyi's status in the Supreme Alliance became equivalent to that of the leader. Although he has no actual position, offending him is equivalent to offending the leader of the alliance. Whatever he wants to do, he can do it through the leader in the Supreme Alliance. Therefore, these supreme beings all knew in their hearts that from now on, they should treat Xiaoyi as the leader of the alliance. Xiaoyi's status was infinitely elevated. He saw respect and awe in the eyes of these supreme beings when they looked at him. Is this the feeling of taking advantage of power? Does it feel like being a freeloader? Very exciting and cool. Xiaoyi felt a little excited. Facing the crowd, Ziran, who had a stern and majestic face, suddenly smiled. All the seriousness on her face disappeared, and a very bright smile appeared on her innocent face, like spring blooming. She said to Xiaoyi, okay, let's go back to the magic city. She waved her hand and a black hole appeared. The black hole sucked the two people in suddenly, and disappeared in a flash. The supreme beings present were all stunned and disgusted. Fuck. I actually saw the leader smile. It turns out that the leader can laugh. Isn't she always so serious? Let's all go. The leader's kindness is only for Brother Xiao, so let's stop imagining things. You slandered the leader. I just said a few words. This year's resources were reduced by half. I just joined the Supreme Alliance. I blame myself for being rude. I regret it. These supreme beings gradually dispersed and went back to their own business. The other side. In Villa No. 2 of the No. 1 Lakeview Villa area of Kunpeng College. A space crack suddenly appeared, and a charming and beautiful lady walked out of it. She has a hot devilish figure with an S-shaped body curve, and it is Yun Bing. However, her beautiful and charming face was full of pain, anger, and disappointment. Yun Bing hugged her legs, curled up on the sofa, buried her head in her slender arms, and her delicate body trembled continuously. Silence is better than words. She endured the feeling of being deceived and betrayed. Very painful. Yun Bing cried, without making any sound, shedding tears silently. 10 minutes later, she raised her head, revealing a delicate, haggard face. Her eyes, as pure as autumn water, were red and bloodshot. She took out her tablet, found Baidu, typed in, what should I do if my husband cheats on me with his best friend, and clicked search. After refreshing the page, the search results appear one by one in your field of vision. 1 cut, castrate him. If it happens once, there will be a second time. Once it starts, there will be no end. Once it is cut, it will be permanent. Terminate the contract. The contract must be terminated. This scumbag, kick him out. Beware of fire, theft and best friends. Best friends advise breaking up instead of reconciliation. This kind of best friend should be killed with a knife. It will make you feel better. Cancel the contract. And then match the best IE with the scumbag to sign a contract. If this scumbag can cheat once, he will cheat a second time, so that the best IE can also experience the feeling of being cheated on. Yun Bing threw the tablet away in annoyance. When she thought of Xiao Yi's face, the feeling of betrayal came to her mind again, making her very painful. She cried again, curled up and buried her head in her arms. At this moment, a white hole appeared outside the villa, and with two sounds, the people came out. They were Xiao Yi and Ziran. Ziran's beautiful eyes lit up. I sensed Xiao Bing's presence. She is in the villa. Xiao Yi nodded and said, wait outside for a while. I'll go in and take a look at the situation. Ziran nodded, came over, waved on Xiao Yi's face, and said with a smile, go ahead, I'll wait for you. Xiao Yi wiped his face, took out the key, opened the door and walked into the villa. When he entered the living room, the first thing he saw was Yun Bing curled up on the sofa trembling. Xiao Yi's heart tightened, and it felt like his heart was being pricked by a needle. It was very painful. He walked over, squatted down, stared up with wide eyes, looked through the gap between Yun Bing's arms, and said, hey, Sister Yun Bing, you actually cry. Are you really crying? Let me see. Xiao Yi pretended to pry Yun Bing's hands apart to take a look at her pretty face. Yun Bing raised her head, glared at him fiercely, and said, why did you come back? You found a new love, why are you still coming to my place? Seeing her haggard face and bloodshot eyes, Xiao Yi felt a pain in his ear. He smiled awkwardly, then sat down next to Yun Bing, hugged her in his arms, and said, this is all my fault. You can hit me and scold me. I promise I won't fight back. When saying this, Xiao Yi felt a little upset in his heart. Yun Bing had a hot temper. She was either beating someone up or on her way to beating someone up. If she really punched him, his bones would probably be shattered. Yun Bing leaned her little head towards Xiao Yi's shoulder and said, I want to castrate you. But when she was about to get closer, Yun Bing's beautiful pupils shrank, and she actually saw a red lip mark on Xiao Yi's face. This lip mark is a bit light, probably because I tried to wipe it off but didn't wipe it off completely. Yun Bing hadn't kissed Xiao Yi recently, so it was obvious that the lip mark was not hers, but from another woman, probably Ziran. Yun Bing was very annoyed. She rushed into the kitchen, took out a kitchen knife, and walked towards Xiao Yi step by step, looking at the kitchen knife with a sharp blade and the ruthless look on Yun Bing's pretty face. Xiao Yi shrank his neck and said in panic, Sister Yun Bing, what are you doing? Yun Bing said word by word, if I castrate you and make you a eunuch, Ziran will not get involved with you and can live with me for the rest of her life. Xiao Yi took a breath of cold air. His whole body went cold, drops of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and he waved his hand and said, Sister Yun Bing, you have to think about it carefully. If I become a eunuch, you will be alone in the empty room in the future, and you will never be satisfied. Yun Bing curled her lips, I have a toy, it can replace you. Xiao Yi widened his eyes and said in disbelief, Sister Yun Bing, you actually still have that? Before signing the contract with me, you secretly seek pleasure alone, right? He said that when he Liu entered the bridal chamber, he was unable to break through the membrane, which resulted in him being unable to consummate the marriage. But Yun Bing had no obstacles at all. Yun Bing's pretty face turned red. Only once 100 years in the past, 500 years, the number of times I've used it has never exceeded the number of my hands. Xiao Yi suddenly realized, so that's it? Yun Bing approached with a knife in hand, and came in front of Xiao Yi, gleaming kitchen knife pressed against his lower abdomen, and sneered, even though I had used toys, I have never touched a man before, and I have never done anything to let you down. But you have disappointed me so much. Since it was you who caused this, I should just cut off the roots and cut it off directly. She was swift and quick, and cut with a knife. A flash of cold light flashed, and a flash of knife light passed by. Chapter 388 Yun Bing's Punishment. Jealousy ran. Blood splattered everywhere, splashing Yun Bing's pretty face and clothes with bright red. Xiao Yi's clothes and pants were also covered in blood. Xiao Yi was shocked. He wailed, his eyes tightly closed. No, Yun Bing sneered. Are you scared now? If you betray me again, next time, I'll be yours. She picked up a magical flying pigeon bird that was cut in half in her hand, and bright red blood dripped through her fingers. It's not mine. When he opened his eyes suddenly widened. Yun Bing caught a magic pigeon bird at some point and cut it in half with a kitchen knife. She curled her lips and sneered. This kind of thing will never happen again. Xiao Yi heaved a sigh of relief. His heart at ease. It was good that it wasn't his. He smiled and said, Sister Yun Bing, I knew you couldn't bear to part with it. How could a toy be as good as mine? Yun Bing's pretty face turned red, and her beautiful eyes glared. You must compensate me before I can forgive you. Xiao Yi raised his head and leaned forward, saying, Sister Yun Bing, you are still angry? How about you slap me twice to vent your anger? Yun Bing looked at the lip marks on the handsome face and became more and more annoyed. She said unhappily, if you want me to slap you twice, wipe off the lip marks on your face first. It's really annoying me. Xiao Yi was startled and took out a mirror. Sure enough, there was a red lip mark on his face and a faint mark. Oh my god, Sister Ziran has really hurt me. I'll clean it up right away. He laughed awkwardly, feeling a little embarrassed, and hurried into the bathroom to wash his face. After washing it clean, he ran out happily, put his face in front of Yun Bing, and said, Sister Yun Bing, go ahead and hit me. I won't fight back as long as you can vent your anger. I will accept as many slaps as you want. His sincere eyes and sincere words made Yun Bing burst into laughter. She raised her hand and pinched his handsome face, saying resentfully, I can't bear to beat him. If he hurts me, I'll be heartbroken. Xiao Yi chuckled and said, so you forgive me? Yun Bing's beautiful eyes were filled with resentment, and she said faintly, no. Xiao Yi smiled awkwardly. What do you have to do to forgive me? Yun Bing sat on the sofa and said coldly, call that slut Ziran in. Xiao Yi was about to go out and shout, but Ziran came in by herself. She felt guilty and uneasy, her eyes were evasive, and she said angrily, well, Xiao Bing, the weather is really nice today. Yun Bing sneered. Ziran, don't you have anything to say to me? Ziran's body trembled. Based on her understanding of Yun Bing's words meant that she could forgive herself. Ziran's beautiful eyes lit up, and she said, Xiao Bing, I'm sorry, I lied to you and even played tricks with Xiao Yi in front of you. What do you want me to do in order to forgive me? Even if I lie on the ground and bark like a dog, that's fine. At this moment, she was like a good friend who had done something wrong and was waiting to be punished. She lowered her head, her face dense, and she had no aura at all, which was completely different from the majestic aura she had in the Supreme Alliance. Yun Bing snorted and said, speechless lie, who asked you to lie on the ground and bark like a dog? If you have such a strange habit, go ahead and bark yourself. Let me ask you, do you like Xiao Yi and crave Xiao Yi's body? Xiao Yi stood aside and listened. Ziran's innocent face flushed. She glanced at him with her beautiful eyes, and then said with certainty, that's right, Ziran, like Xiao Yi. I covet his body, and I want to sign a contract with him. Xiao Yi was stunned. Ziran actually wanted his body. Yun Bing snorted, I see. Ziran, when did you fall in love with Xiao Yi? Ziran thought for a moment, and said with a blushing face, when he saved me from the crisis of sudden death and solved my physical defects. Oh my, he touched me all over and looked at me all over. How can I remain indifferent? I, Ziran, have always been pure and chaste for 500 years, I have never even been touched by a man's hand. How can I not be moved when Xiao Yi touches me like this? Hearing this, Yun Bing glared at Xiao Yi fiercely. Xiao Yi suddenly realized that Ziran had already started to fall in love with him at that time. But when he massages Ziran, he has to let Ziran rub her lips and then they can have physical contact. He doesn't do it to take advantage of her, but to cure her physical defects. At this time, Ziran blushed and lowered her head. Feeling very embarrassed, her feet were wrinkled in her shoes and she was about to tear the soles. Hey, can you change the subject? Xiao Bing? It's too embarrassing to say these words in front of Xiao Yi. Yun Bing's mouth twitched, and she snorted. Okay, you bastard, don't you like Xiao Yi? You kissed him right in front of me. And used a pair of chopsticks to indirectly kiss him. You even oblin kidneys, and didn't eat any of the whole plate of food from me, your wife. She didn't feel anything at the time. But when she thought of that scene now, Yun Bing felt very sour in her heart, as if she had eaten citric acid. Even sourer than vinegar. Ziran, stand up straight, hold your head high. Look straight at us, she said coldly. Ziran raised her head in confusion, staring at the two of them with her beautiful eyes, wondering what Yun Bing was up to. Yun Bing hooked her finger at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi came over with a smile and said, my wife Yun Bing. What are you doing? Yun Bing pointed at her delicate face and said, wave it, quick. Xiao Yi widened his eyes. Is it really okay to do this in front of Ziran? Ziran's heart skipped a beat as Xiao Bing trying to declare sovereignty. Looking at the pretty face full of collagen without a single flaw, Xiao Yi smacked his lips and said with a grin, is this okay? Yun Bing nodded and looked at Ziran provocatively. Don't you like Xiao Yi? I will let you watch with your own eyes as the man you like touches me. Ziran's beautiful eyes widened, her pearly teeth bit her lower lip, and her pretty face had a very complicated expression. Yun Bing pointed to her rosy little mouth and said, hurry up. Xiao Yi said in surprise, Sister Ziran is still here. Yun Bing threw away the magical bird, grabbed his collar and pulled him over, saying, don't talk nonsense. I just want her to feel jealous. Xiao Yi's mouth was blocked. blocked by Yun Bing's rosy little mouth. Then he felt a small fish break through his teeth and start to eat him unbridled. This powerful attack made Xiao Yi feel Yun Bing's heat for the first time. Seeing the man she loved being hugged and kissed by another woman, Ziran bit her lower lip until it almost bled. Her small hands under her purple skirt were clenched into fists, and her beautiful eyes flashed with a sharp gaze. While Yun Bing was being unrestrained, he glanced at Ziran and was very satisfied with her reaction at this moment. I told you to cheat on me and make me feel bad. Are you jealous? 2 minutes later, looking at the two people who were still biting each other, Ziran's proud chest rose and fell, and his aura was almost uncontrollably leaking out. It was not until 5 minutes later that Yun Bing let go of Xiao Yi. He licked his lips and said proudly, Ziran, how do you feel? Ziran had a cold face and said in a cold voice, not very good. You're so stubborn. Yun Bing curled her lips and said shockingly, Xiao Yi, take off your clothes. Guan Yu Dui Guang, this bitch likes to watch movies, so let's watch a movie for her right here. Xiao Yi was shocked. Chapter 389 Shi Ziran. It was so explosive that she witnessed it in front of Ziran. Xiao Yi felt his scalp tingling. Ziran was also stunned. Her rosy little mouth opened slightly as she asked in surprise, Yun Bing, are you an exhibitionist? Do you want me to watch you get kicked? Xiao Yi shook his head firmly and said, Sister Yun Bing, no. I won't do it, sorry. I can't indulge you. You have lost your bottom line. The corners of Ziran's rosy lips curled up slightly. If she saw the person she liked, Xiao Yi, having an affair with Xiaobing in front of him, she would probably be miserable. Xiaobing, Xiao Yi is not your puppet and will not let you do anything. Yun Bing frowned and thought for a while, then touched her chin with her hand and nodded, saying, it seems so. I'm not an exhibitionist. I don't have the habit of showing off my body, nor am I as narcissistic as someone who wants the whole world to know that she has a great body. Being watched and kicked in front of others. I guess only an extremely narcissistic lunatic could do it. Ziran's pretty face dark and she could tell that Xiaobing was implying something about someone, and that person was her. Ziran. She was furious. She was still a young girl and was indeed narcissistic. But she was accused of being an exhibitionist. Xiaobing, that's enough, Ziran said angrily. Puchi, Yun Bing laughed. Her beautiful eyes were cold, but her charming face was full of smiles. She took Ziran's hand and said, forget it, let's not do it in person. I'm not an exhibitionist. Right, Iran. Ziran felt somewhat relieved, and said with a delighted face, yes. Xiaobing, you don't have a habit of being watched by others. She breathed a sigh of relief. Xiaobing finally let her go. But then, Yun Bing took Ziran and Xiao Yi by the left and right hands, climbed the stairs and went upstairs. Ziran's heart skipped a beat and he had a bad feeling. Xiao Yi scratched the back of his head, not sure what Yun Bing was trying to do. The three of them went to the third floor, outside the master bedroom. Near the door, Yun Bing pointed at the door and said, if you want me to forgive you, just stand here and lie on the door and eavesdrop. When Xiao Yi and I are exercising, we will talk about some topics after we are done. I will ask you questions to see if you have been paying attention. Ziran's mouth twitched, so you didn't let me go and were waiting for me here. Yun Bing glared at him. You want me to let you go? You're just daydreaming. Xiao Yi, close the door and let her lie on the door to listen, not in person. And you accept it? This, Xiao Yi wanted to refuse. Come with me. Yun Bing pulled Xiao Yi's collar and walked into the bedroom, then closed the door, but not completely, leaving a small gap. Xiao Yi didn't notice it and thought the door was closed. There were only 2 people in the room, so his psychological burden was reduced a lot. Ziran was outside, gritting her teeth in anger, her 2 rows of white teeth rubbing against each other, making a crackling sound. You said you would close the door, but you left a gap? Then a shameful voice came out from inside the door. Ziran's beautiful eyes immediately widened, her innocent face became dull, and her delicate little ears were flushed. The voice inside kept coming out. Stand up. No need for that. Just move. Xiao Yi said nothing. Yun Bing spoke everything. Ziran blushed with shame. She had already imagined the scene in her mind. Curiosity arose in her heart, and she watched through the gap with her beautiful eyes. It didn't end until 2 hours later. Ziran squatted by the wall, her feet numb from standing, and complained in her heart, Xiao Yi is really something. It actually takes so long. Isn't 10 minutes enough for him? Half an hour later, Yun Bing and Xiao Yi, who had changed their clothes, came out and sat on the sofa with Ziran. Ziran's innocent face flushed red. She lowered her head, too shy to look directly at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi was also a little embarrassed. Not knowing how to face Ziran, Yun Bing didn't have so many thoughts, staring at Ziran with her beautiful eyes, and said with a teasing smile, Ziran, let me ask you, were you listening the whole time? Ziran snorted. I'm listening. Xiao Yi widened his eyes. Yun Bing curled her lips. I don't believe it. I want to ask a few questions. If you can answer them, it will prove that you didn't leave the whole time and didn't block your 5 senses. Xiao Yi was also a little curious whether Ziran continued listening. Ziran was full of resentment and said, "Just ask." Yun Bing asked, "Who was moving the whole time?" Ziran raised her head, revealing her delicate face. Her beautiful eyes were filled with resentment. She glared at Xiao Yi, her pretty face full of bitterness, and said faintly, "He's moving." Yun Bing clapped her hands and cheered, "Good, very good." Xiao Yi's old face turned red. Yun Bing then asked, "How long did Xiao Yi last each time?" Ziran said shyly, 2 hours. "Xiao Yi, you are such a fool. You knew I was outside. But you didn't finish it earlier, didn't you finish it within 20 minutes last time?" Yun Bing's face turned cold. "Shut up. Now is the question session. Xiao Yi, did you exercise with Ziran last time?" Xiao Yi waved his hands hurriedly. "No, absolutely not." Yun Bing didn't believe it and looked at Ziran. "You haven't even signed a contract with him. And you're giving yourself away?" Ziran's pretty face darkened. "Nonsense, I'm still Huang's daughter. The last time Xiao Yi went into the bathroom, I don't know what he was doing. It took him 20 minutes, I guess he was doing something that only one person could do." Yun Bing's mouth twitched, and he said, "Speechless lie. Then you are overthinking it. Xiao Yi has so many beast girls. It is impossible for him to be alone. Besides, he's very strong in combat, and 20 minutes isn't enough to warm up." Xiao Yi's old face turned red again. Being discussed about this in front of two stunning ladies made him feel embarrassed for the first time in a long time. However, his fighting ability was proven. He was a little proud, puffed out his chest and raised his eyebrows and said, "Sister Ziran, I've already told you that it's not what you think. Now the truth is out." Ziran's eyes were full of resentment. Like a neglected woman in the boudoir, she glared at him fiercely and complained, "It takes 20 minutes to go to the toilet, and you're the only one." Yun Bing coughed. "Stop talking about this, I haven't finished asking questions yet. Ziran, I will continue to ask questions, and you continue to answer. Black silk, what are they used for?" Ziran looked down at her skirt. Her legs underneath the skirt were also wearing high shoes. There were letters on the high shoes, as well as the 4 words, "Xiao Yi's exclusive" on them. Her beautiful eyes lit up and she said, "It's for tearing. A good pair of socks is one that can be torn apart easily. The black silk she made using supreme grade ice silk material is a protective gear with strong defensive capabilities, and it can be considered a failed product. Because if they can't be torn, they are not good socks." Xiao Yi said secretly, "You finally understand the real use of his." Yun Bing nodded, raised her hand and snapped her fingers, saying, "Okay, you passed." The look of joy appeared on Ziran's pretty face. "Really? Xiao Bing, have you forgiven me?" Yun Bing smiled and said, "Yes, I forgive you. Not because you like Xiao Yi. I can't stop you from liking someone, and it is fate that you like Xiao Yi." At this point, their estrangement was repaired and the two best IES reconciled. Ziran was delighted and said with a smile, "So, do you agree to my marriage with Xiao Yi?" Chapter 390. Yun Bing agreed, the excited white-haired girl. Xiao Yi listened attentively. To be honest, he was also coveting Ziran, the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital, and he wanted her body. If Ziran wants to sign a contract with him, she must get Yun Bing's consent. After Yun Bing agrees, it will be very easy to deal with the other beast girls. For those foodies, just delicious food is enough. Yun Bing nodded and said, "I agree." Ziran was ecstatic. The smile on her pretty and innocent face couldn't stop flowing out. Her bright eyes were also filled with joy. "Thank you, Xiao Bing. Thank you for your magnanimity," she thanked from the bottom of her heart. Xiao Yi curled the corners of his mouth, and the corners of his mouth were almost split to his ears, which showed how happy he was inside. Yun Bing waved her hand. "No need to thank me. Rather than letting someone else get away with it, it's better to let Xiao Yi get away with it. I don't want to see you being hugged by another man." Ziran laughed and ran happily to Xiao Yi's side. She opened her arms and hugged him tightly, saying happily, "Xiao Yi, did you hear that?" She agreed. Xiao Yi nodded, feeling the softness in his arms, and could hardly hold back the smile on his face. He said, "Congratulations, Sister Ziran, you got what you wanted." Ziran nodded rapidly, "Yeah, I finally got you." Yun Bing's face darkened and he shouted, "Hey, I'm still here. You guys are hugging each other right in front of me. Don't you consider my feelings?" Ziran rolled her eyes and said nonchalantly, "Xiao Bing, we are family from now on. And we are all Xiao Yi's beast mothers. Why are you being so formal?" Yun Bing's mouth twitched, and he said, "Speechless lie. We haven't signed the contract yet. We will become family members only after the contract is signed." Ziran cried out, "I don't care. I get greedy when I see you guys biting each other's lips. Xiao Yi, you have to satisfy me now." Xiao Yi looked at Yun Bing, feeling a little upset, and said, "Sister Ziran, how about we bite each other later? It's not appropriate to do it in front of Sister Yun Bing." Ziran rolled her eyes, pouted her pretty innocent face, and kissed him. Xiao Yi wanted to hide, but there was no way he could hide from Bobo, who was a powerful saint. No matter which direction his head tilted, Ziran, a great saint, could accurately predict the movement of his head and kiss him in a flash. Xiao Yi's mouth was blocked and he couldn't speak. Ziran's kiss was soft, cool and moist. This is different from the feeling of kissing Yunbing. One is a charming and beautiful queen, and the other is a pure and beautiful queen. When they bite each other's lips, the taste is very wonderful. But there is some difference between the wonderful feelings. One is passionate as fire, the other is pure as water. One is passionate, the other is pure desire. The beauty of it cannot be described in words. Ziran, really? I just agreed to you to being together and you couldn't wait to kiss each other. How hungry are you? Yunbing was speechless and complained. As a woman, you don't know how to be reserved. Xiao Yi is also a good choice for you. She is also the most beautiful woman in the capital and one of the top 3 in the whole country. Ziran hugged Xiao Yi tightly, and only let him go with satisfaction after 10 minutes. She stretched out her little mouth and licked her lips, with a satisfied look on her face. I have been single for more than 500 years. I was aroused by you just now when I eavesdropped on you. What's wrong with me biting off my lips now? If I sign a contract, I will not let Xiao Yi out of the bedroom for 3 days and 3 nights. Xiao Yi's eyes widened after hearing these vicious words. Unexpectedly, the Supreme Alliance leader who looked pure on the outside was actually so hungry on the inside, but fortunately, this hunger was only for him. Yunbing pulled Xiao Yi over and sat next to him on the sofa. Ziran looked at him and refused to admit defeat, so he sat down on the sofa next to Xiao Yi on the other side. At this point, Xiao Yi was surrounded by women on his left and right, both of whom were stunningly beautiful ladies. Yunbing rolled her eyes, but did not stop Ziran, nor did she say anything to Ziran. She said, Ziran, do you want to sign a contract with Xiao Yi as soon as possible? Speaking of this, Ziran became worried and said with a wry smile, I wish I could sign a contract with Xiao Yi right now, but she seemed to be hiding something. Yunbing said, since you want to, then I suggest you make some delicious food and hold a beast girl party at the party. Confess your relationship with Xiao Yi and let Xiao Yi's beast girls recognize you and agree to you and Xiao Yi to sign a contract. There was deep worry in Ziran's eyes, but she hid it well and smiled, okay. But will those beast girls recognize me? Yunbing smiled, yes, as long as you ask your subordinate. That's squinty-eyed fat guy Jin Peng, to cook a delicious meal. Xiao Yi's beast girls are all foodies. As long as Xiao Yi says in person that he wants to sign a contract with you, they will be happy and will not stop you from going further. Xiao Yi named 66 dishes and said, these 60 plus dishes, some greasy, some light, and some desserts, are all what they like to eat. Ziran understood and said impatiently, okay, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I will arrange a dinner with those beast girls right away. At the same time, she took out the communicator and sent a message to her apprentice Wangfu Xiangling. Xiangling, get ready, let us have dinner together today. I will propose to Xiao Yi, you must not embarrass me. After sending the message, Ziran disappeared impatiently. Yunbing glared at him and said, Xiao Yi, why are you still standing there? Go talk to the sisters. Let them rest, have a big dinner tonight, and continue practicing tomorrow. Xiao Yi shrugged and said with a smile, let's go together. The two of them stood up and left Villa No. 2. On the other side. In the living room on the first floor of Villa No. 10 in the No. 3 Lakeview Villa area. Wangfu Xiangling, a white-haired girl who was playing and chatting with Ezr, took out the communicator and took a look. Her beautiful eyes suddenly widened and she was ecstatic. Her pretty face, which was still a little childish, was full of joy. Content of the message, Xiangling, get ready, let us have a dinner together today. I will propose to Xiao Yi, you must not embarrass me. Master is so good to me, knowing that I have feelings for Xiao Yi. He took the initiative to consider it for me and proposed to Xiao Yi. While saying this, she felt a little conflicted. But Xiao Yi and I haven't even started dating yet, and I haven't confessed my feelings to Xiao Yi yet. Wouldn't it be too abrupt to propose marriage directly? I'm not ready to sign a contract with Xiao Yi yet. Wangfu Xiangling was both excited and conflicted. The disciple has fallen in love. So it must be the master who comes to help propose marriage. The white-haired girl thinks that Ziran proposed marriage to Xiao Yi because of her. Wangfu Xiangling. In her opinion, the super-powerful person like Oran, who has reached the state of quasi-saint great perfection and is the leader of the Supreme Alliance, would definitely look down on Xiao Yi, a young man of only 18 years old. And it is impossible for him to develop feelings for Xiao Yi. Ziran's proposal must be for Wangfu Xiangling. Wangfu Xiangling thought of Xiao Yi's 8-pack abs and grinned, saliva almost flowing out from the corners of her mouth. With a slurping sound, the white-haired girl licked her lips, her pretty face showing both nervousness and excitement. Her delicate body with pointed teeth showing, trembling slightly. Chapter 391 Ezr, I also want to propose marriage. Next to her, Ezr was stunned as she watched the white-haired girl getting excited and nervous at turns, muttering words like proposing marriage. What marriage proposal? Easier asked. Huang Fu Xiangling grinned and said, my master came here to propose marriage to Xiaoyi. Ezier's pretty face froze. And she pointed at her with a white finger and said incredulously, is your master going to marry Xiaoyi? Of course not. Huang Fu Xiangling rolled her eyes and pointed at herself and said, my master is a quasi-saint, how could she possibly be interested in Xiaoyi? She will come tonight and propose marriage for me. Ezier's pupils shrank. And her face was filled with shock. Tonight? So soon? Huang Fu Xiangling nodded. Yeah. Ezier's beautiful eyes darkened and jealousy arose in her heart. It was obviously she who came into contact with Xiaoyi first, and Huang Fu Xiangling appeared later. But now, Huang Fu Xiangling had expressed her intention to Xiaoyi very formally before her and came to propose marriage. The white-haired girl raised her paw, added Ezier's shoulders, and said with a smile, you like delicious food, don't you? I will definitely satisfy you at the wedding banquet. Ezier had a blank expression on her face. She took out the communicator and wondered whether she should ask her dad to propose marriage. Let me make a call. She jumped off the sofa, ran into the bathroom quickly, and closed the doors and windows tightly. Huang Fu Xiangling ignored him, immersed in her own excitement, still grinning foolishly. From now on, I can touch Xiaoyi's 8-pack ABS whenever I want. And I can kiss his face whenever I want. I, Huang Fu Xiangling, will also be married in the future. But the quasi-saint realm master coming forward, and she was also very outstanding, the #1 female prodigy among the younger generation of women in the imperial capital, with a curvy figure, a slim waist and long legs. She could not find any reason for Xiaoyi to refuse. This time, the marriage proposal will surely be successful immediately and there is no way it will fail. In the bathroom, Ezier had already dialed her father's number after the call was connected. She couldn't hold back her anger. Her pretty face was very anxious, and she said, Daddy, there is something that concerns your daughter's lifelong happiness. You must help me. Over there, he seemed to be handling some kind of meeting. Half a minute later, he spoke. ZR, what did you say? What did I help you with? Ezier was a little impatient, regardless of her shyness, and said bluntly, Daddy, I like Xiaoyi, I want you to help me propose marriage. Itai was confused. Even though Xiaoyi is very outstanding, you have only known each other for less than a month. You have already decided on him so quickly? Do you want to spend your whole life with him? Ezier cut to the chase and said simply, yes, I've decided on him, and I won't marry anyone else but him. Itai took a deep breath, and after a while, he accepted it. Well, since my daughter is so determined, what else can I say? Xiaoyi is a good man worthy of trust. 3 days later is a good day. I will come to the Magic City in 3 days to propose to Xiaoyi. How do you think? Ezier stamped her feet and said anxiously, no. 3 days is too long, come and propose marriage tonight. Itai was stunned and said in shock, no way, CR, are you so anxious to get married? Proposing marriage also has to have a high success rate. If you to come here so hastily without informing each other beforehand, Xiaoyi will most likely not agree. Let me ask you, Xiaoyi, do you understand your feelings, or have you ever revealed your feelings to Xiaoyi? Ezier raised her beautiful eyes and recalled. The seconds later, she said with certainty, I have revealed it. I have clearly expressed my feelings to him. Before Xiaoyi went to the imperial capital to participate in the expansion of the Supreme Alliance, she, Ezier, expressed her feelings to Xiaoyi and said that she would wait for him to pounce on her in her purple pajamas. Itai snapped his fingers and laughed heartily. It turns out that CR has long wanted to give herself away and find a man to marry. Ezier's pretty face flushed, and she stamped her feet and said, hey, Daddy, please stop teasing me. Will you come tonight? Itai thought for a moment and nodded, come? Ezier's pretty face immediately became smiling. Thank you, Daddy. Itai hung up the phone and rubbed his brows. It was still 4 hours before evening, and he had to prepare the betrothal gifts and go to propose marriage in a hurry. In his opinion, it was impossible for Xiaoyi to become a son-in-law, so he was going there to send his daughter off. Oh, forget it. As a father, I must satisfy Xier's wishes. She has suffered a lot over the years. I will not allow her to continue to suffer in the future. He is a man who dotes on his daughter and will not allow her to suffer any harm. He is a man with a strong sense of responsibility and full of fatherly love. On the other side, Ezier hung up the phone. The corners of her mouth couldn't stop rising in excitement. Her heart was pounding. She was very excited. Yeah, she made a happy fist gesture. After walking out of the bathroom, Ezier held her head high and sat next to the white-haired girl. At this time, the white-haired girl was still very excited and said, ZR, you have to say a few nice words to me at night. When we eat, I promise to let you sit at the table with the children, so no one will snatch the food from you. By the way, I need to carefully choose an outfit for tonight's dinner. See you tonight. She skipped away, unable to wait any longer. Ezier raised her lips and said in yielding lie, I want to pick out a nice dress. You are not the only one who can propose marriage. She swayed her graceful body and went upstairs on a pair of white and tender feet. At this time, Xiao Yi and Yun Bing opened the door of the villa and walked in. Xiao Yi looked puzzled. Why did Wang Fu Xiangling walk so fast? Was she going to see her lover? Yun Bing shook his head. I don't know. The two walked into the basement. In the spacious underground training room, in the upper left corner is the five-clawed supreme golden wagon, in the lower left corner is the spiritual ancestor cat, in the lower right corner is the nine-tailed fox who dominates life and death, and in the upper right corner is the time emperor Xu Long. Their bodies shrank to 1 meter in size, and a mysterious and supreme aura was released from all directions. Supreme type, illusion type, life destruction type, time type. A realm of the golden dragon is the first level of the great venerable. The realm of the spiritual ancestor cat is also the first level of the great venerable, and the realm of the nine-tailed heavenly fox is also the first level of the great venerable. The three are at the same level. The same as Xiao Yi. What surprised Xiao Yi was that Mu Qingzu's Tandle dragon summoned beast had actually reached the perfection of the 10th level of the venerable realm, and was only one step away from entering the great venerable realm. Qingzu has been practicing very hard. In just 3 or 4 days, she has cultivated from the first level of the venerable realm to the 10th level of the venerable realm, Yun Bing said in surprise. Xiao Yi pondered and said, I guess she used time acceleration. 3 times the speed it takes her 3 days to practice while others practice for 1 day. Yun Bing took a deep breath. Time is really abnormal. It's like cheating. Xiao Yi nodded. Even though Mu Qingzu's current realm is the lowest among the girls, it won't take a few days for her realm to catch up with the other beast girls and then far surpass them. Sensing the arrival of Xiao Yi and Yun Bing, the 4 summoned beasts stopped practicing and returned to human form. Cheng Bingshi with super white and long legs. Nangong Saya with great achievements but big minds. Liu Ya, the assistant teacher with devilish figure, and Mu Qingzu with long straight black hair and a growing figure. In a flash, 4 stunning beast girls gathered beside Xiao Yi, surrounding him in a charming manner. Chapter 390. To both of them proposed marriage. Leaving everyone stunned and shocked, Nangong Saya pounced on him directly, hanging her whole body on Xiao Yi, her slender white legs clamped around his waist, her hands wrapped around his neck, and the big landmine was squeezed and deformed. Xiao Yi played with her wind ponytails, held her hips with one hand, and said with a smile, You don't have to practice so hard all the time, you should take a break and relax occasionally. Nangong Saya. Yeah. Cheng Bingshi snorted, You are so busy and don't have time to accompany us. How come you finally remembered us today? The other beast girls also looked at him with resentment. Yun Bing chuckled, feeling somewhat gloating. Xiao Yi laughed awkwardly. I'm here just to keep you company. I'll treat you to a big dinner tonight. When they heard the word feast, except for Mu Qingzu, the other 3 beast girls' eyes lit up. Nangong Saya chuckled and said, After having the state banquet at the Qingzu city lord's mansion, we are no longer used to eating ordinary delicacies. Xiao Yi smiled and said, This feast is guaranteed to be even better than a state banquet. It will satisfy you all. Yun Bing said, The one who made the move this time is a supreme-level national chef who is ranked in the top 10 in the country. The supreme national chef? Hearing this, even Mu Qingzu's beautiful eyes lit up. Nangong Saya couldn't wait any longer. She swallowed her saliva and said, What are we waiting for? Let's go to where the dinner is now. Xiao Yi said, No hurry, we can eat in the evening. Where is EZR? Call her. I'm passed slowly, and it was 6 o'clock in the evening. In Villa No. 2 of the No. To Lakeview Villa area. The round table was replaced with a 10-meter long, 2-meter wide, self-revolving table with tracks Cheng Bingshi, Nangong Saya, Liu Yanyu, Qingzu, Yun Bing, Yunshi, Wang Fu Xiangling, and Yizir sat on stools, waiting with tableware in their hands. Xiao Yi led Ziran and Jin Peng in from outside the door and introduced them. This is the leader of the Supreme Alliance. Ziran. This is the Supreme State Banquet Chef, ranked 3rd in the country in the culinary world, Jin Peng. Cheng Bingshi and the other girls have never met Ziran. The last time Ziran came to the Magic City, they were all practicing. Ziran twisted her slender waist and walked slowly in front of everyone, with a smile on her pure and beautiful face. Cheng Bingshi, Nangong Saya, Liu Ya, and Mu Qingzu all felt their eyes brighten up and were extremely amazed. All their attention was drawn to her. Oh my god, the leader of the Supreme Alliance. He's such a big shot, and I can actually see him here. So beautiful. This is the face of first love. White moonlight. Xiaoya, you are so proud that you even know such a beautiful woman. Several beast girls exclaimed. Ziran smiled and said, Thank you for the compliment. Jin Peng, serve the food. Jin Peng looked at the large circle of stunning beauties, his eyes widened, and he said in shock, Oh shit. Have I entered the country of women? Every one of them is absolutely beautiful, and their looks are no less than the leader, just their temperaments are different. But the leader is the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. After taking a few glances, he looked away. He had already been warned by the leader that these beast girls were all the women of the leader's husband. Jinpeng took out pots of exquisite dishes from his storage ring and placed them on the rotating tracks. Braised lion's head, goblin kidneys, steamed mermaid dessert, cake, hand-pulled chicken, etc. There are 66 dishes in total. Each one is delicious and not only looks good, but the unique aroma of various foods overflows from the dishes, filling everyone's nose. Many beast girls were excited. Except Ziran, Huangfu Xiangling, Yi Zi'er, and Yun Shi. Under the leadership of Xiao Yi, everyone started to eat. Cheng Bingxi, Nangong Xiao and Liu Ya directly pulled over a dessert, opened their mouths and buried their faces in it with shining eyes. Huangfu Xiangling pulled Zi'er on to sit next to her face full of excitement as she whispered, "Master. Thank you, Master, for thinking so carefully about your disciple and even preparing delicious food as an assist." Zi'eran didn't understand what she meant. What did she mean by for a disciple? The situation was not right, so she didn't ask any more questions. She just sent a voice message to remind him. "Wait a minute, don't talk nonsense. I can do it myself." Huangfu Xiangling grinned. Yeah. The master actually took care of the whole process and she didn't have to do anything on her own. He was really so good to her. Izier's face looked a little anxious. Why hasn't Daddy come yet? It's already 6 o'clock. Yunshi looked at Zi'eran with a complicated expression when she found out that Zi'eran liked Xiao Yi. She didn't believe it in her heart, but when she knew that Zi'eran would propose to her tonight, she was shocked. Yun Bing smiled and said, "Bingxi Sayo, Zi'eran is a good friend of Yunshi and met on T. Look at her as the leader of the Supreme Alliance. In fact, she is just a fool. She is easy to get along with, kind, honest, helpful, and a caring and thoughtful big sister." Zi'eran covered her mouth and smiled. This was the first time she heard such words of praise from Yun Bing. This good girlfriend is really serious when something happens. Cheng Bing, she raised her dessert-stained face and said with a smile, "Since you are Sister Yun Bing's good sister, you will be our sister Zi'eran from now on." Nangong Xiao agreed. "Yes, Sister Zi'eran." Xiao Yi interrupted and said, "Actually, Zi'eran invited everyone to a big dinner today, because she has something very important to tell everyone." Huangfu Xiangling was extremely excited and muttered, "It's finally here, it's finally here, it's finally here." Yunshi's pretty face looked a little depressed. Izir kept staring at the door, holding the cutlery tightly in her little hands, and didn't eat much of the food. The four beast girls slowed down their eating speed a little and paid some attention. Zi'eran stood up, walked to Xiao Yi, put her arm around his shoulders intimately, and said with a smile, "Sisters, Zi'eran came here today to propose marriage to Xiao Yi. After going through a series of things with Xiao Yi, Zi'eran has been unable to extricate herself from being attracted to him and has fallen in love with this older brother. I, Zi'eran, want to marry Xiao Yi, sign a contract with him, and become his beast mother. Here, I hope to seek everyone's consent to let me join Xiao Yi's beast girl family." Cheng Bingxi, Nangong Xiao, Liu Ya, Mo Qingzu, Huangfu Xiangling. Izr, huh? Cheng Bingxi and the other three girls' pretty faces froze. What was going on? What big dinner? This must be the Hongmen banquet. Huangfu Xiangling and Izr were stunned on the spot. "No, Master, did you say something wrong? Isn't it me who is going to marry Xiao Yi? Why is it, Master? Oh my God, it turns out that it's not Bima who is going to marry Xiao Yi, but Bima's master. This news is too explosive." Yun Bing gave Xiao Yi a look that seemed to be saying, "Take charge of the situation and speak." A confident smile appeared on Xiao Yi's face. He stood up and was about to speak when he heard a knock on the door, accompanied by a hearty laugh. "Brother Xiao, long time no see, I hope you are well." As the door of the villa was always open, everyone saw piles of exquisite gift boxes floating behind Yi Tai, following him in. Izir's face lit up. She was so happy, Daddy was finally here. Yi Tai clasped his fists and said, "Brother Xiao, I came here this time to propose to you on behalf of my daughter Zr." This, Xiao Yi was stunned. Chapter 393. White-haired girl. I became a clown. How come a Cheng Yaojin suddenly appears and proposes marriage? Xiao Yi opened his mouth with a dazed look on his face. Cheng Bingxi and the other three girls were also very shocked. No way, this dinner was really the Red Alliance banquet. Eldest sister Zi'eran had just proposed marriage, and now Yizir's father came to propose marriage again. The most confused one was Huangfu Xiangling. In the afternoon, she boasted to Yizir that she was going to get married. It turned out that her master was not proposing marriage for her, but Yizir's father was proposing marriage again. She has white hair and has become a clown. Yi Tai sat down next to Yizir. Yunbing took out a set of tableware for him, and stared at him with a complicated expression, and said helplessly, "City Lord Yi, do you really want to propose marriage for your daughter?" Yizir's face was filled with joy. In her opinion, no matter what she needed, her dad would do his best to get it for her. The same was true for this marriage proposal. With Daddy here, this marriage proposal has a 100 chance of success. Yitai replied. Yes, ZR has admired Xiao Yi for a long time and wants to be his beast mother and sign a contract with him. I trust Brother Xiao and he is a good man worthy of trust, so I came to propose marriage. Brother Xiao, I hope you can consider your marriage with ZR. Xiao Yi said inwardly, thank you for the compliment. I didn't know I was so good. ZR lowered her head, her face flushed with shame, and her beautiful eyes kept looking at Xiao Yi to see how he would react. But she was disappointed. There was no other expression on Xiao Yi's face except surprise. Xiao Yi was helpless. Being with ZR was not something he could do just because he wanted to. To add a new beast girl to the family of beast girls, he needed the consent of Cheng Bingxi and other beast girls. Let's eat first, and we'll talk after dinner. Yun Bing saw Xiao Yi's helplessness and did not refuse immediately, but said with a smile. Yitai nodded, and looked around. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he asked in surprise, this purple-dressed girl looks familiar. Have we seen her somewhere before? Ziran's pretty and innocent face was expressionless, but there was a hint of anger in the depths of her beautiful eyes. If this guy hadn't come to visit suddenly, these beast girls of Xiao Yi might have agreed to her marriage with Xiao Yi long ago. A leader of the Supreme Alliance, Ziran. A smile appeared on Yitai's face. So you are the leader. I am honored to see you here. It's nice to meet you. After he finished speaking, the scene fell into silence and the atmosphere was very awkward. Yitai scratched his head in confusion. Izir leaned over and whispered. Before you came, Sister Ziran had just proposed marriage to Xiao Yi. He also wanted to marry Xiao Yi, sign a contract with him, and become his beast mother. Your sudden arrival disrupted her marriage proposal. Yitai's eyes widened in shock. Oh my god, the leader of the Supreme Alliance, Ziran, a super powerful being who is rumored to be a quasi-saint, also wants to marry Xiao Yi? This news was like an 18-magnitude earthquake, shaking Yitai's three views in cognition. Xiao Yi is only 18 years old. And a person like Ziran actually likes Xiao Yi. The atmosphere at the scene was a little frozen. The four beast girls, Cheng Bingxi, Nan Gong Xiao, Liu Yanyu and Qingzu, didn't even have the desire to eat. Their beautiful eyes couldn't stop drifting towards Xiao Yi, filled with deep resentment and resentment. Xiao Yi felt a little uneasy. He avoided their gazes and didn't dare to look at them. The white-haired girl Huang Fu Xiangling suddenly giggled. Her master's marriage proposal was ruined by City Lord, yet the atmosphere on the scene became so stiff. So these two marriage proposals might not be successful. That really is. That's great. A white-haired girl was gloating in her heart. It was obviously me who liked Xiao Yi first, and the master actually snatched a man from his disciple. How outrageous. Master, you should act like a master. Be more magnanimous and give Xiao Yi to your disciple. If Ziran knew what she was thinking, he would probably give her a brain-destroying slap. After being single for 1500 years, she finally met a man she liked. But she wanted to give him up to someone else. It was just daydreaming. Jin Peng, who was standing in the corner, had a look of admiration on his fertile face. He was full of admiration for Xiao Yi in his heart. At this moment, Xiao Yi had become a figure of the affectionate ancestor level in his heart. The stunning beast girls that others dream of having are gathered in groups of 3 or 4 here, actively proposing to him. As Xiao Yi's eldest wife, Cheng Bingxi saw that the situation was a bit stalemate. She wiped the dessert on her face with her hand. After wiping off the dessert cream, a smile appeared on her not very mature face, and said, everyone, please be patient. Xiao Yi is a little overwhelmed by 2 marriage proposals coming at the same time. He will give you a reply after he has thought it over. Is that so, Xiao Yi? She glared at Xiao Yi fiercely with her beautiful eyes. Nan Gong Xiao said dimly. Yes, Xiao Yi is good at everything. His only shortcoming is that he likes to hook up with beast girls. It hasn't even been a week yet, and he has hooked up with another gorgeous beast girl. Liu Yo and Mu Qingzu didn't say anything, but when they looked at Xiao Yi, the resentment in their beautiful eyes told it all. Yun Bing looked at this scene, and her heart skipped a beat. She thought to herself, oh no, I'm afraid this dinner was held in vain. Xiao Yi cares most about these beast girls, especially Cheng Bingxi's feelings. Yun Shi suddenly felt secretly delighted. Seeing Xiao Yi being proposed to one after another, she actually felt a little unwilling and jealous. Ziran and Yitai also looked at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi laughed awkwardly. Bing Shi, this kind of thing is beyond my control. Sister Ziran, Brother Yi. Let's talk about the marriage later. Forget about it today. He was very helpless if Ziran was the only one proposing marriage today. He would be confident that he could control the situation and get Cheng Bingxi and the other girls to agree. However, Yitai intervened and disrupted the purpose of the banquet, causing Cheng Bingxi and the other girls to feel more resentful. If they all agreed, he was afraid that it would hurt their hearts. Yitai was also a person who could read people's expressions, so he sighed. I'm afraid today's marriage proposal has fallen through, and all the gifts prepared have been in vain. Ziran and Yizir's beautiful eyes dimmed, and they felt very lost. Xiao Yi said angrily, everyone continue eating. You haven't even taken a few bites of the dishes. Cheng Bingxi, Nan Gong Xiao and Liu were indeed foodies. They buried their faces in the food again and started to eat happily. Everyone had their own thoughts during this meal, so it took quite a while. About half an hour. This dinner finally ended. Everyone sat in their original seats and drank their after-meal tea. Jin Peng, who was standing in the corner, came over to clean up the dishes, then ran away happily, not wanting to get involved in such a sure scene. Yun Bing suddenly said, Bingshi, Xiao, the reason why we proposed marriage so suddenly this time is because Yiran's innocence was taken away by Xiaoyi. She only recognized one person in her life, and her innocence was taken away, so she had to marry Xiaoyi. Everyone present was shocked, including Xiaoyi. The corner of his mouth twitched. Is this true? Ziran was a little stunned. My innocence was taken away. How come I didn't know it? As the city lord, Yitai knew the truth. After seeing everyone's reactions, he secretly gave Ziran a thumbs up and said, this is a great trick. As expected. Cheng Bingshi looked at Xiaoyi with a look of regret and asked, Xiaoyi, is what Sister Yun Bing said true? Xiaoyi nodded somewhat guiltily. His old face flushed, and said, yes. Chapter 394. Yitai. Let's marry her together. He felt very guilty and full of remorse at this moment. He didn't even dare to look directly at Cheng Bingshi. However, based on his understanding of Cheng Bingshi is not the kind of person who is stubborn. After getting the response, Cheng Bingshi's beautiful eyes showed deep disappointment. Her pretty face turned pale with anger. She raised her finger and pointed at him, angrily. You are such a careless person. I really misjudged you. You have so many beast girls at home. Why do you have to run to the imperial capital and bully others? We are not ugly. If you need anything, just tell us and we will give it to you. But now, you have taken away the innocence of a beast girl who has not even signed a contract. You are really going too far. Nan Gong Xiao was also gasping for breath. Her towering breasts rose and fell with her shaking, and it was obvious that she was very angry. She slammed her fist on the table, and with a bang, she made a small hole and cursed. Xiaoyi, you are such a scumbag. You forgot about your old love. When you found a new one, we couldn't even see you when we wanted to. But you went to the capital to pick up a new beast girl. I'm so pissed off. We can't bear to beat you. I'm going to tell the old dean to beat you. I'll whip you hard with the whip to teach you a lesson. The old director that Nan Gong Xiao was referring to was the old man from the Sunshine Welfare Home in Mangyuan Base City, who had taken in an orphan named Xiaoyi and raised him until he was 18 years old. Cheng Bingshi nodded. Yes, Xiaoyi deserves to be punished. It's time for the elders to whip him a few times and teach him a lesson. Xiaoyi's face turned dark and he glared at Yun Bing. Look at the good idea you came up with. You, Ray, just sending me to the fire. After Cheng Bingshi and Nan Gong Xiao had cursed at each other, they just kept silent, sipping their tea with sullen faces. Liu Yunmu Kingzu moved their lips a few times without saying a word to blame Xiaoyi, but their resentful eyes showed their inner ways. Xiaoyi was also very depressed under the current circumstances. It seemed that he would not be able to convince these beast girls to agree to the relationship between Ziran and him. After thinking about it, he took out the satellite communicator from under the table, edited a few messages, and sent them to his two fathers-in-law who were far away in Mangyuan Base City, namely the fathers of Cheng Bingshi and Nan Gong Xiao, the former director of the second high dog in Mangyuan Base City, and the mayor of Mangyuan Base City. Father-in-law, this is extremely urgent. Bingshi Xiao is angry because of something. Please call immediately and say a few good words for me. Thank you very much. After sending the text message, he put away the satellite communicator, and in a hurry his hand touched the long legs of Ziran, who was sitting next to him. Ziran rolled her eyes at him and whispered in private, It's all ready this time. And you still have the mood to take advantage of me. You are really a big-hearted person, huh? This marriage proposal is likely to fail. It will be even more difficult to succeed in future marriage proposals. Xiaoyi's mouth twitched and he was speechless. When did I take advantage of you? Well, this tea may not taste good. Drink this. He took out the supreme level enlightenment tea can, put in 3 pieces of enlightenment tea leaves, and brewed a pot of enlightenment tea. And he brought the full bottle of Wu Dao Yi to Cheng Bingshi and said with a smile, Bingshi, keep it tastes good. Cheng Bingshi pushed the tea can towards Nan Gong Xiao and snorted, I don't want it. Give it to your new beast mother. Xiaoyi returned to his seat somewhat awkwardly, thinking, oops, this time it's really bad. This was the first time he saw Cheng Bingshi so angry that she didn't want to pay attention to him. Yun Bing was also a little embarrassed. She thought that after she told Cheng Bingshi that Ziran's innocence was taken away, Cheng Bingshi would be understanding and agree to Ziran's proposal, but now she was overthinking. Cheng Bingshi is not a robot. He also has emotions. She gets jealous, envious, and angry. She is not the kind of person who will unconditionally and without emotion support Xiaoyi. Ding ling ling, ding ling ling. At this moment, 2 rings rang at the same time. Cheng Bingshi and Nan Gong Xiao took out their communicators and took a look at them. Both of them were startled. It's Dad, it's Dad. Smiles reappeared on their pretty faces and they answered the call without any hesitation, but the sound was not played out loud. Bing Shi, how have you been recently? As for me, I'm doing very well thanks to Xiao Yi. Your father is no longer the director of the third high school. He became the deputy city lord of Mangyuan Base City a few days ago. He is in charge of the authority of the secret realm and the economy of the base city. As for your mother, thanks to Xiao Yi, since the support from the Magic City Base City, our realm has been raised to the Grandmaster realm. Your mother has become younger, and the wrinkles on her face have completely disappeared. She has become prettier and smiles all day long. Don T mentioned how happy she is. By the way, did you have a little conflict with Xiao Yi? Bing Shi, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but you should be more considerate of Xiao Yi as a man. Xiao Yi has to do some things out of necessity, and cannot consider the overall situation. He can be forgiven for ignoring your feelings. In short, listen to your father. Apologize to him, be more considerate and understanding to him, and go along with him. Xiao Yi will not let you down. Cheng Bingshi listened in a daze, her pretty face showing a smile and then a frown, her expression changing back and forth, her beautiful eyes filled with complex expressions. And finally she sighed, yeah, Dad, I get it. Next to her, Nangong Saya was also talking to her father. Dad, why did you call me suddenly? I miss you. Saya yo can even call my daughter? Sure. Dad can call me anytime if he wants. Nangong Saya. Saya, oh, I'm talking to you because I want to share the good news at home. I've been promoted. Mangyuan Base City has jumped 2 levels from a level base city to a high-level base city to a high-level base city. Your mother and I have reached the realm of the venerable. We have to thank Xiao Yi for this. Without him, I estimate that I would have died in another 100 years. Now that my realm has been upgraded, I can live another 400 years. Now your mother and I are very proud of ourselves. We can be said to have brought honor to our family. We live a very happy life every day. This is all thanks to Xiao Yi. I heard that there was a little incident between you and Xiao Yi. My daughter, as a woman, you should be more generous. Consider Xiao Yi in everything. Think from his perspective and treat him better. Be like your mother, and be the considerate and gentle woman behind the man. By doing this, Xiao Yi will love you even more. Nan Gong Saya opened her mouth, her face a little dazed. Hey, Saya, are you listening? Nan Gong Saya nodded quickly. Yes, I'm listening. Thus listening. Dad hopes you can become like your mom, a gentle and considerate woman. Okay. Dad has something else to do. Let's talk next time. After saying that, the other end hung up the phone. Nan Gong Saya looked at the communicator in her hand with a dazed look. When Xiao Yi saw the 2 people answering the phone, he was happy, but he was also very nervous. A little nervous and uneasy. After 2 minutes of silence, Cheng Bingshi raised her head, looked at Xiao Yi, and said with a smile, Xiao Yi, since you like Sisters Iran, just agree to her proposal. Nan Gong Saya nodded and agreed. Yes, if you think one beast girl is not enough, Uncle Yi's proposal of marriage will also be accepted. Yi Tai was overjoyed and hurriedly said, yes, marry both of them together. Xiao Yi. Marry both beast girls together. This, Xiao Yi was stunned. Marry them together. Chapter 395, Weddings held at the same time. Cheng Bingshi also looked at Nan Gong Saya in surprise. No, sister, it was generous and reasonable of you to let him marry just one. How could you ask him to take them all? Nan Gong Saya stuck out her tongue, blinked her eyes and said playfully, Sister Bingshi, you know what Yizier feels for Xiao Yi. It's fun to marry such a simple girl home. So why not just let Xiao Yi marry both at the same time? Cheng Bingshi was stunned. Are you the one who is fun? Or is Xiao Yi the one who is fun? Yi Tai spoke up in time. Zier is a good girl, kind by nature, gentle and virtuous. She is definitely a good beast girl. Marrying her home will bring good fortune. Zier raised her hand and said softly, my attributes are blessing and cursing. I can actively bless and curse after joining the beast girl family. I will give everyone additional blessings every day. And she glanced at Xiao Yi with her beautiful eyes, her face flushed with shame, and said, Xiao Yi, I like you, I want to marry you. After saying that, Yizier lowered her head, her ears red with shame. Cheng Bingshi and Nan Gong Saya were both stunned. Confess on the spot. Yizier has such a weak character. But for the sake of love, she can overcome her inner timidity and confess bravely in public. Xiao Yi swallowed his tea. This girl is so cute. It would be fun to marry her. Ziran glared at Xiao Yi fiercely and felt jealous. This guy is indeed a scumbag who randomly hooks up with beast girls. I haven't even gotten married yet, and another beast girl has come in. Diran also deeply felt Cheng Bingshi's helplessness and anger, and empathites with her. Cheng Bingshi snorted coldly and said softly, Xiao Yi, you decide for yourself who you want to marry, or even both of them. As long as you marry her, we will treat her like a sister. Don't put too much thought into the outside world, spend more time with us. Nan Gong Saya echoed, Xiao Yi, I want to be a considerate and kind woman like my mother. If you want to marry me, Just marry me, there are so many beast girls anyway, 2 more won't be too many. Seeing that Qing Bingshi and Nan Gong Xiao's mouths had loosened, Yitai and Ziran both looked at Xiao Yi. Yitai's eyes were filled with anticipation. Yiran's eyes were extremely sharp, like a knife. And her words seemed to be saying, think carefully before you speak. She was the leader of the Supreme Alliance, but when she got married, she and another beast girl married the same man at the same time. If this were to be made public, she would be so embarrassed. Xiao Yi's old face flushed. And he coughed and said, I have known Xier's feelings for a long time, but I didn't respond formally due to some things. Since Uncle Yi is so enthusiastic and Ziar is so infatuated with me, I can't reject your kindness. Sisters Iran, Ziar, I agree to both of your proposals. Yitai laughed heartily. Well, Xiao Yi, you are really a real man. Ziran looked at Yitai speechlessly. You let your daughter be a mistress and serve the same man at the same time as other beast girls, and you can still laugh out loud and laugh so happily. Ziran glared at Xiao Yi and snorted, I can't be with another woman when I enter the bridal chamber. This is the biggest concession I've ever made. Xiao Yi didn't think too much about it. He was very innocent. He nodded and smiled. Well, whatever you want, I'm fine with it. If you don't agree now, you will agree later, he added in his heart. Ziar couldn't stop smiling and was extremely happy inside. Yitai looked at his daughter's happy face and sighed helplessly. He was helpless about letting his daughter marry Xiao Yi with other beast girls, as he could not give his daughter the best and most perfect thing. But Xiao Yi already had for beast mothers. After thinking about it, he felt that as long as his daughter was happy, it didn't matter whether she married with other beast mothers. In short, his daughter could not be Xiao Yi's only one, and could not have Xiao Yi all to herself. Yitai had already deeply realized this and chose to accept it. Xiao Yi discussed, since that's the case, Sister Ziran, Zr, let's set a good date. I'll marry you both on that day. How about that? Ziran snorted, as long as you like it. Zr looked at Xiao Yi with joy and agreed. Sure. Xiao Yi smiled and made the final decision. Then let's put it this way, tomorrow a wedding will be held at the Magic City Wedding Hotel. Sister Ziran, Zr, you should prepare yourself mentally for getting married today. Xiangling, Uncle Yi, Bing Shi, Sister Yun Bing. Sending out invitations and other matters will be left to you. Yitai, Yun Bing, and Xing Bing Shi all nodded to indicate that it was no problem. Wangfu Xiangling. It was agreed that both of you failed in your proposals, but in the end you both succeeded. And you want to hold the wedding at the same time and marry Xiao Yi together. At this moment, the white-haired girl felt very depressed and worried it was all over. Her master already had Xiao Yi, and as his disciple, there was no way she could marry Xiao Yi. At least she had never heard of a disciple and a master marrying the same person at the same time. Oh, I've become a clown. Huangfu Xiangling sighed deeply, feeling very depressed. Zr nudged the white-haired girl with her white elbow and said with a giggle, White-haired, you must come to my wedding banquet. I'll let you sit at the children's table so no one will snatch the food from you. Huangfu Xiangling gritted her teeth. Was this what she said to Zr in the afternoon? I want to eat at my master's table, she said angrily. At the beginning, she was still fantasizing about when she could have a meal hosted by her master, but before even a month had passed, she was able to have a meal hosted by Ziran. She enjoyed attending banquets, but she felt very depressed when attending the banquet hosted by her master and Xiao Yi. Zr laughed and said, It's all the same. Huangfu Xiangling felt even more depressed, with a feeling of galloping horses running through her heart. Sister, what's wrong with you? Yun Bing saw that Yunqi had a blank expression on her face. Her beautiful eyes, which used to be cold and bright, were now dull and lifeless, and she looked very depressed. Nothing. My relatives are here. Yunqi shook her head, but the disappointment in her eyes couldn't stop overflowing. Yun Bing scratched his head, puzzled, and muttered, Didn't you and my relative come on the same day? Mine didn't come. So why are you here? Could it be that breaking through the Saint realm will affect the menstrual period? Forget it, if you can't figure it out. Stop thinking about it, sister. You didn't come when Xiao Yi and I got married, so you must come to Ziran's wedding this time. Don't hide at home and practice secretly, Yun Bing warned. For some reason, when she thought of the scene of Xiao Yi and Zir's wedding, she felt lost and painful in her heart. Subconsciously, she wanted to escape and didn't want to face it, so she didn't want to attend the wedding or go to the banquet. Yun Bing interrupted her and said firmly, Your physical defect has been solved. You are no longer the emotionals' robot you were before this time. You must attend the wedding and have a feast. Yunqi glared at her in dissatisfaction. Is it not okay for me to go? Chapter 396 solves Ziran's template problem. It is now 6:30 in the evening. The wedding will be held tomorrow. Yitai, Huangfu Xiangling, Yun Bing and others have started to get busy, booking a place and setting the scene, writing invitations, sending invitations through space and so on. Since it is the largest wedding hotel in Shanghai, the hotel will quickly arrange the scene according to the requirements. Xiao Yi asked Ziran to use ultra-long-distance teleportation to return to Mangyuan Base City, and upgrade the talent levels of Chengbing, Shi and Nan Gong Xiao's parents from A level to SSS level. After the upgrade was completed, a supreme and perfect level of defense formation was set up for the Sunshine Welfare Home, and a quasi-saint level of defense treasure with a sustainable ultra-long-distance transmission item was personally given to the old director. Whenever he encounters danger, the defense mechanism of the defensive treasure will be triggered, or the teleportation mechanism will be triggered to teleport him to Kunpeng Academy in the Magic City. After doing all this, Xiao Yi and Ziran returned to Kunpeng Academy, to the vice president's villa. The place was already deserted. Everyone had left, and Yizier had gone back to prepare for the wedding. Only Xiao Yi and Ziran were left. Xiao Yi lazily lay on the sofa and said with a smile, "Sister Ziran, are you satisfied? You can finally marry me. I'll solve the template problem for you now." The template problem on Spiran's body has not been solved yet. The last time we only temporarily solved her physical defect. Don't you mean that we need to solve the physical defects once more before we can solve the template problem? She looked puzzled on her innocent and pretty face. Xiao Yi laughed awkwardly. "If I can solve your template problem in one go, how can I give you a massage?" Ziran widened her beautiful eyes. Her pretty face darkened and she said, "Does this mean that you can solve my template problem directly, but you have to massage me first and take advantage of me?" Xiao Yi, so you are this kind of person. Xiao Yi shrugged disapprovingly and said with a smile, "Don't think so badly of me. We weren't that close before. I would definitely not do something as shocking as solving the template problem casually. It's better to take precautions. What if to catch me and use me as a guinea pig?" Ziran looked at him with a complicated expression. "Given the relationship between Xiaobing and I, isn't it worth it for you to solve the template problem for me once and for all?" Xiao Yi shook his head, then nodded and said, "You have been separated for about 1,000 years. Who can guarantee that your relationship has not deteriorated? On the surface it seems that your relationship is good, but in fact it may be fake. Okay, get ready. I'll start solving the template problem for you. You can sign the contract with me directly at the wedding tomorrow." Ziran looked around. Although there was no one here, she was in the living room. Xiao Yi didn't think too much about it, and nodded, "Yes, it's here. Otherwise where to go?" "Okay then." Ziran's pretty face blushed. She raised her hand to set up a shielding band around her. Then quickly unbuttoned her skirt, and the purple skirt fell down along her slender and fair body. Then, she had to take off her 2 underwear. Xiao Yi hurriedly stopped her and said in surprise, "I'm just solving the template problem for you. Why are you taking it off?" Ziran asked in confusion. "To solve the template problem, doesn't it require massage like solving a physical defect?" Xiao Yi's mouth twitched. "No need. Put on your skirt." Ziran rolled her eyes and said dissatisfiedly, "Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me embarrassed for nothing." Xiao Yi smiled and said, "If you want to be naked, I won't mind." Ziran quickly put on her purple dress and buttoned it up. "It's not our wedding night yet. I won't let you get away with it for nothing." Xiao Yi didn't care. "It's up to you. You will be mine sooner or later anyway. You can kick me however you want. Open the template adjuster." Template adjuster is exploring. SSS level devouring Tao Dai Emperor template upgradable. A target has 12 rule fragment crystals in its body, 4 of the good fortune type, 4 of the devouring type, and 4 of the creative type. Template problem. When awakening, it was forcibly infused with the rule power of the creative rule fragment crystals that could not be awakened by itself, causing the template to be unstable. Solution 1. Take out to creation classes and use the template adjuster to repair the stable template. After the template is stable, the target attribute is the devouring class and the creation class. Solution 2. Take out for creation classes, integrate into devouring classes, and use the template adjuster to repair and stabilize the template. After the template is stabilized, the target attribute is the devouring class. Physical defects. The power of rules leaked out due to template problems, causing the body to expand and develop, leading to a narcissistic personality. Solution: use the Xuanhuang gem to massage and guide out the power of the riot rules deep inside the target's body. Xiao Yi's idea was to take out 2 creation types. There are 2 solutions. The first solution will cause you to have 2 attributes, devouring and creating. The second solution will result in you having only 1 attribute, devour. You are unable to comprehend creative skills now, because the power of creative rules conflicts with your template, and is not quite compatible with your body, but it's okay. I have a way to make it match your body 100. So, what kind of solution do you want? He asked once the narrative was clear. Creative type? Hearing this, Ziran's pretty face became worried, but this expression was only fleeting, and she said, "I choose the first solution." Xiao Yi smiled, "Very good, I thought so too." Immediately, he issued instructions to the template adjuster, activated the template repair function, took out the creation crystals, and repaired and stabilized the template. Template is the embodiment of the term in Age of Beast Girls. It corresponds to every aspect of the human body, from the microscopic to the macroscopic, from genes to size, and is related to everything. Buzz buzz buzz, a supreme and mysterious power descended upon Ziran. Ziran seemed to be bathing in the chaos of the universe. His genes, DNA, cells, internal organs, limbs and brain were all being transformed by a force in every aspect. She felt very comfortable, even more comfortable than when Xiaoyi gave her a massage. And much more comfortable than when Xiaoyi had sex with her. Xiaoyi was a little stunned. Ziran was floating in the air, looking very happy, and making some suggestive sounds. Oh shit, is it that cool? Then, the power of creation rules slowly overflowed from her body, and then under the condensation of mysterious power, two creation crystals were formed. After the crystal was taken out, Ziran's new template, under the repair of the supreme power, transformed her entire body, making the template and body match 100. 10 minutes later, she fell from Hydra. Template repair completed. SSS level Tao Dai Emperor template. Attribute, devour creation. After falling from the sky, a mysterious aura emerged from Ziran's body. He immediately sat cross-legged on the ground, closed his eyes, and fell into a state of enlightenment. One by one, creative abilities emerged in her mind and she understood them. An hour later, Ziran opened her eyes, and a wise light shone from them. She raised her hand, and mysterious energy was flowing in her little hand as if being pulled from fantasy into reality. A plate of steaming goblin kidneys appeared in her little hand. Creation means manifestation. Imagine it out of thin air and make it real out of thin air. Ziran's pleasant voice sounded. Chapter 397. Sister Ziran, you are really hungry. Xiaoyi looked at the steaming goblin kidneys and wondered if Ziran had an obsession with this kind of kidneys, otherwise this would be the first thing that materialized. The last time he ate a supreme level goblin sperm, the power is still locked in his body and has not erupted. Ziran put her delicate face close to the plate, opened her rosy little mouth and sucked one. Then chewed it carefully. After 2 seconds, she smiled and said, "It's no different from what Jinpeng makes. It just feels this way, and it tastes amazing." "Yes, Xiaoyi? Do you want to eat some?" Xiaoyi took a step back, with a look of resistance on his face. This is the manifestation of a talent skill. Who knows if it is edible? Just from the taste, can you determine that it is exactly the same as real food? Maybe it is poisonous? Ziran smiled and explained, "Creative attribute. I have awakened a talent skill called manifestation. To materialize anything, you need to understand the structure and performance of that thing, and it must have existed in the past. Only then can I build it from its structure, add performance and functions, and finally materialize it. It's not like I can visualize a goblin kidney just by thinking of it." Xiaoyi's resistance disappeared. He walked forward and took the plate of goblin kidneys. He ate them one by one as if they were snacks. The delicious taste of the soup exploded in his mouth. Seconds. It is exactly the same as what Chef Jinpeng made. However, its level is a bit low. It's only the goblin kidney of the venerable realm. It doesn't taste as good as the goblin kidney of the supreme realm. Xiaoyi said in surprise. Ziran explained, "I am now at the highest level and can manifest everything in the holy realm as long as it has existed in the world and I understand its structure, properties, and functions. I can manifest it. But the higher the level of the object being materialized, the longer it will take. I can materialize items at the venerable level instantly. I estimate that it will take a day for items at the great venerable level. I estimate that it will take 1 or 2 months for items at the supreme level. It will take a long time for items at the saint level, maybe 1 or 2 years, to materialize. If a goblin of the venerable realm wants a child, I can materialize it as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I have to wait for a while." Ziran told Xiaoyi this secret news about her talent and skill, which showed that she really regarded Xiaoyi as her own family and her husband. Xiaoyi nodded in agreement with Ziran's words. Creating out of thin air and materializing out of thin air was already a very incredible thing. If items in the holy realm could be created and materialized instantly, it would be too exaggerated. The lifespan of a saint is more than 10,000 years for them. 1 or 2 years will pass in the blink of an eye. Then Ziran continued to create plates of goblin children one after another in milliseconds. He stuffed it into Xiaoyi's mouth and urged him, "Eat it quickly. If you finish it today, you may not be able to eat it later. Today, I will do my best to satisfy you." When she said this, a deep worry flashed in the depths of her beautiful eyes, but she hid it well and did not show it. Xiaoyi smiled and shook his head, saying, "From now on, you are my legally married wife. I can eat you whenever I want, whether it's the goblin kidney or you. I can eat you any time." Ziran's pretty face turned red. "I won't let you eat it. How about we show off 10 plates of goblin seeds today?" She seemed to have made up her mind as she said this. The sadness in her beautiful eyes became more and more intense. Seeing her so enthusiastic, Xiaoyi couldn't refuse, so he just said, I can eat, but you let me eat so many kidney-strengthening foods. What should I do if I get angry? You have to help me relieve the heat. The goblin race is a peculiar race famous for its reproduction every day. They are either reproducing or on the way to reproduce. This shows how strong the kidneys of this race are. For him to eat so much, it is like drinking hundreds of bottles of super kidney treasure, which will make people extremely beastly. Ziran's innocent face turned red, and she said angrily, "Today, I will do whatever you want." Xiao Yi's eyes lit up, and he responded cheerfully, "Okay, then you can materialize 10 boxes of iced cola, 10 boxes of iced beer, 10 plates of goblin eggs, 10 plates of grilled oysters, 10 plates of grilled lion legs, and 10 plates of grilled Red Bull. There are also spices such as cumin, chili powder, iodized salt, etc. It's just eating skewers. I'm the best at this kind of thing," he said with a smile. Seeing that he was in high spirits, Ziran looked at the body he was familiar with her beautiful eyes and swallowed. "Okay, it's up to you. Tonight, you can do whatever you want. Anything is fine. I will do whatever you want," she hinted. Then, Ziran instantly materialized drinks, beer, and barbecued kidneys, and placed them on the long wooden table. Filling it up, there were more than 100 plates in total, and 50 of them were goblin meat. Xiao Yi laughed and said, "Okay, let's have a good meal tonight." The atmosphere was very cheerful. Ziran was infected by the mood. A relaxed